Therapy.
We're live.
Oh.
You guys will always be on camera, by the way.
No.
Oh, we're live right now?
Yeah.
You are. You're in the bottom corner.
Dylan needs to be audited.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I mean, I can read my lips, though, so I can be careful.
Okay. We're going to be live any second, man. Any second.
I think we're live.
For the last time, we are about to
Thank
be
God
live.
we're not live.
Oh,
They
We're
don't
live
wanna-
now.
They don't want to hear what I said about Colin Cleves.
Are we live?
Last time of Crazy 8's. We are live.
We're live. We're live. Wow. Hello, everyone. It's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Crazy 8's. This is episode 151. It won't be goodbye for long. Thank you guys all so much for joining.
the episode is called.
Yeah, what did I get wrong there?
It doesn't have to.
It doesn't
be.
have to be goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay. The name, of course, of the final ending, the name of a beautiful ending. Actually, dare I say, and it's a little bit of a maybe bold comment here, I think it's actually the best ending song that we have ever gotten in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime series. I have fallen in love with it. Maybe it's because of the way that this show ended and the way that this show used that song in episode 151. But this is going to be a banger of an episode. It is the final episode of Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Crazy 8's, which is unbelievable. 151 episodes later,
Damn, yeah.
and here we are. It's been an amazing 3-year journey. I'm so blessed to have been on this journey with so many of you, whether you are watching live, watching Wednesday night, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, wherever you are in this big, beautiful world, or whether you're listening in on one of the many apps that we're on, Apple Podcasts, Sirius XM, the Odyssey
Well,
app.
hold on.
free.
We're not on Sirius.
We're definitely not serious.
We're not on
I think you've,
Spotify,
yeah.
Apple Music,
Apple Music.
maybe Bandcamp. I don't know if we're on that anymore.
I don't think we are. Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
just Spotify and Apple Music.
Okay, well, whether you're watching on one of those platforms, thank you so much. We've got a full team for you to break down, not only 151, but we are also going to talk about, of course, the episodes before then. But I'd be lying if I said this conversation won't be majorly about the final episode. And, of course, we will touch on the fact that as of right now, card game Yu-Gi-Oh! Is over, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I'm joined by, well, really the greatest team that anybody could ask for. We've got Cal, we've got Dredger. You'll see them in the bottom right. We also have a screen where we can turn over to them. So we'll do that right now, boys.
Wait, there's going to be a
How are you
screen of
doing
us
tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing
You're
great.
doing great. Dredge?
I have mixed emotions on a day like today.
He's
Yes.
there.
We're gonna work them out here tonight, so I'm excited.
Good. Well, that's what we do. We work through emotions. And then,
Over there's an echo, they said, that's going on.
yeah, I don't think there's any way to
Probably not, just letting you know.
avoid that. I think, is there a way to avoid that? I don't think there is.
I feel like we've done it before and it wasn't a bad echo.
I think we have. I mean, maybe it's because I switched screens.
Yeah, so
Turn that mic on. Turn that mic on and chat. Let us know if there's an echo. Is there an echo right now? I don't think there
I don't
should
know
be.
why you say goodbye. I say
Is the mic?
hello.
Does the mic have?
Hello?
Yep, not the mic. The camera have audio.
There's an echo.
yeah, there's an echo.
Okay, it's with that mic. So yeah, okay, no worries. No, you know what? You know what we'll do. It's very simple. When you guys are talking, you just have to mute the mic whenever you're done. As soon as you're done, mute the mic. I know it's a pain, but okay, they're fine with it. They're fine with it. All right, we'll get through it. So whenever you're done speaking, just even if we're in conversation, just it's basically push to talk.
Well, that's not it's muted.
Yeah, you're push to talk over there, so they're good. Pete, how you doing, my friend? How you doing? Last one.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And broke out the UTS shirt for today.
Yeah.
And
I'm looking good in it.
Yes.
celebrate
Looking
my
good.
fellow
UTS.
countrymen.
Yes. Celebrate
UTS or
UTS. Celebrate my
But yeah,
fellow
good to
countrymen.
be here. Thank you.
Great to be here. Nick T, final one, my friend. How you doing?
I'm very excited to be here, but yeah, also a little sad and yeah,
Of course. All good things must end.
yeah.
As they
But
say.
amazing things to come.
Correct. And you know what? I was saying it with my my pals over here. 8.5 more months. Jump Festa.
Oh my
No,
god.
we're not doing
7.5
this. We're not
more
doing this.
If you're going to do that, you got to bring back the clock.
Now the clock's set.
Yeah, no, Jonathan's right. Last Nick T appearance ever.
Ever.
Crazy.
Ever.
And then of course we have a guest here. She's got her wonderful Yugioh bag. CL. Yeah, it's a Yugioh
Yeah.
bag.
The whole Yugioh bag.
Oh, I now it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
CL
got
from
Yudias.
the Entame subs team. How are you doing on this wonderful evening?
I'm doing great.
No, that man. I was kidding, by the way. No, I'm gonna be on the show. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to make sure that clear that up before we get any further with that. I will continue to be on the show.
So he said.
So he says.
Listen, before we obviously get into it, before we get into the breakdown, of course, of everything, of Go Rush, how we liked it. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about where it kind of stacks up in comparison to the other shows we've watched. Maybe we'll go around, rank the seasons. I think that'll be fun. I mean, when at the end of season 2, we ranked the 8 arcs. I feel like ranking the 12 arcs would be kind of archaic. Because that's just a lot of arcs. But we'll probably rank the seasons. I think that's fun. Maybe we'll give like our favorite character, maybe a disappointment, biggest unanswered question. You know, we'll go around and we'll do all that stuff. It's going to be, I think, a lot of fun. But before we get into that, I do want to make a brief thank you message. I did not tell anybody that I was going to do this at the opening of the show.
This is really the end of Yugioh everything?
Oh my gosh!
Well, and as I was about to say something very nice, no. I do want to take the time to thank you. I did not tell her that I was going to do this, but thank you for subbing these 2 shows, seriously, as the lead of the Entame subs. Yeah, give it a round. Woo! Because if it takes probably about, I would guesstimate, like 10 hours to do an episode from start to finish, and that is over 250 episodes in total of free work just out of passion that you had for these 2 shows, for this community. If it was not for you, if it was not for the rest of the Entame subs team, I don't think we would have had a show to watch. So seriously, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Seriously, thank you. And how do you feel? I mean, how does it feel? Obviously, you've done an amazing, incredible act of service for the Yu-Gi-Oh anime community that people will always be grateful for. How are you feeling today? I know we talked a little bit before. You still feel confident that we're going to get another show, which I love.
Yes.
We love that. How do you feel as Go Rush says its farewells here?
I mean, I really enjoyed the ending. Honestly, one of the better endings of any Yu-Gi-Oh. And
I agree.
yeah, it's feels weird, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird.
Well, when something's been part of your life for the past like 5 years that I've been doing this, and then it's gone, and it's over,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, but you know, like for the past 5 years, this is what my weekends were basically, just waiting for the episode to come out, translating, and then subbing it, and then putting it out there for the past 5 years.
And that's not
That's
quick.
great.
That
No.
takes hours to do for each episode.
I would literally have to time my vacations around when the show would have a break.
Yeah.
So, which
Jeez.
was basically
Yeah.
is basically only New Year's.
It's only New Year's, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's not like right. Well, it's not like it's a 26 episode anime per year. I mean, you're talking 50 episodes per year. So that's the other thing. Weekly, yeah, it just didn't take breaks. So no, I mean, really, it's got to feel like nice, but also probably bittersweet, right? Because I mean, you did it because you loved it. You know, you enjoyed these shows and whatnot. But yeah,
A labor of
thank you.
love.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, to you and the team. And yeah, it's amazing. So we got to start there. Obviously, if it was not for you guys, again, Konami just miserable in terms
You gotta
of
love them.
accessibility.
It's a small company, man.
Yeah,
Mom and pop
small
shop.
company. But yeah, just wanted to start on that. Listen, I would love to go around. Generally speaking, I mean, CL, you said it was a very good ending for Go Rush. Nick T, what were your thoughts here on Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush coming to an end?
A little bittersweet. I enjoyed how like neatly with a nice bow they wrapped up the ending. I still have many questions.
Yep.
I think. So in that regard, like, yes, I'm happy. Everything is kind of right where it's supposed to be, and I think that's excellent, especially seeing Yuga where he belongs, seeing the twins where they belong. I think that was happy, and like I really enjoyed that. But I'm in a place where I think I just wanted a couple more questions answered.
Well, I will say, and we'll go over some things that you
But
feel maybe were left untouched.
Yeah.
As I said, I felt this season was a little okay, and I felt this arc as a whole, the last 13 episodes,
It
was okay.
was weird.
But I loved the final episode.
I liked the final episode. I thought it was a little weirdly paced, if anything, because like about 3/4 of the way through, we get transported to a different time period and finish out the show there.
Yeah.
Which is like, it was a huge risk on the show's part, I think. But I think it paid off like in a really interesting, like weird way. But yeah, I expected some foolery as we got closer and closer to the end, but I liked what they did with it.
Yeah.
You know, like especially like the final duel. And I'm
Love
like,
Otis.
yeah.
Otis. I thought Otis was actually much better in this show than Sevens. Personally, I actually liked Otis a lot.
I would.
I liked him. I
The
liked him.
7 episodes he was in.
Yeah.
I mean, one,
I
it depends
liked him.
on what you mean by like, and and 2, like, yeah, no, what we saw of that character, pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like, cool as in like, no,
No.
no,
My
yeah.
voice
See, that's what
couldn't-
I meant. Yeah, but no, like it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Pete, how are you feeling? Just in regards to Go Rush here at the end.
I thought it was a really great finale. And yeah, I echo some things that Nick T said, of course, but even my own thoughts of it. I just think from what I've seen in 3 full shows, I think it's the most satisfying ending out of Reigns or Sevens or this. You know, Sevens now looking back was like such a continuation.
It was.
Right?
It was.
And then, you know, Reigns, I like the show, but I don't love when shows do that stupid thing of like the character's back alive and you'll never see it again. Like
All 3 shows, by
I
the
don't
way,
care
have
about
done
the
that.
Duel Links thing. I know people will say that. To me, in that stuff, it's not straight up main canon.
Yeah.
So like to me, that's just added on stuff. I hate. It's like watching movies and then a comic fills in the gap. Do not care.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Hate that stuff. So for this felt in Go Rush the most complete show, the most satisfying. The music was perfectly placed. The characters had so many emotional and heartwarming moments, and I felt really just it felt like it concluded perfectly where I wanted it to. And sure, do I have my gripes? Yeah, but overall, I could easily watch this even last couple episodes after the recap in
Yeah,
150 and
yeah.
151 and go, this was really great, and I wish more of the show was like this.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's very well said. I felt like Go Rush was a show where like the highs, and I think it last 2 episodes were really good. I think of the Kwai duel, Udius duel in 135 was really good. Even parts of that like Otis Udius duel were really good. But like it just felt like, you know, the writing team, the team was capable of achieving like really compelling heights. But I feel like consistency was kind of lacking a little bit in the season, where you'd have like this really, and again, not every episode can be very like high stakes,
course
high
not.
octane. But then like your filler, you'd get like the Gakugen stuff we got in 141.
Oh, you didn't love how he was just like farting and stuff?
No, right, you weren't
Oh,
there.
God.
No, it was horrible. I mean, it was
It
terrible.
was terrible.
And so it's like, you know, then that was kind of like the
Yeah.
dips, and it's like, oh man. But yeah, at least it ended on, I thought, a really high note.
Bless
and I'm
you.
very happy about that.
The only thing I will say before it goes to someone else is it ended where it should have. And I was afraid that they were not going to go back to this, that it's these 3 characters, and Yuhi and Yumu and Udius.
Yep.
And they are the heartbeat of the show. And their relationship and connection to one another is exactly where it should have been focused. I was worried they weren't going to do that. And they did, and they delivered on that. And
Yeah.
that's what I love.
Yeah, very well said. Dredger, I'm going to throw it over to you. Your thoughts on the end of Go Rush, 151, all of that.
So again, I was one of the people on this podcast that had very low expectations. I was frustrated, I was stressed, and to give Go Rush a lot of credit, they did a great job on the final episode. I'm still not a huge fan of the final arc and the choices they made. Again, that being said, though, that last episode, as Dylan, Pete, Nick T, and we've all agreed, and I think CL and Caliber will agree as well, extremely emotional. Really made you, like, if you didn't love these characters before, after that episode, you definitely did. Something, obviously, you'll have unanswered questions. We're going to dive more into it, but overall, the execution, considering how I was like, there's no way they can do this, and then they did it. Shout out to them. It was very well done. I think Pete and Nick T have hit some other main points that I agree with as well. But yeah, overall, great job ending the show. And I would agree. I think someone else made the comment, and Pete said it. Out of Reigns, Sevens, and Go Rush had the most satisfying and best ending of those 3 shows. I don't even think it's really close, honestly, because of how rushed Reigns was and Seven's leaving arguably on a cliffhanger. I think this, and you could argue, but Go Rush landed on a cliffhanger, right? That last scene. Yeah, but that's more implied than the eye showing up and Yuga in a. Spoilers for these shows, you haven't seen them. Sorry. He's in a spaceship coming back. Like, so
Fully agree.
It was more of a nod at the end of this than anything. Not like there's more. It's not there's not more. This is a nod to Yugioh just being alive. Like that's
agreed. So yeah, and so overall, yeah, glad the ending went where it did. Again, have some qualms with it, but I think we'll touch on that more later for sure.
Yeah, no, really well said. I wasn't sure how you were going to feel about it. So, no, I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that you actually really enjoyed it, because I haven't talked to you at all about it. So I'm happy that you enjoyed the ending.
Yeah, so I thought, again, the ending arc and the way and what they did the last bit, I'm not overall happy with, but I think because of the nostalgia, because the show is Yu-Gi-Oh's on a break right now, we'll say. I think just seeing that episode really made me realize, again, why I love Yu-Gi-Oh as much as I do and what they can do with characters, with a really greatly written episode with connections to characters. So, yeah, I'm going to be on the high right now, but I think if you ask me again, like, if I'm on one of my streams in like a couple months, I might be ranting about, Go Rush didn't do this at the end. Blah, blah. But I think right now I'm very, satisfied and happy with what they did. But that's a good point. I guarantee you're going to catch me one point. I'm going to rip it apart a little bit. But overall, and not in a negative way, rip it apart, like in the truthful.
I wish they did a little more like that at the end. No, I'm in agreement with you.
So this morning, I was finishing the episodes because I only watched the finale with you on your stream, and 149 comes up, and I'm watching 149, and I go, we're getting a lot of, is this a flashback of 149? Now, again, don't get me wrong, the ending of 149 with Yuumu and Yuhi realizing and becoming one with Udius was great, but to tell me that we're doing flashbacks in 2 episodes from the finale, we're like, and again, it's memories, it's nostalgia, and I enjoy it, but for that, at that point in time, you know what I mean? That I'm saying, but yeah.
Doesn't that indicate to you, and maybe you'll feel differently, doesn't that indicate that the studio was probably having some issues?
Yes.
I'd say.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd say.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So again, shout out to them for still putting out such a great, 2-part final. Like that's what I'm saying is like I understand there's other stuff going on, so I do get that. But like I remember I texted you and I was like,
yeah, no, and I still think, listen, it sucks. And it's part of the show, so you have to be critical of it. Remember, they had recaps. It wasn't just 149, 128, and 138.
Yep.
So, like, 3 of the final, 23 episodes of the show?
And it was like every 10 episodes at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was almost like, it wasn't as bad, but it was almost there as Vrain's, like, season 1 issues. Because Vrain's, I think, was 4 in, like, 25. This was 3 in 23. So, again, not as bad, but almost there. Yeah, I mean, we have to obviously judge the show. It is what it is. And so I think you'll probably look back at some of those, like I will as well, and be like, man, if they weren't having those issues, it could have been that much better, right?
Agreed. Yeah, like that. I think I'll look at this as a missed opportunity. But again, that's why right now it's just sad it's over, great ending, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And then I'll digress and focus more on the little things later on. But right now, this is a celebration of what we had, right? It was a great 5, we'll even argue 7, like Go Rush Yu-Gi-Oh! For 5 years. And hopefully we have more to come, 2026, late 2025 maybe, I don't know. I'm leaning 2026.
I got horrible news for you guys, and I know this is very important. I got horrible news. You might get mad at me. You might say to me afterwards, you're like, come on, why did you say that? So I'm taking a risk here, but you sadly might not be able to make Jump Fest.
Oh, he's bringing it out. You just told him that.
Homie's going to rat me out. I literally give him the heads up today. We're 8 months in advance. This guy's gonna rat me out to his chat that I may not make Jump Fest. I love that. You love that. Go on a nice rant. Should I go back to my negative rant? I have it written down. I could pull that one out.
Yeah. Doesn't miss a beat.
But no, I might be unavailable for Jump Fest, so we will see. It is in the state of Delaware, and it is on a Friday night, and I have plans. I already know that's Saturday. Yeah. So we will see if I can make it happen. So, but yes, thank you for ratting me out. I appreciate you. That's you know why you did it, but it's okay. I'll let it go.
So Dredge is gonna remember this moment. He's gonna come in the stream for 2 minutes the night of Jump Fest, drop your whole address, and then just leave.
Oh my god. No, very very good thoughts there, Dredge. Cal, how are you feeling, man? The salary man, how are you doing?
Let's hear it.
I really enjoyed the ending. Like like you said, the last 2 episodes, I thought they were very good. I mean, like Pete was saying, the connection between all the characters, that should have been the focus point, and I think they really hit the nail on the head there. I was very worried, like ahead of time, I guess, because we had the recap episodes and then we had the one at 149. And I was like, it almost felt like they had already written 150 and 151 and we're just trying to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
At that point, and that like it worried me. And then watching the last two, I was like, wow, like it caught me by surprise. And the one thing to me that I feel like we all were like, there's no way this happened. Just Yuga being home in his right timeline with his friends. To me, I was just like, wow, like we all were like, there's no way he got sent back to his own place. But I was shocked that they actually did that. Like it surprised me a lot.
Yeah, I was very relieved. I mean, we'll definitely talk about Yuga. But like, man, I think that them showing Yuga and his friends was like extremely important. I mean, that was one of those things that I needed to see.
Yeah. If they left it open, it would have been worse.
Yeah. So I'm happy. Well, I would have loved, and I've said this, I would have loved to have seen like the actual reunion scene.
Right. I did feel like a slight cop out just to like be there, and like
I can agree
obviously
with that.
maybe a couple years even older than
what
we were.
Right. Could have been.
Maybe not obviously, but it seemed that way. But like it's like, oh, here we're here. We're just there.
Now it also leads to like, it does lead to some theory building. Like, what if this is a slightly different like future? And maybe
that's how time travel and messing with time travel works.
Definitely is.
I've seen a couple of people say the character coming down in that rocket was Otis, and altering this past got Yuga there instead.
Maybe. I don't agree with that. I think it was Yuga still.
So Yuga at the end of season 2 was wearing a different fit. Fit check.
Right,
he was
but
wearing a different fit.
Okay, we could get into this, but the whole point of the episode, I think, was about how when they gave the whole monologue, the whole rest of like kind of the cast about how life and time is ever changing, and even a small moment or one person can actually affect great change. I think it is heavily implied that we see that we've changed the future, and it is still ever changing in the moments that we're watching.
Yeah,
that's what Yuga, I think, is talking about in that moment.
Yeah, with the moon,
that's why
it's
the
like,
moon
still
is changing. That's why all these things, because life and time is still being interrupted and changed and morphed. I think that's the point of that. So you can't in this case, when you introduce all these worlds and universes, you can't then go, oh, it has to be the exact same alpha, and if it's not, then what's going on continuity wise or something else? It's like, well, it's expected to change, of course.
Right, of course. So the outfit changes. So
Yes.
that makes sense. Yeah. No.
And many other things.
Yeah, we should
Yeah, and they talk about it like in the like finale itself when he's like, I feel like something's changed, but I don't really feel like it's changed at all.
Yep.
And Yuamu's like, things have changed, we just don't notice it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
they
deep
and
as
he
hell.
and he also said, I wonder how much it has changed for Yuga.
Right.
All right.
He asked that directly.
Yeah, no. So it's a beautiful story of time travel, and I'm happy.
I mean,
it is, and I'm happy that that Yuga made it back home safe. Cal, did you have anything that you wanted to add over there? Just kind of in regards of you're happy we saw Yuga. We'll talk a little bit more about that scene, but you liked it overall. These final 2 episodes.
Yeah, I liked the ending a lot. I think that they closed on a lot of things, which was good. For instance, one of your favorite characters in the show having a role.
Don't even get me started on that. 'Cause I'm going to talk for like 55 minutes about it.
Wait, I'm with you about talking about it, but not that long.
All right, 5 minutes.
Which of his favorite characters?
Yeah. Let's
Say it.
just say
Say it.
she was a mystery.
Hang on, but before we get into that, a real quick check. Raise your hand if your appreciation of Otis went up slightly because of Go Rush.
I mean, yeah, it slightly went up, but it was
When my appreciation was in the hell itself, yeah, of course it went up a little bit. Yeah, 100%. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Dredge. My appreciation was in hell.
Yeah,
and
so
it went up
it was in the
It's
basement.
a tiny bit.
There was,
yeah.
bit.
So it couldn't have went lower. It just I would
It went
hope not.
lower, yeah.
We're all raising our hands. But yeah, I mean, do you have anything you want to say about that mystery girl?
I think that it's just great that it ended up being something.
I have a long list of names throughout the years where people bashed me for talking about her.
Well,
I can think of a couple of those names.
You might not be on that list.
I won't be, but we'll let you talk about your list later. But yeah, I think it for like as a viewer and especially for someone listening to you talk all the time, that actually meaning something makes it so much better than us seeing her face over and over and over in all these different places and it just kind of being like a gag character.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, well, that was my thing. Like, and I always got the counter argument of like, oh, it's like kind of a Nurse Joy gag, and like I get it, it could have been, but I felt like as we moved forward with the show, the places that character was showing up were like more and more egregious.
Yeah, it became like further, more and more improbable that she could possibly be there.
She was in the Seven's past. She was in Udious's mind during like
Udio's mind is the most curious.
and that was
but,
like one of the last times we saw her.
but
before
also
this
to be
reveal. She was in Zion's spaceship.
Bingo.
In the sky.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it got to a point where it was like more egregious than the standard. Oh, she works at the library. Oh, she works at the lemonade stand. Oh, she works at the whatever. And so yeah, listen, I'm happy that they went with that. I thought that was wonderful. I mean, we can get into that a little later on.
Yeah,
but,
can I cut you off real quick?
absolutely.
Colin stopped by and donated $50.
Colin Cleve!
Yeah.
Thank you,
Colin!
Colin. Thank you so much, Colin.
Do you want to read it or do you want me to read it from the bullpen
You can
over
read
here?
it, my man. Thank you, Colin.
My biggest unanswered question of the show will be how did Dylan convince Bridge to make Mystery Girl Otis at the very last second? Because no one can convince me otherwise. That was done specifically because of him or to spite him and only him.
So here's the thing. Colin. First of all, thank you for the insanely generous super chats. Hope we got some attempt thumbs up, some Aki and Owie heart emotes in the chat. Roman hypes. Thank you so much, Colin. Really, really appreciate you. Really appreciate that. I will say this. Listen, I am not right most of the time when it comes to theories. I have no problem saying that. I'm not. And by the way, I'll give you one. I'll give you two, actually.
Yeah, speak it.
I made a formal video that Blood Shepherd was the Bishop chess piece in Soul Tech. Not even close.
Well, hold on. I feel like he should have been.
Okay, well, that's a different argument.
Wait,
but yes,
also, maybe the writing problems are the only reason he wasn't.
Hey, no, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean.
you guys are
True.
certainly, helping me out, which I appreciate. But no, I have no problem saying I was wrong on that one. I made a formal video during Arc 5 that said Okaiba was going to be the final boss, like an evil, twisted version of him.
I actually kind of like that one.
No, I love that one, but it obviously was wrong. I felt so good about the Mystery Girl that I made a formal theory video. And it takes a lot for me to make like a formal, like I never made a formal theory about the girl on the phone in 7's.
You should have.
Like it takes a lot.
Same girl, by the way.
Same girl. I've seen that. Come on. Let's not get ridiculous.
No, it's her ancestor. Clear. Or descendant clear.
No, listen, now the conspiracy theory that Colin and others will float is that, yeah, Bridge just, stuck this in at the end to like make me happy. No, I think it was always planned.
Well,
Colin.
you have a
Come
lot
on.
of friends over there.
I don't have a lot of friends over there. I think I have a lot. I have a lot of respect for the people at Studio Bridge, as I do for anybody that's contributed to these Yu-Gi-Oh projects,
course.
including Shin Yoshida. But
Hey, and he's a friend.
dear
He's a friend.
I've been saying it. It's time to bring him back.
He's a friend.
It's time to bring him back.
And
he's writing for the Sky Striker anime, so.
Oh,
There you
I
go.
did not
well,
know that.
he wrote for the Sky Striker manga.
Manga. Okay.
But if they're adapting the manga, then that's basically his work.
Hey,
So
let's go. Okay, Shin Yoshida.
We're gonna put him near Yukio 9.
By proxy. Yeah,
It does make me nervous about the.
no. What's really funny is that the Sky Striker manga, from what I've heard, I've not read it, is pretty good. And people were making jokes that it's like, well, Shin Yoshida can write female characters when he doesn't have any other choice but to write
'Cause it's all
female
girls,
characters
yeah.
because they're all women.
He's been reading feminist theory for
so
sure.
that's what we do. For Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, we lock Shin Yoshida in a closet with some writing utensils.
And say,
we let him right
"Only
away.
women."
Only girl characters. That's all. Boom.
He'll be in hell.
No,
That's his personal hell.
He'll be okay. But no, that being said, listen, Colin, you make me laugh. This was something that I think was foreshadowed for a very long time. And I think that's why, like, the ridiculousness of her locations, as I said, ramped up as the show went on. Wait, how is she in the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's timeline in
Yeah.
episode 62? Wait, how is she in Zion's ship, thousands of feet or meters in the sky And then, wait, how is she in Udious's mind right before we learn about the multiverses and duel? So I think, listen, I'm very happy that they executed the way that it did. I don't think they changed anything. I think it was always going to be, hey, Udius will stay back to fend off a multiversal level threat, and we're going to make all the Otises from all the other worlds the mystery girl. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful writing.
I don't know if it's beautiful.
Incredible foreshadowing. And I'm
Did you
very
say
happy.
all of them?
All of them were mystery. So
Were they all?
they were all mystery girls.
From the ones
Yeah,
that we
every
could see.
single-
Yeah.
I didn't
Every
even know. I
single-
focused on the one that was like closest.
That was
I
the
didn't.
main one, but there's a shot where you can see kind of a side
Yeah.
profile.
I didn't even notice
They're
that.
all the
I
mystery-
did. I
Yeah,
didn't
look
notice
it up,
that.
look it up. They're all the mystery.
Yeah.
It's very well done.
Well, Nick T,
Very well
that's
done.
why it's incredible. Nick T, that's why when we go back to like present day Matsuba Town, at least I believe, the mystery girl isn't present anymore. And
Because
they
she was
show
defeated.
jobs that she was working, right? The cat. Well, she wasn't.
Yeah, it's
working
other
that job.
people.
It's other people.
The cat gets saved for somebody else. The cat. Yeah.
You know what I thought was fascinating about that is
Yeah.
that when I was rewatching it today, it specifically, I don't think this is a coincidence that when Yui is talking to Yumu about like, oh, has there been things that change? And Yumu says, oh, it might be so small or whatever. It immediately cuts to the jobs that she used to
Getting
do.
chills,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
And I'm like, you're literally telling us. That's exactly what you're telling
Yeah.
us.
No, it was beautifully done. I think, and by the way, that's foreshadowing from episode 1 because ending 1, she's in the background of all these shots.
Yeah.
But that is why, and I always say this, and here on the Yugioh Everything channel, this has always been the case. It will continue to be the case. I always, and we all do, we encourage the wildest theories that people have. Because if somebody said early in this show, if somebody said, hey, that like mystery girl character, I think she's actually Otis from another multiverse, and she's going to strike at the very end of the show to try to attack Udius and destroy the timeline. It's just the most ridiculous theory that anybody could craft at that point, and it would have been accurate. So, I mean, it would have been correct. So that is why, listen, we encourage theory building. And, you know, I've heard some amazing theories from you guys over the years. Whether they're true or not, it's fun to craft them. And that's why we do it here. So
Yeah.
you're seeing it?
Yeah, this is crazy. So, because like my thought, like, yes, obviously it was cool, like, because when they show the one that pops
Yeah,
up in the front,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's a cool like Easter egg because the thought is everyone's Otis, right? Because there's every single character we've met basically is Otis, but the fact that like the charge is all of her actually does mean something as opposed to it just one of her is like, all right, whatever, it's a throwaway. This is not. That's not. Yeah.
Right. Well, and then also we don't see her in the
Yeah,
present
yeah,
day.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I'm 100% on
I still
board.
think there's a possibility that not every single one of them is the mystery girl. The
But
three
a
that
lot
we
of
see.
them
But the fact
are.
that
I think
so
a lot
many
of them
are.
are, but I also could see some as the Otis looking person that we thought. He just looks a little different. Or he wears a slightly different outfit, but I
Yeah.
think that's possible too.
Well, sure, because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like,
truly. Udius even says as they're invading, who knows like how many worlds there are. Or it
Exactly.
says something along those lines. And it's like, who knows how long they, you know, the ending really leaves a lot for the imagination. Because
It
like,
does.
who knows how long they fought for? Who knows what they all did after? Did they all go back to Velgears? Did they like live a happy life? I'd like to think they did. You can kind of picture like your own ending and your own future for like UDS and for the Valkyrians, and I think that's cool. I mean, how do you interpret that? Obviously, they beat the Otises coming in. Do you think that they just like went back to Velgears? I mean, the beauty is that like anything can be right.
I mean, I have a my personal take is that they kind of all died, and that's why there's no.
Wow.
I mean, the thing is, like, they make a point of going, there are no Valkyrians in Sevens. There's no Valkyrians in the future,
Yeah.
and they say this multiple times in Go Rush.
Yeah.
No Valkyrians in the future. No aliens in the future.
Yeah, and the only
Um,
like one that we see is an Odo. At the
Yeah.
only one that's like alive, the little Easter egg at the end. He is an Odo. He's not a Valkyrian
Right.
now.
Well, I mean, we can talk about the ending directly. Obviously, Udius, we see him in his
But-
paper form, and
Yeah.
then
Kind of comes back to life. But
Yeah.
yeah, to your point, yeah, there are no Valkyrians. It's just an Odo and then no one else.
Yeah, and what I think is just like, obviously this is like a downer ending, but I kind of like it that way, so I'm all right with it.
yeah.
The way that I've interpreted it is that like all the other Valkyrians have either died or are close to dying, because it's been 500 years and they've been expending their energy all this time, and Udius is still alive just by the sheer determination of keeping the twins' promise. And then, like, once they meet up again and he keeps his promise, that might be the end of his life.
Yeah.
I
That-
actually
he's-
love that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Because that's the ending that I would like.
I
So
think
that's how I interpret
I
it.
like it too because it also ties into a theme that I thought about, like at the end there, of like, you know, a lot of what we dealt with in season 1, especially, but even after that, even towards the end of season 2, is like, what does it mean to be a Valkyrian? And they're kind of like artificial life. And we've had this discussion many times. Are they real? Are they not real?
Yeah.
Should you care if they die? All of these things. And Yugioh in particular was kind of like, he was the main focal point for the audience to attach to, of like, this man did not even want to be brought back. And I think finally, when they're fighting all the Otis, whether you believe this is always what they were meant to do, timeline-wise or whatever, they all had a purpose to do something. And then when that purpose is achieved, I do like to think that they kind of rested after that. Like that, they've lived all this time, they've died and come back. They saved everyone. They saved the timeline, all this multiversal threat, and now they can just rest. And
yeah.
they served a purpose, which is what they always really wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, that's definitely a way to interpret it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could, do a happy ending where everyone survives and Udius
And they
is
traveled
just,
back.
yeah, conserving his energy or something, right?
Yeah. That's kind of how I guess just because, like, I like to think about, like a happier, like, ending theme. But, I mean, certainly either one works, I think, very well. And I think either one is logical. Honestly, the sadder ending's probably maybe even a little more logical. Just the fact that, like, there are no Valkyrians. Although, to be fair, if the Valkyrians were living a long life, even beyond this and into the Seven's days, and just never interacted with Earth, then, like, nobody would know of their existence.
Sure, they could
right?
have
Like,
they could have pieced out and left and
it
went back to the cluster.
It kind of asks, it's similar to the question that we always ask as human beings on Earth: is there life out there?
Yeah.
And if there is life, like, thousands of light years away,
You'll never know.
you'll never know. And maybe that's like the Valkyrians now, So, yeah, I think that's kind of the beauty of the ending, though. And
Because you can interpret it any way you like.
you can interpret it so many different ways. I saw somebody who said that they interpreted it, I forget what comment this was on for a video, that, like, Udius was the only one that survived the war against all the Otises. And
see it
he
like
had
that.
to live the 500 years totally alone.
That's so
And was able to
depressing.
make it. I mean, that's like the sad ending, but ramped
the,
up.
that's what I think.
So
but-
you think do you think the Valkyrians, like, lived like 400 of the 500 years? Because this comment said they died, like, immediately. Like,
In
to
the war?
Otises.
You see, in my mind,
Yeah.
they were at least there for a while before they died.
Right.
I would like to think the war lasted for a couple, like, years.
Right.
Like, maybe
Yeah.
a couple decades. But I
Right.
do think that a majority of them died during the war,
In
and
battle.
then probably a lot of them passed afterward.
Can we get a show about the war? I mean, really? No.
I mean, you'll take any.
Everybody dueling the mystery girls.
Of course.
As a proponent for the Mr. Girl, I do not approve this message.
Well, it's not just the mystery girl; it's Otis. Does that make you want to approve it a little more?
Not even a little.
How do you interpret the ending? Do you interpret it more of, like, kind of a sad twist, or maybe more of, like, a happy, hopeful twist? I mean, I don't think there is a wrong answer either way.
I think you're asking the question itself. It's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted you to do. They wanted you, CL, to make an inference. They wanted you to think of something. They want you as a viewer to end it the way you pictured it, envisioned it, and that's the beauty of it with an ending like this. It was done well up to that point, and then they said, "Hey, we're giving you this. This is what happened. You let your imagination run wild." Because that's what Yu-Gi-Oh is about. The things that are impossible, miracles, right? It's always said miracles happen, crazy draws, crazy things. That's the whole point, is that you can take from it what you want to take from it and turn it into something, for the foreseeable future, because we don't have anything coming up. So do what you want with this. Hold it over. We'll come back with something in 2026.
Love it. Love it. Cal, how do you kind of take this as a financial guy? Do you view this?
Oh my god! Shut up.
Do you view
Shut up.
this as kind of like sad, happy? Where's the logic in this?
So when you take a look at the financials, right? No, I like to think that it's an infinite war, because that's what the Valkyrians were were doing, right?
Interesting.
They were fighting an infinite war. They were, no matter, like, you know, you die, you come back. Like, there's no end. It is an ongoing war forever and ever, and I think this is just the start of a new ongoing war, because in order for them to exist, they have to have their purpose, right? And their purpose was always to fight in war.
Interesting. Yeah. I like that interpretation. I mean, man, there's so many interpretations. It's really unbelievable. For those wondering, we've got a nice cannoli spread over there. Cannoli dip, as they say. And
There was talk of a Yuamu cake. I want to know if that's here today.
so I said if Yuamu, and I said this very early on. I said it very early on. I said if Yuamu breaks the record for the most one-on-one wins by a girl character in Yu-Gi-Oh!, I would get what we will dub as the Yuamu cake. Well, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. She broke the record. She broke the record, most wins by a girl character. Yeah. And
I gotta ask. What? Yeah, cheese. You're gonna, okay, we'll make sure you're gonna explain.
We got a cheesecake platter. Now, some might say, well, is this a cake? Yes, it is a cheesecake platter. And the reason we got the cheesecake platter is because there are different types of cheesecake cakes. Now, you might be saying, what does that mean? Think of all the transformations that Yuamu went through during the show. She was UTS Yuamu. She was Dark Meister Yuamu. She was sad and remorseful Yuamu. We have gone through mature Yuamu. We have gone through so many Yuamu character iterations on her journey to be the most winningest girl duelist in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And in some people's eyes, the best girl character in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Therefore, the cheesecake platter.
I like that. Since we're talking about it, I'm curious. Do you consider the Kwai duel win against Asaka a Yuamu win?
No.
No, but she wrote it. Oh, you mean the Kwai? I mean, not Kwai duel. I mean Kwai Tell. I'm sorry. I said Kwai duel. I meant Kwai Tell. I apologize. I meant Kwai Tell.
Yeah,
that's a Yuamu win. She wrote the duel.
That might be, yes. I was for some reason thinking of the one where she was possessed by.
No,
Kwai
yeah.
Duel.
No,
but she didn't duel Asaka. Asaka was also possessed by Kwai Duel. I don't remember.
No, I meant Kwai Tell. I apologize. That counts, right? I mean, not only is he dressed like Yuamu,
what did you
she
think
wrote
of
it.
Kwai Tell dressing like
I had
Yuamu?
nightmares.
I thought it
about
was
that.
funny. I actually that was
Some
a
people said
gag.
it's the best he's ever looked.
I would agree.
Yeah.
It was a gag that worked. That hit for me. I liked it.
He had that woman in the past. She was all about him.
She was all hard eyes.
If I was him, I'm staying in the past.
If you have a 10, however tall she was, a 10-foot tall woman, 8 foot, 8
Surfer.
foot tall woman, surfer babe, right?
Yeah, I'd say.
All over you.
And he's got nothing in the present.
He's got nothing
Just stay in the
present,
past,
dude.
man.
He left the path. He fumbled
Yeah,
hard.
Can we talk about
Man
that
has
being-
no game.
That might be the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh fumble in the franchise's history.
Yeah.
The man
I'd
had
say,
an 8 foot tall surfer babe locked up, and he left. Can you believe
I mean,
that?
that's short's potential right there, I think, for the channel.
I mean,
you got to make
listen,
it short out of it.
I just think that is disturbing. I think what he did.
I
is
would never do
disturbing.
something like that.
No, I know you wouldn't. You're not a fool.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, someone as tall as Lady D walks into my life.
Same
I'm
kinda hat, too.
making it happen.
Same kinda hat.
Okay? Come on.
Cal, I'd love to know your thoughts on this.
So, what I think, though, I think that, Kwai Tell did fumble a little bit here, but when he goes back to his world, he'll Kwai tell his friends that he didn't fumble the bag.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm booing him.
I like it.
Well, listen, it's the last episode, and the quality is certainly matching.
Hey, we've been running on empty for years.
Kwai Tell his
The worst part, or the best part about that is I said the joke, and then my YouTube crashed on my computer.
It knew.
That was divine punishment.
Yeah, that was fitting. Yeah, I mean, there really was a lot. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the recaps, if you will.
That wasn't a recap episode.
Well, 149
149 was.
149
and
was.
138.
Oh, that was 149, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, I saw somebody say, and this, said that it may have been the writing team's decision to do a recap episode there in order to get the team, in order to get the viewers like just pumped for the final duel.
Well, it didn't.
Those are the last
I-
episode of the show.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
that was the case. I don't think anybody like I just don't think there's any writer that would elect to do a recap at that point in the series if they didn't have to. This situation screams to me Studio Bridge was probably ending their Yu-Gi-Oh tenure, and they had a lot of projects on the works, and they were just burnt out. Listen, doing weekly Yu-Gi-Oh anime is very, very difficult. Weekly anime
Yeah,
for anything
and,
is very, very difficult. We saw these issues with Vrains. Sevens didn't have issues, but Sevens also got 10 weeks off due to the COVID pandemic, and that could have, prevented any issues that may have arose during that era. And then here in Go Rush, I think they just kind of run out of steam towards the end. Would love to know your thoughts on the recaps,
Well-
and do you think we will ever get another Studio Bridge Yu-Gi-Oh anime?
Ooh. Well, to answer the first part of your question, I think as far as the recaps go, I'm kind of in like two minds with like why it could have happened. I think your reasoning makes a lot of sense, but I also think they maybe kind of at this point in the game kind of put the cart before the horse, so to speak, and had the ending figured out. And this was like a spacer episode. Like we already know where we're at. We know what we have to do, and we just kind of got there too fast.
Right.
And it's like, well, what are you going to do for 20 minutes when we're already there?
Yeah.
We're already there. What are we going to do? And they just like, all right, recap and then finish the show.
That's exactly how I felt.
I
about
think
it
they
as well.
needed the space right there. Boom.
That's the only thing I'll say is like the nostalgia factor. But it was nice to see those moments of
Which
Yui
was
Yumu.
nice.
Yeah, so
I will
from
say it
that,
kind
I
of
will-
reminded us like, oh yeah, but yeah, I think they needed a spacer a bit to get it, and then be like, okay, because we're already at the end at that point.
Yeah. I mean, very well could be the case.
But as far as like put the fact that it was there, it is what it is.
And then do you think Studio Bridge is ever doing Yu-Gi-Oh again? And you can answer.
That's a much harder question. Yeah. I'm gonna say, yeah. Actually, yeah. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I think yeah. I don't know. I think I'm not. Here's what I wouldn't rule it out. That's what I'll say. I wouldn't rule it out. Because I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say right now because as of now we have no weekly Yu-Gi-Oh. So who's to say who
Right.
will do it again?
Right. Well, that's the
It could be
issue, right?
anybody.
Yeah, it could
It could be a
anybody.
studio that doesn't exist yet.
Do you think maybe
Formerly.
Studio Mappa could
No.
dip their hands?
I know you've been saying that on streams and such. Yeah, who knows?
Well, that's what some people have been, speculating.
you.
Just
No.
you.
Just you.
Just me, yeah. No, yeah. I guess we don't know what the future holds. I do not think that Studio Bridge is going to do another Yu-Gi-Oh.
Maybe.
I think we're done with that era. Not saying we're done with the Rush era, but I think we're done with the Studio
Bridges,
Bridge era. And if
Yu-Gi-Oh.
this was their two shows, listen, I think they told a story that went full circle and
It is a
wrapped up,
complete story.
right? It feels complete.
Yeah,
that's the other
I will
big
say
thing.
that. Even though I have questions, many of them still unanswered, I think it does tell a complete story, and that's what I like.
I agree with that
Thank you, man.
for sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, to me, we talked about it on Saturday when Dylan and I were doing the whole
yes.
live reaction. Like, feels like third to last episode of the show. You had a recap, probably having some studio trouble. There's probably some stuff going on there that's not great, and it's hard to do 50 out of the 52 weeks of the year. That's brutal. So
Unforgiving, even.
I also like your point. I didn't think of that. Of like they got there too quick, and they're like, ah, crap. How the hell do we fill 20 minutes? And they're like, you know what? Talk about Yuhi and Yumu and how they got here, and we'll sort of do as a recap / their journey. All right, cool. Let's do it. And we'll throw a teaser at the end.
Yeah,
That's kinda how I
exactly.
saw it too.
I will say, thematically, it does fulfill a role. Because the whole idea of them being the sort of the wind under Udius's wings, and him even saying "You're my wing," like I think
You're my everything.
Yeah,
This
the treasures,
yeah.
right?
Precious
this highlights that for us even better than we had prior. So I will say it fulfilled that thematic role. But I think they're probably like shit.
We screwed up.
Yeah.
Dill. What are
Do
you
you
doing?
think Studio Bridge will do another Yu-Gi-Oh? I'd love to know your
You're
thoughts.
so unserious.
I love it.
No, I think they're done. It feels like this was a complete 200 and almost 50 episodes that they
Yeah.
did here. I think it served its purpose. I think overall it was really well done, and it will be passed off to either whether it's Konami or a third-party studio. I said that this past weekend.
Yeah, and that's of course I should say preface it. It's a big if.
Huge if. When I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean
Nothing coming.
Be a disaster. Dredge, Cal, do either of you guys think Studio Bridge will do another Yu-Gi-Oh show?
I'll answer myself. No shot. It's Konami Animation.
I'm going to also answer here and say, no shot. It's going to be Konami Animation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm not as convinced that it will be Konami
What percent?
Animation.
What percent?
I would give to do a card game anime.
Yes.
It's,
It's really
no,
fun.
no, you're actually doing it very well. I would say I'll put it at 33%.
So,
Yeah.
with that being said, what studio picks up Yu-Gi-Oh?
That is really an impossible question for me to answer. Here's what I will say: there are so many studios. I've never heard of Gallup. Besides the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, I've never heard of Bridge prior to Studio Gallup. I'm sure there are connoisseurs out there watching, listening that probably have. But when Sevens was announced, that was the first time I've heard of Studio Bridge. I'm not going to lie about.
Well, we
that.
knew some of the projects they had
Because
worked
of
on.
Sunrise, but that was like it was made of former people that worked on
It's
like
some of
Code
it's-
Geass.
yeah.
But it was like a
Yeah. Oh, yes. But I mean, there were projects we had heard of that
Correct.
Bridge themselves
Correct,
had
that's
worked
fair,
on.
That's fair.
But it's your point that
Yeah,
like
it's fair.
we
I mean,
weren't keen to what they were doing yet.
So
Yeah.
so it's such a hard question for me to answer. I think there's a lot of studios that we don't even know exist that would love to have an IP like Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think that Konami, like their mission statement of their studio is very high quality animation. And I feel like if you have a weekly series, it's very hard to do that. That being said, if Yu-Gi-Oh! Becomes seasonal, I think the likelihood that Konami Animation is the one doing it is more higher than not. I just am still of the belief that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to be weekly if we get another card game show.
No, it's fair. It's fair stuff. I just think you're investing money into your own animation studio.
Yep.
You're going to use it for what it's worth. I understand that's their mission statement now. Companies change their mission statements all the time
Right.
once they see what happens. But I do agree with you.
love
If it's,
money.
agreed. And if it's one thing, no, hey, if there's one thing Co-Money does well, it's make money. Let's be honest. Come on now.
I know you can hate them, but they do it well. They make money well.
Agreed. So that being said, I do understand the argument. If it's weekly and it's going to be that not lower quality animation, but not that super high quality, totally makes sense for Konami Animation not to be doing that and have another studio. Again, I just of the belief they're so greedy they do not want to pay another studio, and I mean this with love. They don't want to pay another studio. They'd rather their own studio do it. So that's why I'm of the belief Konami will become bigger and end up doing it. But
Yeah, but I also wonder if because they're doing, I don't know what show they're doing, but Konami Animation is doing an anime. I don't know much about it.
Was it a Sky Striker one?
No, they're doing a different one that was announced. I'd have to look it up, but unless I'm totally wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they are
it's
doing. They're doing something.
It's for like another Konami IP.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was another Konami IP or not. Okay, so then never mind. My whole thing was like maybe they would rather do like other IPs that want to come to them for anime because they can make more money doing that than doing their own. But I don't know. CL, I would love to know your thoughts on this. What do you think the likelihood is that Studio Bridge will ever do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Again? Do you think that this was probably the final project that Bridge is going to do Yu-Gi-Oh! Wise? What do you think of the likelihood that Konami Studios does something? I mean, I would just love to know your thoughts on that.
So first and foremost, running a weekly show,
Yeah.
even seasonally, even if we were to say Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a seasonal show, is a lot of work, and
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time and effort.
I've been saying the same thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you need a huge amount of people to do this continuously, which is why most studios only do it seasonally. Because a lot of the time the episodes are done like a month,
the dono.
even. A month is generous before it airs or before it appears on whatever streaming site that they might be dropping it on. And a month is generous. Sometimes it's 2 weeks. Sometimes it's the week before.
That
it's
is
done.
no time. That is scary.
Yeah, and it's
JJK
like,
at one point was like literally days or a week before each one came out, which is a
Yeah.
little more. It's bigger studio, but I get what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Scary.
and like you would need that sort of manpower, and a well-oiled machine to be able to do what Bridge has done for the past 5 years, with little to no break.
Yeah.
So, I don't think Konami Animation is at that point. If they do a future Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't expect to see it till 2026.
I
And
agree with that.
if it's going to be a weekly and not seasonal Yu-Gi-Oh, it can't be Konami Animation within the next 3 years.
Wow.
I like the amount, like the scale, the logistics of it all. It just doesn't make sense for them to do a weekly Yu-Gi-Oh at this level that they're at currently.
I agree with what you're saying, and that's why I think it will go seasonal. That's why.
Yeah,
think.
I would love for it to go seasonal. If it goes seasonal, I could see Konami Animation ramp up and, actually do it. But if they decide to go back to a weekly format, it's not going to be Konami Animation.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I mean, you're thinking about it, right? I mean, we're talking 20-minute episodes every single week. You got to have voice acting, animation, storyboarding. 'Cause-
scripts.
Right, they're not following a manga. There's no original source material. I mean, that is crazy when you really think about it. Like that is a lot.
You have
so,
music composers come in, editors come in. You might have to reshoot some lines. You have ADR that has to be put in. There's a lot,
dual writing in Yu-Gi-Oh's
a
case.
ton of things that happens, and you're doing that in a week.
Yeah, there's very few,
In a week.
There's very few shows that have continuously run weekly for even as long as you argue Yu-Gi-Oh's done it for 25 years, right?
I can only think of
Yeah, there's a handful of them, and a lot of them aren't animated, right? Like General Hospital airs every week. Yeah, but it's people. Again, that is not defending and making it easier, but like an animated show, as Seal and Pete have said, it's just so much work. So I know we all want weekly Yu-Gi-Oh to return. Obviously, that's the goal. But we want Yu-Gi-Oh to return, period. So it has to be seasonal. I'm okay with that. I could definitely
I would
see that
definitely
working.
prefer seasonal. Yeah. I just feel like it's better not only for the show as a whole, but like for the industry, like the anime industry as a whole.
And the animators and you can also argue that then the quality of the episodes can increase, right? If there's only going to be a seasonal, you could have some real high quality episodes coming out.
You wouldn't have to worry about recaps. You wouldn't have to worry about, flatulence episodes. And you cut all that nonsense and you just focus on, like, what makes Yu-Gi-Oh amazing, which was these last 2 episodes, right?
It's like, yeah, we have 25 episodes to contain a story. Like, how do we do that?
Lose the 13 episode arc too. It's another win.
Right.
Exactly.
This is great.
Right.
The 25 episode season.
Yeah, and if it ran for 3 years, you'd still get, like, close to what Sevens was, 76 episodes, and they could all be, like, insane animation, insane writing. So, no, there is a lot of, I think, cool potential when it comes to seasonal anime. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Financially, as the company like Konami, right?
The financial guru.
They wouldn't have to change their mission statement for Konami Animation because it would still be high quality animation.
Of course, yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
These things are. I said this weekend too, so I'm sorry for any repeat viewers.
Say
but,
it again.
These things, whether it's animation or video games, we're seeing the trend all throughout the industry, all throughout the world. It's incredibly expensive. It's only getting more expensive and more time consuming. And as an animator or people that are video game developers, your life it kind of sucks. It's brutal. And you are working tons of hours, 100+ hour work weeks, away from your family, no vacation times. Like, that's, if you want to attract new talent in an industry, it is way easier to sell them on, hey, 26 weeks is what we're banging out. You got 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10 months to put it together. We'll drop it on this date, and then you're off for a few months at least before we ramp this up again for a new season. That's a way more appealing thing if you're in the industry than, hey, man, we're going to do this for 3 straight years, and you're never taking vacation, maybe New Year's, and, your kids, you're not seeing them grow up.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Well,
brutal.
It's a very like tough work-life balance situation in Japan too, right? I mean, not just in the anime industry, but like I know that is something that they have.
I mean, America works typically. Overall, we have insane, kind of disgusting work weeks. But just talking about animation and video games itself across the world, like this is an issue. We're seeing it everywhere. That's why there's delays. That's why Nintendo Switch 2 drops today. Oh, the game, $80. Like this is only going to keep increasing. That is what's going to happen. And I rather, if I'm going to pay money for this, or I'm going to pay my time to seeing something, I want to see better quality writing and just more succinct and just have that animation pop. I'm okay with it being seasonal. Just to have it weekly there, cool, it's great, and we get to do content from it. But if it's just I'm getting a flatulence episode just to fill time to do a podcast, that's not worth even my 22 minutes. Who cares?
Yeah. No, you're right.
110%.
You're absolutely right.
And I
think
mean-
it's please.
And I just mean like the weekly like nonstop anime. It's kind of outdated. It's a very outdated like thing. Like, back in the thousands, this was like everyone was doing a weekly anime. Everyone had like 100, 200 episode animes, and that was just the norm. But that's no longer the norm. Everyone's doing seasonal 13, 26 episode stuff. Like you drop it for one season, you wait another year, and then another season will come out. So and like a lot of toy anime, which is what Yu-Gi-Oh is categorized as, because Yu-Gi-Oh is a toy, have moved to like seasonal drops.
Yeah.
You can think of like Vanguard, there's Shadowverse. Pokemon has moved to like not weekly anymore either.
Yeah.
So it's like this is an outdated model. And the industry can't sustain it. And I feel like we could see like basically bridge training to keep up with the workload towards the end of this
I would agree with
this
that.
show, where like so many recap episodes were packed together after 128 episodes without a recap.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, no, this is not sustainable. We really need to move to something more seasonal.
I mean, this was an issue going back to 2017 with Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Like Vrain's recap in 13, director gets let go, quits, fired, who knows?
The
Bring in a
tweets,
new rookie director. Right, recap in 21, new director, apologizes. Recap in episode 29, new director, goes to Twitter, apologizes again. Recap in episode 38, new director, goes to Twitter, That man made 3 apology tweets in a 17-episode span.
Jesus, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And every time he would make an apology tweet, I'd make a video on it because it was so weird. Even looking back on it now, like a director of a Yu-Gi-Oh anime coming out and talking about like how tough the production is right now and apologizing for it. That sort of transparency you just like never see,
Which
when
is
it comes
appreciated.
to Yu-Gi-Oh anime. No, it was super appreciated,
And
it's clearly like not something they wanted to do with the
No.
recaps. So you got the freaking director apologizing. So this has been an issue with Yu-Gi-Oh going back 7-8 years now.
I mean, that's a huge. We don't know all the details on that, but just imagine you're coming into a project 12, 13 episodes running. They definitely did not obviously plan to pull the first director, or they quit, or whatever happened there. And now you're the new director that comes into a kind of a train that already started rolling here. It's been through almost a whole arc. Well,
and you have to apologize for the
You're
previous
apologizing
director.
for previous things. God knows what they had to clean up, or maybe
Yeah.
people that they had to move around to certain projects, or you have no idea what happened in those team meetings. And that was probably a huge undertaking. And the only way to catch up and kind of put your stamp on what's going on there was to have 3 recap episodes and 17 episodes. You needed to.
And remember, Vrains was supposed to start April 2017.
Yeah.
It ended up starting like mid-May of 2017. So they even pushed the start back 5 weeks,
Yeah.
and it still didn't matter when it came to
Yeah.
like the recap stuff. So yeah, it was and think about how long the Link animations took early on. I believe that was deliberate because they were just trying to fill time in the
Yeah.
episodes. They were just trying to fill time in the episodes. That's really what I think it was.
The more you look back, the more that makes sense.
Yeah. So this has been an issue, and we've seen a show in Vrains go 120. We've seen a show in Sevens go 92. If you're running 26 episode seasons for 3 years. I mean, that's 78 episodes. That's close to how long Sevens ran. And if almost every episode is going to be high quality animation, really good writing, really good story action, like, you know, I would probably sign up for that. I would probably sign. I'd be less quick to sign up for seasonal if it was going to only be 12 to 13 episode seasons. But if it was 26 episode seasons, I would take that.
And with the amount of time that they would have and the quality of the show, you can tell the full story in 75 to 80 episodes, and you don't need this like you're not going to be sitting there like, oh my god, like how are they going to get to this plot hole, that plot line, because the whole season's already written. They kind of know what's going to come next, and they have also a lot of time to figure that out. It's not like, oh, by the way, new season, what are we doing? Where are we going?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's definitely a lot of pros to it. You know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime also has to coincide with some sort of set release schedule, so that's the other thing. It's not like the set releases are going to, like, stop when they're not airing, so, you know, that would be, I guess, a little bit of a challenge, but, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting, and, like, I know this is the farewell episode of Go Rush, but I think it's important to spend time talking about the future for Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are probably watching, listening, that maybe didn't watch Go Rush and want to know, like, shoot, what's next, you know? So that's why we're spending a good amount of time talking about it.
Yeah, can I pause you real quick?
Please.
Pause.
Okay. We got a $70 Canadian donation from Terrence.
Thank you so much, dude.
Terrence said, the
Jesus.
Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast brought me back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows, and the Entame Subs team allowed us to watch these shows for 5 years. Thank you all.
Very succinct. Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Terrence is he was someone who was shocked that the mystery girl was not just a background gag. Shocked. Terrence has been a very active participant in the Discord, which I'm appreciative of. Terrence, thank you so much for your support, man. Thank you for the insanely generous donation. The man from the Great North. We actually have a lot of men and women from the Great North in this community, which is beautiful. Canada, which is beautiful.
Oh, Canada.
Why are you looking at me like I didn't know? You're the one who doesn't know geography.
I know Canada's above us.
Wow, congratulations.
Wait, Dill. So you're calling out Terrence being surprised by the mystical. Were you not surprised in that last scene when all you see is hundreds of mystery girls coming out of these like multiverse portals to attack you? You can't. Are you really gonna try and tell me? No, please try and convince me that you weren't surprised.
I always had faith.
What a politician's answer.
He said, I'm not worth it. I'm muted. Terrence, thank you so much. To think that this podcast, and it speaks to you, gentlemen, as well, to think that this podcast got you back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Of all things,
It's crazy.
that it was this podcast.
Anytime we get anything like that,
Us
it's always
clowns?
wild.
You know, I had a very nice super chat a couple days ago from Jesus Izaguirre, who's been around for a very long time. Very, very, very generous, very nice string of donations. And he said, man, like I tried to watch Sevens and Go Rush, and they weren't really for me. I couldn't really vibe with them. And I praised him because I'm like, you know what? You did the right thing, right? You watched it, you didn't like it, and then you never were, like, mean about it. Right?
No.
You were never mean to people who enjoyed it. You were very respectful to people who still enjoyed it. So I praised him first and foremost. And then the next thing that I did was kind of like get a little sad because he basically said, you know, I'm very bummed looking back on it now that I didn't watch these shows because I wasn't able to like follow along like the podcast, which I love to do. And I'm like, listen, don't feel bad. If you don't force yourself to watch something if you don't enjoy it just for us. But no, it is amazing how many people really enjoy us goofs just chatting every Wednesday
Bunch
night.
of clowns. there.
Surprising to me.
No, I think it's cool. And then, of course, the most important person, CL to my left, of course, subbing the show.
Without CL, we wouldn't have had a
There would be no
8's
show.
or a
There's no podcast.
talk, Sevens Up. We wouldn't
There's
have
no
it, so.
podcast.
No, those other translations weren't the best in the beginning.
About how Seven's Road Magician was hot.
Attractive.
Attractive.
Yeah. Attractive.
No, sorry. That's like the most famous one, but the one I remember the most when I first watched those subs was I think Ro was saying the line like you and I live in different worlds.
Yes.
But the sub said you and I and are different worlds.
What?
Yes.
It doesn't even make any sense.
Yes.
Love it.
That was my favorite favorite screenshot.
Oh my god.
Like maybe the prerequisite to translating something into English would be a grasp on English.
Yes.
Like,
That is.
Holy shit. For those that don't know, the first 12 episodes of 7's were translated by a different group. The MTMA subs team took over at episode 13.
The Anime sub saved
Well-
saved
Was
them.
it 12? Okay, I wasn't sure.
It was
12, episode 12. The start of Yuga Roa. Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
fair, I
but-
think they were non-native English speakers, but still,
Oh, okay.
come on.
I don't know anything about that.
So, actually, since like the show is over and like everything else is over, I can actually recap everything that happened because everything that happened leading up to me picking up the show
Oh.
was like a huge drama slide.
Oh, good.
Ooh, I love it. Let's hear it.
All right,
Do
so,
it.
The drama
I
is
love the
breaking
tea.
here on Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything.
You-
This is why you watch.
Here comes
You
the
heard
tea.
it here first.
No, okay. So originally, when Sevens first started airing, the group that did the first, I think, 4 or 5 episodes before they had to go on hiatus,
Yes.
was using DMC. DMC is the guy who does the summaries. So DMC did a script translation and just posted it.
Yeah, I
And
remember
so
that.
they took that script and just put it on the episode and then released it. So that was like the first 5 episodes were fine. And then the hiatus happened.
Yes.
So within that 8-week hiatus, like no Sevens was airing, nothing was really going on. And then, the show finally came back at episode 6, I think it was.
Yep.
And then the original team that was doing episodes 1 through 5 with DMC scripts was no longer together. So then no one was actually actively like picking up like Sevens to sub it.
Right.
So the person who picked it up to sub it, Temp Subs, who also mistakenly gets attributed to that Sevens Road Magician is attractive sub, that's not him. That's someone completely different. Anyway, Temp Subs did episodes 6 through 11.
Okay.
And they were translating from the Indonesian sub. So the Indonesians subs were translated from Japanese and then from Indonesian into English. So it was like a
Oh.
3-language translation.
Wow.
They were like okay for the most part. And then every single time like Temp Subs would post like a new episode, they'd be like, "I've named myself Temp Subs because this is temporary.
Right.
Like I would like someone else to pick this up."
Yeah.
Because they're doing a 3rd language translation,
Yeah.
and so they were doing that for episodes 6 through 11. Episode 12 comes around, and all of a sudden, one of the members from the first original 1 through 5 group comes back,
Oh.
and they were like, they made this huge post on Meow, which is the site that
Yeah.
all the subs is posted on the
Yep.
torrent site, about how Temp Subs stole our job.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
It was like huge, and every single time Temp Subs posted, they were like, "This is temporary. Like, I really
don't
want
wanna
the
do
original.
this."
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
do this. Is like, because no one else is doing it, so I am. But like, if the original team would come back, that'd be great. Like every single time Temp Subs posted, that was the message. So one of the original people from the 1 through 5 team, which by the way, they didn't even translate it. It was DMC
Yes,
who did it.
yeah.
And
They were type
That's how they did it for
time
5
setting,
too.
right? What is that
yeah,
called?
they just
Typesetted.
They just timed it. They
Oh,
didn't
timed.
typeset it. But they timed it to the episode, and that's what they put out. Anyway, one of the original people from that group showed up and made that post. It's like, Temp Sub stole our job. I can't believe this guy did this to us or whatever. But it was only that one guy. He was speaking in plural, but he was just one guy.
Yeah.
Makes sense why that first group maybe broke up in the first place.
What are you saying?
Yeah.
and so
big
that-
personalities.
Yeah, and so that guy made a second sub of episode 11, which I don't think anyone ever saw because like the Temp Subs 11 is what gets put onto the pirate sites because it was the first one.
Yeah.
So that's what that was. But they like redid episode 11. You could already tell that it was very terrible.
Yeah. Jeez.
But yeah, so that person came back and did that for episode 11. I saw that. That's when I caught up. Episode 11 is when I caught up because I was like, well, I said I'd give every Yu-Gi-Oh anime gets 13 episodes to impress me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
I
a good
caught
treatment,
Up,
yeah.
I caught up episode 11. And then when I went to go download episode 11 is when I saw all this drama go down.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I was like, I could just do this myself. This person, this one guy who's like throwing a fit over having his job stolen
Job.
pisses me off.
Job.
Pisses me off.
Yeah.
So I was like, I could just do this myself. So I did, and that's
Yeah.
what happened.
That is so funny.
So I guess that like you're already okay. I'm catching up, and then it's like this piques your interest even extra.
right.
So like, so
Yeah.
you're like, oh well.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean a lot of egos out there, you know.
So wait, what episode was it that the
Seventh
Seventh Division is attractive?
That was episode 12. Yes, it was 12.
And that was
That was that one guy.
that guy. Okay, yeah.
Seventh Division.
Yeah, and so what he did, and I know this for a fact.
What?
And I know this for a fact, but he literally just took like the captions file. So like there's like an official, like, you know, like live captions
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Japanese. He just took that file, ran it through a translator, and then like a machine translator,
Yeah.
and then just put that on the
Oh.
episode. That's how you get lines like Seventh Row Magician is really attractive.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, like Google Translate is not good.
No.
Very at all. Yeah, crazy story. Well, you know what? Listen, we're happy that it brought you to Yu-Gi-Oh. We're happy that you did 4.5
Yeah, thank
amazing
God.
years. Thank God is right. Yeah, unreal. Unreal.
I mean, we could have done that. We could have went to Google Translate and just threw the whole
anybody
thing on
could
that.
have.
Could do that.
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
would-
come out like
would-
trash. It would've been
wouldn't be
awesome.
good.
God, dude.
I mean, our interpretation of Go Rush would have been so different.
Yeah.
Because, like, really,
Yeah, and it would have.
you know, Yugioh would have been calling Yudia sexy in the middle of the duel. Like, oh, I guess that, you know, wow, how about that? No,
I mean,
really.
that's canon.
I mean,
That's yeah. You picked a bad example.
You picked a bad example. That's just canon.
That would have been wild.
I mean, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. No, you know what I want to do? I'm trying to think if there's any. I want to go around, and I want us.
Okay.
All right. Well, hold on. I want you to just pause for a second.
Terrence, thank you, by the way, man.
Just pause for a second. Think we want to say. We'll give you 5 seconds, then you go.
Okay.
In the arms of an
I think that we should go around the table, and instead of saying our favorite character, because I think there'd be a lot of overlap there, I think we should say a character that we really, really liked that you feel is very, like, underrated. Kind of a side character that you really liked, or a character that you feel like doesn't really get talked about all that much. But I think that would kind of be fun here to do. And we'll go around and, you know, we're going to probably rank the seasons. We're going to probably do a lot of things. But I think that would be fun to do. Do you want to start? I think you're dying to say.
I know who he's gonna say.
Yeah, well, I hope he doesn't, especially because she got smoked.
Do
by
it.
Otis.
All right. I'm gonna give you two. I'll give you Ron as my joke, of course. Ron. My girl.
No, I support you. Ron's the bomb.
She is a boss.
She's a, oh, I thought you said bum.
Wow. She might not be the best duelist, but she's a boss.
She lost to Otis.
Yeah.
Boss.
I said she might not be a great duelist, but she's a boss.
She single-handedly saved the group during the whole Tremolo
he does
phaser
forget that.
invasion.
He does
Yeah, you
forget
do
that.
always
Literally
forget that.
saved it.
But continue.
Go on.
Okay. First of all, Ron was underappreciated. That's just a pure fact. But I'll leave that there. And I think I actually said this. I don't know how many weeks ago it was, but we were kind of talking about, you know, who we. I think we were having a conversation about who we wish we saw more of, or like different duels that we wanted to see. And one character that I thought captivated the screen greatly, but just didn't get the time was Zion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Zion was. Every time he was on screen, I was like, wow, this is like, you know, he really kind of draws you in, and all the chants were good. The deck was fun. And it's ironic that his actual, like, story is how he wants to own, like, a furniture store. Like, it's not like that's an exciting endeavor.
It's relatable.
But I think it's funny. I was driving, and I was like, wow, the price of chairs is really expensive. I bet, like, you know,
They are,
you
though.
sell
Yeah,
enough
yeah.
chairs, you can make a
Zion.
lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I actually did say that, but that's how my brain works.
Yeah, I believe that.
But so like I think Zion could have been someone that could have gotten in a couple more duels here and there. Now, granted, I don't know how, but
Yeah.
just captivated the screen really well. So that would be my character. I think that was maybe underappreciated.
Can I tell you this? I finalized my list of top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush characters. It's maybe a little bit of a spoiler for the people. That video will be out tomorrow. Zion made that list for me.
Oh yeah.
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 He
Yeah.
did. I'm not gonna say where, but he did make that list.
Baby, great at number 8.
Yeah, he did make that list for me. He made that list. I really loved his character. I thought the whole self-employment desire was very, very relatable. And
I wonder why.
I really, really liked his character. I thought his duels were insane. He was Nail if Nail had fashion sense. I mean, he was.
I'm counting in my head. If you had told me your top 15, I'd be like, all right, I see a guaranteed top 10.
I might have omitted some that you would put there, but
I know you did.
Did Ron make the list?
no. Dredge, a side character you like that you felt was, or a character you felt was just very underrated.
Side character that was underrated.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is gonna be a hot
for
take.
the
I already know,
dono.
so I might as well just jump
Let's
on
hear
it.
it.
No.
Say it.
You know, this character has a great power, and he just wasn't used enough. Yeah, Duty Nishaw, man, needed to be.
Oh, you know what? I agree. Go on.
There we go. Come on.
Duty Nisha.
Agreed. Duty Nisha needed to be on screen more. Guy was a real thinker, real innovator. Joe should appreciate this big think guy.
I like him. Yeah, I like him.
I think he would have done well in more important spots toward the end. Even at the end, right? You see him and they're like asking for advice because why don't we use him more? Would have been great. And what was the other part of the question?
No, that's fine.
That was it. I think that's yeah.
I liked him a lot. Yeah, we're talking super underrated.
Duty Nishaw top 10?
He's not my top. No, he's not. However, I have not made this list yet. This list will probably be out next week or in 2 weeks. Top 10 strongest duelists in Go Rush. That is little. No, I do have to consider him because I know.
Honestly, yeah.
Because he beat Udius. I mean,
Power rankings wise, yeah.
I do have to consider like that is a big important win. He wouldn't be very high, but to make the top 10 is pretty significant. He's in my short list. I have a short list of like 15 characters. He is in my short list, so he might make that.
How many times did he duel?
He only dueled once.
There should be like a requirement.
Yeah, it's tough. because
Minimum 3 duels.
You get a lot of like villains, like final villains, like Darts from Duel Monsters is a great example. Who only dueled once, but like you can tell how insanely strong that character is.
It's their aura.
Right, it's the aura.
But
That's why it's
but
tough.
theoretically, he just wouldn't make the list, not because he's not a good duelist, but because he didn't duel
disqualified
enough
because-
times.
So
So
maybe
that's why I usually don't put him that high. Like, hey, you beat UDS, it's a great win. But
now it's on number 9.
Sure, maybe. It's the
Honestly,
same- yeah.
you know what? He is the only character that has actually made like a dual decision that any actual competitive rush duelist would make in real life, and that's choose not to attack when your opponent has back row that you don't know about and you have no way to deal with it.
Oh, that's a very fair
Like-
point,
like,
actually.
he-
That's a
he
fair point.
chose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're being quoted in that video. He's purposely going to come back.
Exactly.
Give a complaint of why you just go.
Exactly.
I couldn't say it any better myself, so here. And it's just
No.
saying the exact line.
But
That's a great
it is a
point.
very good point,
Yeah,
though.
it's a great point.
Like he would make a decision that like if you played this game in real life, you would also make.
Which is
And
extremely
that is
rare.
and that is what won him the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like no one does that in Yu-Gi-Oh.
No.
No one makes a rational
I'm going to
decision.
go for it. It's like, oh, great.
That one card on the field, get a 3 back row battle.
What? You what?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. So yeah, listen, he's not a top 10 character, but anyway, would you like me to go and then we'll go this way?
Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. I like that.
I'm gonna stay underrated characters that I actually really, really vibed with and related to.
I know where this is going.
It's not George Jersey. It's not George Jersey.
I know where we're going.
It is Mokita.
There it is.
Okay, I
There it
agree.
is.
Let's go.
I genuinely loved his character.
I
thought
really
he
did,
was
yeah.
a very like chill guy.
His character is the reason that I hate Manya. Like, it's not even close. I
He
hate
ruined
Manya.
Same.
Manya sucks. It's not
Same.
even like. to bully someone for their hobby, like I don't care. Anyone out there? I'm sorry. You like Manya? You're just heads in the clouds. You don't see that she just bullied the poor guy out of his hobby. Like that, like hit home. You know, as someone who was bullied as a kid, like that was like naughty. Like
it wasn't
like,
it.
You can relate with Makita and Mbembe, so that's actually not a bad answer. I'll give you all the credit.
Manya's got nothing on Mimi.
Well, and every
Nothing.
no,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Night and day.
She broke the cycle. She broke
I
the
don't
cycle.
care that she broke the Itachi curse.
Don't care.
Mimi clears. But that being said, yeah, listen, we're all at the end of the day. If you're watching this, you are to some degree a Yu-Gi-Oh nerd,
Nice.
I would say.
Nice.
So like whether you collect the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, whether you play the video games, like we're all into nerdy stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've got a lot of Funkos and U2s. And yeah, like as someone who also did experience bullying, as I'm sure most of us did, when we were younger, like that was just she was just so cruel.
Yeah, it was unnecessary.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Yu-Gi-Oh character be that cruel. That wasn't like a villain.
Yeah.
That wasn't like an antagonist.
She was one on our side.
I thought, she was on our side. And in the middle of it, I'm starting to feel bad for the Luke's henchman, and I'm like, I kind of want the Luke's henchman to win.
Yeah.
I don't like that he's freezing everyone, but like this is nuts.
Yeah.
So Makita Mbembe, I would have loved to see him. Obviously, his friend Yugioh itself, Yuumu ended up beating the Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, that was the Yeti
But
Yugioh.
they are printing a new Rush Duel series that's like modifying like plastic figures like Gundams.
Oh,
what?
Yes.
Well,
Yes,
that's
they are,
Mbembe.
and it's
that's you,
actually it's gonna be like a new like ritual basically archetype. I guess I can call it.
Oh, is that
but-
shown at next
Oh,
turn?
it's a card. No, they're not making plastic models. They're
No,
making
no,
an
no, no, yeah,
archetype
yeah,
that's
it's a
based
card.
on-
Yeah,
that's
it's a
still
card.
sick though. No, that's still
Was that
dope.
the one that was shown at next turn?
Mhm.
Okay, I can't
Yeah,
think
it
of the
was,
name,
and
but-
it is really cool, and it's like, hey, that's Mokita Mbembe.
That is Mokita Mbembe. Mokita Mbembe. He's got a fun name to say too. So I'm going with Mbembe. George Jersey's a very close number 2 for those
I bet he
wondering.
was.
Let's go New Jersey.
You're leaving the
CL.
state.
I am leaving the state. Yeah.
You mother.
The Jersey Devil will always be in my heart.
Yeah.
CL, what about you?
That's tight.
Super
Well, actually,
underrated side
skip
character.
over me.
Okay.
Skip
okay.
over you?
Skip
Yeah,
over
come
CL.
back to me later.
I have 2. Is that fair? Can I do
Yes.
2?
What are you talking
One,
about?
and I actually saw HJ FaZe share this opinion with me. So again, this is not who's a great duelist or not. This is not who's
Oh, yeah,
who's
it
my
doesn't
favorite or
matter.
not.
Say it.
Yeah.
But Shubaha is one.
Yes.
Shubaha, yes,
Absolutely.
Yes,
I think his
agreed.
design is cool. I think his
Agreed.
deck is cool. I think his purpose in the show was maybe underplayed a little bit. I think he was a bit more significant than we kind of remember. Buster Blader.
He was really cool.
I think we could have done more with him because he had such an interesting historical past with the Ryugu brothers.
Yeah.
But I think we could have explored that a bit more. But I think he's underappreciated for how cool he really
I like
is.
that pick.
And
Yeah.
the other pick is Bochi, who I think unironically, I think he has some of his plot line or one of his plot lines is some of the more emotionally riveting I think we experience in Go Rush. I think his relationship with
Amanya.
not Manya, no, his past
Manabu.
Manabu. With Manabu, I think is really interesting, and it kind of has reminded me of a time I had to give up a pet or
Yeah.
and I don't know. I thought their reunion was really emotionally riveting.
Very relatable.
Yeah, and I think he's an honorable character.
Yep.
I just underrated. I think he's a cool guy.
I liked him.
Yeah.
I liked him. Yeah, I liked him a lot. Those 2 good picks.
Thank you.
Pete, what about you?
I just got to read. Colin just goes.
Oh God.
Talking about Bochi, he gets knocked down a peg because he saved Manya. If he let Manya die, he'd be top 5.
Thank you, Colin.
Let's go, Colin.
That
He does
crazy.
lose a couple points. Yeah.
No, that is crazy. Oh my God.
I had to read that one.
What
That
is
was-
chat's wilding tonight? That is
good.
crazy.
Yeah, underrated characters. I think of obviously ones that are either not dual present really, they duel a few times but not really, or they're just kind of support characters. And of course, I can name my favorites and Epoch and Rovian, but
Goats.
I want to give a shout out to Neanderstar.
Yeah.
And I think what she yeah, well, we know why you're cheering. What that was good.
all right.
Hey, I'm putting you in Gooner prison.
guy's gooning.
What she deals with on a daily basis with Manabu alone should be commended.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
the emotional
Yes.
heartbeat that she could sometimes be for the crew, what she had in the first couple arcs of the duels that she was involved with
Yeah.
involving Manabu, I think those things mean something. And she's a constant kind of moment, a vision for the audience to look into and be like, yeah, you watching what these clowns are saying right now? Like,
Yep.
I enjoy that a lot about that character, and I love that at the end of it, she gets to be part of UTS, where she kind of started in the beginning where we had that cat scene again.
Yeah.
You get her human version all the way back working for the company she was originally against. I really liked her character arc and her story, and she deserves a shout out.
No, unironically, I do.
Love
really
it.
agree.
We picked the dog human. We picked the cat human. I love it. CL, who are you going with?
Let's hear it.
All right, the easy. Okay, I have a couple. But
Okay.
the very easy thing I could say is Phaser and Tremolo.
Yeah.
I felt like
The dragon
They were
human?
just here for an arc,
Yep.
and then while they were used in other arcs, it just never felt like they really did anything beyond that.
Agreed.
And I also felt like they ran into the same problem that they had with Epoch later in the show, where they accidentally created this character that is actually a little too powerful, so they had to nerf them by just not giving them screen time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
what happened to Phaser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Yeah,
it.
we have this all-powerful space dragon. He's just not going to be on screen. Epoch has the voice and the power to like make peace and coexist with other human beings, or like have them understand each other. We're just not going to give her any screen time so that she can't use that power.
Yeah, that's actually a really
the
good
ultimate
point.
nerf.
Yeah.
Like,
So
oh god, they wrote themselves into a box. They're like, all right, we're just gonna dial it back a little bit,
Yep.
yeah,
or entirely.
It's so sad. I think Phaser and Trouble deserved a lot better. I think they were very interesting people, especially like being like the last of their species.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's essentially like
Would have loved to see that.
I would have loved to see like Udius and them and Shubaha kind of commiserate when when the
Yeah.
Bulgarians were all dying. Like it
Exactly.
was a perfect. Anyway, they're the very easy one. But if I were to not do like the ones that are like glaring me in the face, Muta.
Muta.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say Dinoa because she got 3-4 duels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
that's,
insane,
Which is
actually.
an insane
Yeah,
amount.
damn, she really did.
Yeah, it
And
is.
Muta only got like 2, and one of
Yeah.
them was a tag duel.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So I felt like he could have been used a lot more. I loved him. I wish he was used a lot more. Dinoa got so much screen time in so many duels, and in comparison, he got one solo duel, which was his introduction, and then like one tag duel later on in the series after not even having any screen time at all. Dinoa even got a whole episode to herself in the space time.
Yeah,
So like
they really unbalanced the whole Velgear henchman thing just because they wanted to make a fighting over Yugioh gag.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even remember who Muta was.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I didn't want to sound disrespectful about saying that, but you're right.
No,
You
Muta
got
could have been
no
really
screen
cool,
time.
actually.
Like
Yeah,
Dean
he
Wall,
did.
we knew was back and forth all the time. At some points, it was almost like you said, it was the gag of fighting over Yugioh.
With Mitsuko, yeah,
she
the
got
two of them.
so much screen time because she was part of the gag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was like, and Muta just was maybe standing in the background, maybe not.
Yeah.
Like that's how I
They
feel.
could have done a lot of cool stuff with
Like
Muta.
if you showed me the picture and asked what Muta's name was, I probably wouldn't have gotten
Yeah,
it.
that's fair. That's
And
fair.
I don't even mean it to be like they don't deserve to be, because that's like the definition of underappreciated and
Yeah,
underutilized.
exactly.
So
Who? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's one of Zuijou's like
Right hand man.
right hand men.
Yeah.
Because it
Like that was the
like,
point. And then they just
And that like he and Dinoa would fight over, and then like they stopped doing that
You know,
because
think-
then Dinoa got another gag.
Thinking about him
Exactly.
and Dunois, because obviously they always package together most of the time. I always forget. It just made me reminded me now. So y'all just reminded me of that. Remember when Manabu was kind of on everybody's shit list?
Oh, yeah.
and he was like forced to basically be their servant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that until this moment. It popped in my brain. That was a pretty funny episode.
It was
That way.
really
Is
funny.
there a growing anti-Manabu movement?
That's why we have
In
that.
America.
Yeah. and then we flipped it when they were like, actually Manabu's cool, and we're like, is there a growing pro Manabu movement in America.
Or you had me on the sound alert, like when he was really going downhill. Hey, let's be honest with this Manabu guy. This guy sucks.
This guy sucks.
Yeah, when he's firing the anti-karmata, and we're like, yo, what is this guy doing?
right.
Yeah, I mean that was crazy.
He was crashing out.
Yeah,
He was crashing
hard.
Crashed out. He crashed out.
What about when? I mean, most recently though, he had that speech to kind of help Yugioh, right? Kind of at the end of
no.
149.
148.
148.
Like that episode.
Yeah, that was. I mean,
liked it
he
a
had a
lot,
little
actually.
speech there to kind of
That
help
was
Yugioh find his. And then Yugioh, of course, brings it to something, which I was like, really.
Yeah,
We're
of
back on the
course.
something again. I was
Yeah,
like-
it worked though.
It's really funny. This season has been in terms of like for this arc, I should say, not this season. The last Sengoku arc was really funny because every time Manabu said something, and he always said something like reasonable, like, oh, rush drills are for like thinking of the future, or like not for like lamenting about your family or whatever, or like, oh, Ron and Tenten are like joining together by the power of whatever, right? And they're like they're finally trusting each other, and he's also telling Yugioh like, it's how you move forward that really matters or whatever. He's saying reasonable things.
Yep.
And every single time, everyone responds, no, shut up.
Yeah. Oh, brother, this guy again. Yeah. No. Oh, he's on his. Yeah. Yeah, they're making it like he's like really just yapping. And I know, I was with him. I actually thought the past, like, this whole arc was like really strong for Manabu in terms of like his presence and what he was saying. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, brother, this guy
guy
stinks.
stinks.
Yeah.
Well,
It was really funny,
was
though,
really
because it's
funny.
like he's giving Yugioh the pep talk, and he's like, "Isn't that right, Yugioh? Isn't that what a warrior is?" And Yugioh's like, "No, it isn't."
yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Maybe that's why they brought in Gakugen the way they did, to make Manabu look like that much better.
Yeah.
Because compared to him, Manabu like is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was ashamed of his ancestry. He was like,
yeah,
Jesus,
you
this
relate
guy.
to Manabu. You're like, yeah, this is terrible. My God.
Hang on,
I'm
I
just-
like this one comment. At least we learned that crashing out is hereditary.
Wow.
That's
Very
true.
fair.
Gakuting, yeah. I was very worried, CL, that you were going to pick Chupataro, so I'm happy you did not.
No.
Why? No one. Okay.
God.
By the way, all answers are valid when asking underrated
Okay,
character,
hang on.
except Chupataro.
Hang on. You know what? You know what's even crazier?
What?
Chupataro got much more focus and screen time in episodes than Muta did.
I know.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah.
There were whole
He
episodes
had that early
dedicated to
episode with UDS, right? My dear friend.
my dear friend Yudi. There's multiple.
It's
I
like
think
episode like what 5 or
off the
something.
top of my
Yeah.
head, I think there was at least
Meek-chan.
3 episodes
Meg
that
Chan,
mostly
yeah.
focus on Chupataro.
Yeah, those were tough times. Remember,
Yeah.
remember
I
his
mean,
like
I
apartment.
I liked him. He was funny.
He was
Can
funny.
you
No,
imagine
like
the smell in that
I-
apartment?
I disliked him because he was irritating, but that's why I liked him, because it was really funny. That it must have smelled horrible.
Oh, see, I was the exact opposite. Like, if he was killed off screen, I would have been excited.
Oh, see, no,
Whoa.
no, see, that's why our hates for him
Yeah,
are diverged, because I would have preferred that he'd been killed on screen.
I couldn't stand him.
I would like another thing to do, and then we're going to get to some donations, super chats. Appreciate all you guys watching and listening. Really, really appreciate it. Means a lot. How about we go around and rank the 3 seasons? Which ones we,
okay.
from our least to
I
favorite?
think we're gonna have very similar things. Yeah.
I think we might. I'm going to throw it over to you, Cal. Do you want to start? Do you want to start, or do you want me to start, man?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we should start at Pete and work back around this way.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with
fine.
that.
I go
that.
last. That's beautiful.
Pete, you're going
Ooh,
first.
Put me on the
Putting
spot.
you on the spot.
Yeah,
got it on
for me, it's 2-1-3. I
So 3 is your top.
I'm going best to worst.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah, I'm going best to
2,
worst.
1, 3. Okay.
So
okay.
2-1-3 for me. Yeah, I just think what kind of season 2 did, I think it was amazing. And like I think of season 1 and kind of how it ends and what a duel between Otis and Yugioh. But you know, it does go through its little tutorial phase in the beginning, and like that does factor in when you're looking at entire seasons. And then season 3, I mean, we talked about here. It's a bumpy ride for a decent part of it for me personally. But it also has some incredible high highs. So nothing is terrible by no means. But if you force me to rank it, yeah, it's 2-1-3.
2, 1, 3. Love it. Nick T, how do you rank it?
I'm stuck here. I am
Do you
stuck.
need any like reminder on? Any,
No,
like,
I
rules?
remember it all. It's just really like
Well, that's good. I mean, clearly you feel similarly about the seasons.
I do.
You don't
I feel
there's
very
any significant dip or anything.
No, there isn't, I think. But I think where I'm stuck is 1 and 2 are pretty like in high regard. I think maybe for different reasons. I think the storytelling and what they did is a bit more ambitious in 2.
Mm-hmm.
But there is just this like warm, fuzzy place with 1 that I have. Even with the tutorial stuff, I'm like, man, these were real good times.
A lot of new cryptids.
Not a lot of new cryptids. We were just like learning about these like sometimes goofy, but some like really wholesome and complicated characters. Like it was just like a really good time to like be diving into the show. And for that reason, I think I put 1. I think it goes 1, 2, 3, and not because I think the show decreases in quality, but because I'm so fond of 1. And 2 is just like I think peak as far as like quality.
Yeah.
Remember season 2? It's quite duel, man.
No, and I love Quiet. That's why it's a
that's
struggle
why
for me.
yeah.
As far as like what the show is, I think 2 is peak, but in terms of like in here, it's 1.
That's what matters in here.
Yeah.
Up here.
Yeah.
In here.
Exactly.
Uh,
Here it's 2, 1, 3. Here is 1, 2, 3.
So then you're gonna go with 1, 2, 3.
I'm going with my heart.
CL, how do you rank them?
The exact same way as Nick T.
Okay.
Here it's 1, 2, 3. Up here it's 2, 1, 3. Yeah, no, I like season 2 gave me some of my favorite characters ever, which
Exactly.
were Phaser and Tremolo.
Yeah.
But season 1 was just so fun. Like I liked, I did like all the tutorial episodes. I liked Arc 1 a lot. I liked Arc 2 a lot still, even because it was a lot of world building. We got to
Because
learn.
Rovian.
I
Yeah.
mean, she was also great. But like it was a lot of world building. It was learning about, like how the Garrosh world worked. It was being introduced to new cryptids and new aliens, and they were always really exciting.
Yeah.
And Arc 4, there's not a single episode in that arc that I disliked.
Okay.
Like even remotely or even that I thought was mid. I think Arc 4 was just home run after home run after home run.
Yeah.
Dylan probably ranked his arc, so you guys like to talk about that.
Well, we did rank all of our arcs. I think one of the weakest arcs in the show still
Say it.
is that Rovian arc.
Yeah.
In,
'Cause you're a
season
hater.
1.
Get out of
That
here.
being-
It's fine.
That being
Boo.
said, I
Oh,
You just.
I love
you're
the
so
Yuga
hateful,
episode. And
man.
I love the George Jersey episode. I think those are the 2 highlights of that arc.
Why I oughta.
I am, man, I'm back and forth. I'm going to go 2, 1, 3, which is the same way that Pete had it rank. I just love Kwai Duel. I love what he brought. I actually really enjoyed the space-time arc for the most part, and I thought, like, his villain reveal. Listen, I think he's, like, genuinely, not including Lightning from Vrains, like, the best villain we've had since like Zexal era. Like I think he's that good. I think he's an incredible villain. I think he's an amazing character. I cannot tell you how high I am on Kwai Duel. I think he's a top 10 villain in this franchise.
Yep.
I think he's probably like maybe the 3rd best villain spin-off Yu-Gi-Oh wise. Like I can't say enough praise about him, and he commanded, that entire space-time arc, and he was obviously a big factor at the end of that 7th arc.
Honestly,
or
that's
the 6th arc.
That's what really sealed it for me.
Yeah, the 6th
like where I
arc.
was like, damn, this is like I thought he was a great character before, but I was like, maybe I would put him up there in my villains list. Like just the fact that he could turn around and be like tell truths, but at the same time he's also corrupting Udius to be like, look, you gotta do this, man.
Yeah, well then the ritual stuff was
Yeah.
incredible. I will put season 1 above season 3. Season 3 was, I wouldn't say it was bad, but I just felt like it did some things that I thought was a little kind of like all over the place. I think I probably would have liked to see them go different routes in some of the like regards of season 3. You also have, obviously some recap issues as well. But yeah, ultimately season 3 is not bad. But I think, again, that nostalgia of season 1 and Yugioh being really, really good in season 1. He was playing the villain role in that season.
Yeah.
And he played the role really, really well, moved to a rival role, and he was great. I mean, the dynamic
yeah,
between
and
him.
Kwai Duel just getting what he wanted in the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those
And
first
he
Like, he
imprisoned
won.
Otis at the end.
Those first 2 seasons are good, and like we haven't really touched much on it, but like a big disappointment for me, and it might not be for some other people, is still that they like did not give Otis an identity. And I know that the whole
Not a problem.
We could talk about that more after you swing it over there.
Yeah, we will. We'll talk about that. That'll be our next talking point. But CL, Nick T agree 1, 2, 3 from best to worst. Pete and I agree 2, 1, 3 from best to worst. I'm hoping one of you guys doesn't put 3 in the gutter. I hope 3's not anonymously in the gutter. But
Cal's a 3-2-1 guy.
I would love to know your rankings. Cal, we'll start with you, man.
Well, I'm going to disappoint you.
Go on.
I'm actually in the same boat as you and Pete.
Okay,
with
2,
2,
1,
1,
3.
3. I think as much as I enjoyed 1, and I know Dredger's going to agree with me on this, the tutorial stuff is not my favorite, and I think it just went on a little too long.
Yeah.
And I get, like, you do have to explain a little bit if someone's watching the show that didn't watch Sevens, what's a rush duel, you know what I mean? So that could be something that helps you get along, and I get they're teaching Udius, all that. But I think Quaidul for me is the most compelling villain, and just the way he was done season 2, I thought was just really, really, and obviously in parts of season 3 too, he's there. I just think that season 2 for me was definitely my highlight. Obviously there's bits and pieces you can pick out of every season and say I really like or really didn't like.
Yeah.
But ultimately I think that was my favorite season outside of, what was it, the toilet humor episode?
Yes.
That they snuck in there.
That was tough.
But yeah, and then season 1, I again, for all the reasons you guys said, the nostalgia factor, whatever it might be. I mean, I mean the character building obviously takes place in season 1 as well. And then season 3, I just think there was a lot of episodes that I felt were not needed or didn't advance either the plot or a character as much as I would have wanted to for a final season. And I think for me, it was like, even getting towards the end, I was still nervous about how it was going to end. I think they did a really good job at the end, but my feeling throughout season 3, I think, was at like the lowest.
Yeah, okay. I think that's fair. Dredge, your rankings. Best
I
to worst.
have the what's it called? Scoregami, when it's like a different thing that everyone
good.
else said.
Go
I have
ahead.
Scoregami.
Oh, I like
have
that.
2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1.
My
All
reasoning
right.
is, and I've said it, and you can scroll back to Crazy 8's in the first 10 episodes. I hate the tutorials.
I get
never
it.
liked it, and I know I'm different. I understand that. You can hate me for it. The tutorial really bothers me. I do, again, when I say 1 is the last, 2, 3, 1, that doesn't mean 1 was bad by any means. I love the building up of characters. Yugioh's great. Udius is great. Yumu in that season was extremely good. But just for me, the tutorialness of it, and it honestly was more, arguably in my opinion, low stakes. Other than the Yugioh Udius kind of that part, it was 3 for me. The reason it jumps 1, honestly, and obviously we all have 2. Most have 2 is the best, or 2 or 1. The reason 3 goes to 2 for me is it's high stakes. There's everything's on the line all the time, almost in a standpoint. So I enjoyed that. It does have a lot of low lows. I'll argue that has the recap episodes, but has high highs. Rituals, right? Rituals was 3. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Rituals
Yeah,
was
of
3,
course, yeah.
which is a nostalgia for me in a sense.
True.
Contact Fusion is 2, right? That's why, yeah.
Contact Fusion's 3.
Technically it's 3.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying on a 3. There we go.
Okay, you know what? That's valid. That is valid.
Yeah, Darkmen. I mean, I wasn't
Is
a fan
that
of some of the
pro
Darkmen.
for season 3, the Darkman?
No, the Darkman is when that was.
Yeah. Just even, I will say that if you had asked me this question before 151, I probably would have went very simple 2, 1, 3. Wouldn't have even. But the emotional connection that I had with that final episode, in my opinion, can knock a lot of those bad episodes out of the water easily just by how good it was.
I think
I
that's-
agree, actually.
Damn.
I think
Yeah,
I respect that, actually.
Yeah, because if you argue, right, because how do we always say? Everyone remembers how a show ends.
Yep.
You don't always remember how it got
Game
there.
of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
I set myself up. Hey, I set myself up. Okay, but yeah. So to reiterate, yeah, 2, 3, 1. 2 is the best because Quaidul, as you've said, is one of the best spin-off villains. And just Quaidul. I don't say anything else. It's just Quaidul. Yugioh, Quaidul, Udius. Yeah. But, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. For me, I really liked the first half of season 3. I think the second half of season 3 is where it started losing me a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Definitely fair.
Yeah, that's where I kind of like checked out for a while because I was just kind of not like, I was like, I just need something.
You need like Yugioh.
She needed something,
like
bruh.
Yugioh. Yeah.
I will say that the Sengoku arc, despite its flaws, has actually made me appreciate the rest of season 3 a lot more.
I agree.
Because it is kind of like the ending to a lot of other character arcs. It's like recontextualized the earlier episodes that came before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oh my god, when 131, which was Yugioh versus Manabu, first came out, I hated that episode. That whole something bit was not it. That was not it. And then 132 was the exact same thing. I just couldn't do it. That was probably like the lowest point of the show for me. But Sengoku arc has the end of like the Yuki Otis arc and then Sengoku arc. With Yugioh's like whole character arc has made me reconsider 131 in a better light. So just for the fact that like the last arc has been able to get me to not hate certain episodes that I used to hate, I think the last arc has been pretty good. Yeah.
I will say this about the Sengoku arc is that I went into it like, man, what the hell are we doing? Like, we're deciding this late in the show to go back in time to an otherwise like arbitrary time period for like these characters who like at the time, like what ties these characters possibly have to this era. This doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we doing it now? And I found that like it really tied the show together in a really good way. Not only plotline wise, but like thematically.
Yeah.
Because like the whole like ending idea of like creating a better world for your descendants, and now we have 2 generations of descendants going back Sengoku to Go Rush to Sevens. So we have like layers of descendants all wanting to create a better world for their descendants, even to going back to Sevens with Yuga wanting to put duels back in the hands of kids and help the future of Rush duels. So this team comes full circle with that arc, and that really like sold it for me. I'm like, you know what, Sengoku rules.
Yeah, I think Sengoku is one of those arcs where I think because we were watching it week to week and we had to wait months for answers,
right?
Months for stuff to go anywhere, right? And now that the final episode has aired and we have everything, and how it ties back to like the show as a whole, Sengoku arc makes sense. But when you were watching it week to week, it was like, why are we here?
Yeah.
Like, we have so many other things we could be addressing right now. Like, I would like more character-focused episodes, a character-focused arc. We didn't need Otis. But, like, at the very end, like, they brought it back.
Yeah.
They really did a good job wrapping it up.
Speaking of Otis, I'm happy you brought him up.
Excellent transition.
No. She brought him up. I want to touch on it because I alluded to it a little bit, and then we'll get to some super chats and donations if we have any. But obviously they made the decision to not reveal who Otis is. I'm going to have to eat hot wings next week for that reason. I thought there was going to be a big unmasking scene. There was not. 149, I felt very confident at the end of it because Otis was like, after all, I'm, and then he gets interrupted. I'm like, oh, he's someone. And then, of course,
he's
even Yugi commentates on it after Otis is defeated and says, well, I guess we never learned who Otis is. Obviously, it was an intentional decision. He's just supposed to be some maniac. I mean, that's based some lunatic.
Oh, I don't know.
At least that's how I interpret it. He's just some lunatic.
I mean, he
right?
is a lunatic.
He's crazy.
I mean, he is crazy, but he's not just some lunatic.
Who is he?
Well, I don't think his identity really matters. It's
coming, right? It's an idea.
He's an idea. He's a role.
I don't know what to tell you.
They all but confirmed that to me because anybody could be Otis.
Yeah, they confirmed it during the finale duel.
Yeah.
Where anyone.
He's a concept, buddy.
Anyone could be Otis.
Been telling you that for about I don't know, give or take 100 episodes.
Yeah.
There's a concept, buddy.
I hate that. To me, then what's the point?
No.
What's the point? No, I mean really, like what you're gonna spend 2 full shows with this guy as your main villain, and you're not gonna do anything in regards to backstory or.
They gave us the small amount that they needed to make him feel like a person, but like he didn't need to be an actual guy that we need to know the identity of.
If that's the case, is that the main villain of these last two shows?
Well,
is that,
okay.
Is that a good design? I mean,
I will say this. The mantle of Otis is a concept, yes, but like there is an Otis that is a real person, and he exists in the Sengoku era. He's trapped in a paradox, of course, but he exists in the Sengoku era. He's them.
You wouldn't want to know more
Otetsu,
about him?
Of course I want to. Of course I want
and
to.
I'm not saying like the whole like it's Yuga, it's Udius. I don't even care if it was one of those characters or someone that we knew. I would have just liked whether it was Sevens or Go Rush. It's not just a Go Rush thing; it's a Sevens thing as well. I think for me to really be invested in a villain and a character in general, like I just want to know a little bit more about them as a character, and I feel like he was just lacking.
I feel like that was where your pitfall was, right? You invested in Otis when everyone else was kind of like, not really. Like this is really not the guy to be invested in.
Yeah.
And so of course
we did try
after
telling
you.
you.
And after everyone was kind of like, no, Otis doesn't really need to be anyone, but you kept insisting that he was. So, of course, you feel
you set yourself
like
up for disappointment.
You feel like it wasn't like a good ending for him because you wanted him to be something, but all of us didn't really want that. And so we were fine with him being nothing.
Dredger, are you fine with him being nothing?
You know I am. Was that really a question? Of course. Like he
Is he good? Was he a good character?
He tortured us for over what 200 episodes, 240 episodes of just who is Otis. So are you really? You just asked me if he's a good character?
Yeah.
Do you consider him a good character?
I don't. No.
Okay. So then you know my answer.
Your answer is yes.
Yes. What?
Yes, but
You can't even finish a sentence. You can't even get the sentence out.
Do you think he was a good character?
No. I again, credit to Go Rush for turning Ote Usu, aka Otis, into a credible final villain and threat. So much credit to them because if at the beginning of Go Rush you told me, Sevens, Otis come back, he's gonna be the final villain of this show as well. You know what I would have told you? To go, do something not nice. But now that I've seen it, it came out well. But is he a good character? No, he's not a good character. He wasted so much of my life. You yapping about him on these podcasts, I had to hear about it. Oh, he's gonna be. Yeah, it was all for nothing.
I wouldn't say that.
It wasn't all for.
Well, the biggest thing was the mystery girl. I mean, that's the biggest
Oh.
thing. That came out.
If that didn't come through, you would have been done.
Right, of course. No, the mystery girl may have saved the Otis stuff for me.
So, you took two shots, and one saved the other, basically.
One
Because-
is the other.
Because mystery girl being Otis saves both of them in that way.
Yeah, what did you think of them?
He moved the plot.
Okay. That's all you can say?
No, like he played his role. He wasn't like.
But he's not good. He's
he
not
was
good.
significant because he lasted right through two shows. Even when he started off as the hologram man, all the way up to Otis.
He was a hologram.
But like in all seriousness, he played a role and he played that role well in terms of he was essentially the reason for everything happening. Now, as a person and character, I don't even think we had enough like good screen time to say that's a really good character for the amount of episodes that he existed. Because he existed through two shows. And if you did a screen time listing, he would be way down. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, we had enough time for him to be a good character, I would argue. I mean, Duel had 2 arcs, and he's one of the... I thought he was incredible. I mean, Otis dueled over 10 times. He had plenty of duels.
Wait. 10 times
So I think you went
in
2 and 10.
combined 2 shows.
Yes, combined.
2 and 10.
What was his record?
2 and 10.
In duels, he was trying 2 and 3.
2 and 10.
Oh my god.
In duels, he was trying.
You know
We're still
what?
going on that.
There is a trivia entry on Otis's page on Wikipedia that says that this character took 200 and something episodes to get a win.
Yeah, that was my short a couple days ago, too. That was my did you know short.
That was the
2 days
funniest
ago.
trivia point ever.
Yeah.
Whoever put it there, thank you.
Pete, what are your thoughts now that Otis's character is wrapped up?
I mean, is he a great villain? No. I'll say not great for my liking. And I think for you, I'll say I think you struggle with metaphors. I think that's been pretty clear when we've been doing this podcast.
Jesus.
And I think you have to have things literally. You literally have to know the background of a villain. You have to know their motivations. And I think what Bridge ended up doing, is it my favorite? Absolutely not. But I think it actually ended up being better than where I felt at the end of Sevens, or where I was feeling through most of Go Rush, where Otis became credible, like as a credible threat, and became a credible part of the story, where I understood that it wasn't necessarily about the individual man. It's about the multiverse and what he represents to the timeline and what he represents to the characters. Just the omnipotent threat that he could present to all of our characters. I think we saw that. I thought it was interesting through the other Otises trying to murder him before he could alter anything further that might not go to the designs of one of their plans. And they're all selfish, and they're all trying to become the one person that rules Rush Duels and controls it and shapes it in their way. That concept, I think, is fascinating. And it kind of takes away from the individuality of one of the Otises. Sure. But I'm okay with that. I think we got to a point where I'm okay with that.
Especially after the previous 2 arcs were people trying to become Otis.
Yeah.
Like, Otis is a concept, not really a person. Does the person, like, bring something to the concept? Sure. Like, Asaka Otis versus, like, Yuna Otis.
Yeah.
The Tremolo Otis, Phaser Otis. Like, all the different Otises have something that happened in their universe that caused them to become that Otis, right? But at the end of the day, Otis is just some guy.
Right.
And he's just a concept that and a role that someone plays in the story. And it doesn't matter who plays it, just that someone has to play it.
And I could see your face, and I know that really bothers you.
No, I just think
Which-
it's a huge missed opportunity.
Which
that's
is,
all.
is totally fair, and that opinion,
I think
I'm not
everything you
necessarily
said-
even disagreeing.
I think everything you said could be true, as well as knowing that character a little bit more than we got in 260 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, we did get something extra out of him in the final duel. Right. Like, we knew that he was a game researcher who got disillusioned.
Right, well,
And
we knew he
now
was a Goa employee. That was one of the first things we knew.
Well, yeah, we knew he was a Goa employee, but we didn't know what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't really
and
tell
so now
you.
we knew, okay, he was a game researcher, and his ultimate goal is to answer the question, what is it about games that makes people so excited?
That was part
That-
of it, yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
somewhere...
the blood pumping or something.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said,
And, like, somewhere along the way, while he was in single-minded pursuit of that goal, he just, like, lost it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's where the sympathetic part comes
No,
in.
it definitely does
Well,
not come in there at all. He's not sympathetic throughout the entirety of both shows.
Yeah,
that
it's a
correct.
pretty...
He's the
un-
reason Rush Tools were made, but Nixie, your thoughts?
No,
I will-
it's the creator, Yuga,
yeah.
the creator of Rush Duels. Dude.
Well, Otis was a big part of it.
I'm
They're
gl-
co-creators.
No,
there's-
I will give Dylan
Thank
something
you.
here.
Yeah, thank you.
But that's mainly that I think if you look at Otis in a different way. So I wrote something like a while ago, and by a while ago I mean like a couple days ago, where I was just talking about like Otis's role in the story.
Yeah.
And like if you notice, like Otis in Sevens is kind of like a whimsical, like jokey guy. He's not at all what he is in Go Rush.
Can you blame him?
No, huh?
Can you blame him?
Right,
He
and
wa-
like he went through war, and like he has PTSD, and like
Yeah.
everything that happened. And I also think like part of it is because he lost his Earth Damar, that he became who he was today. Because like if you like remember back in like season 1 when Yuhi lost his Earth Damar, he completely changed as a person.
Oh, yeah.
And even in this
Oh, yeah.
season, even in this Sengoku arc, without Damamu around, he just loses like
Oh, yeah.
motivation and like reason, purpose, whatever. And I feel like that's probably the same thing that happened to the Otis in Go Rush.
for sure.
Like he was separated from his Earth Dama.
Yep.
His like personality, his interests, his like joy and whimsy, as it were, just deteriorated.
Yeah.
Right. Especially for where he was put in.
Yeah, and alongside the PTSD from living through war, and then he became this psychopath, right? Like he became insane and wanted to control everything. when that's not at all what he wanted to do in Sevens.
Yeah.
I feel like in that
I think
way
that's a
he's
great point, yeah.
sympathetic.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
that way he's very
I
sympathetic.
agree.
I can't find him sympathetic. That's just something I could disagree with. Anyone that's trying to murder children, I can't get on board with.
I can find I find the version that we get at the end of Go Rush as sympathetic, but I do think there's a very big distinction between that Otis and the Otis of Sevens, especially because where you end up with timelines and paradoxes gets very weird. And that's where we're at with like, addressing your, who's the creator of Rush Duels. It's a paradox because Otis created Rush Duels because Yuga created Rush Duels.
Well, it's like
Otis
pushed Rush Duels to existence.
He
I guess you
did.
could say.
Yeah, exactly. Like he made it exist.
He
The ultimate
created
game master.
he
made it
created
exist.
the environment for Yuga to want to make.
Well, that I mean, yes, that as well. But I meant both in a literal sense, where historically now at this point, Rush Duels was created because it was thrown into existence in the Sengoku era. But that's only because it was created in the modern era.
paradoxal loop.
It's a paradoxal loop.
He's the ultimate game master.
Sure, you could keep saying that.
I'm not gonna get triggered by you.
Yeah.
Just not doing it.
But there's a bunch of that. Like there's that that creates the paradox of like, the question of who Otis is to begin with, because he's a man from the present sent backwards and then forced to exist and enter the modern day again. And I think the show knows that. I think we're part of the why I'm not disappointed about what us not getting who he is is because the show knows that. The show almost addresses that, where it's like we're supposed to, but they shut the door in our face in the sense by making him lose, altering predetermined fate and shutting that door and making him not able to come back.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Can I just say one other point
of course.
to follow up with CL's point of, I think that's great what you said. I didn't even think of it in that way of the Earth Damar drastically changing him.
Yeah.
But then to add to that, it's not only like, all right, Dormammu wasn't with Yuhi a few episodes ago and you saw what I did, but Dormammu was kind of like right there.
Yeah.
Imagine your Earth Damar becomes a better version of you. Literally, the Earth Damar became the creator and made all of these. I mean, he labeled them as imperfect, but we wouldn't see all the Valkyrians as imperfect, right?
Yeah.
Made all these amazing characters, creatures, whatever, aliens, whatever you want to call them. And now you're facing basically at this point, their leader, the ultimate one.
Yep.
Which is the ultimate disrespect that your own Earth Damar made. And then at the end of it, after you lose and all your plans are down, you are now forced to be in prison probably for eternity
With
the first creation of your Earth Damar.
Yeah, it's
so
brutal.
you could understand why he is very different from his Sevens version and why he feels the way he feels.
Well, and also he knows that he won. He knows that he
and
beat
also he gets
Udius.
robbed.
Yes, he beat Udius, and then he didn't. And that's why, those tears at the end, man, they got me. When I was watching it alone earlier today, they got me because it's like, man, he knows that he won. He knows he beat Udius, and then somehow, because you're in this weird space-time situation where you get teleported back, Udius creates the UTS miracle with Yumu and Yuhi, and those are real tears.
But wouldn't you say that's ironic, though?
I would say.
Because he kind
Because
of
Earth Damar
created
the thing that beat him.
and he also created the time space to kind of degrade, which allowed Udius to take advantage of what he thought he had control of.
Yeah.
So I think that is the part of it too, that he actually created his own destruction by opening up that possibility.
Yeah.
And if you want to take it further than that, his kind of pushing forward of Rush Duels allowed Udius and the twins to have the ideology that Rush Duels can be anything, and at any moment they could continue going and become anything until they're over.
Yeah.
And he also screwed himself with that.
Yeah, no, it was genius.
point.
The way that it all played out was very good.
And the way where he's like, well, turn 6 is over. You can't change it. That's just how it's gonna be. That's like the antithesis of Rush Duels, right?
Yeah.
That's been
Yeah.
Rush Duels in the beginning. Is you don't know what's gonna happen until your life points hit 0.
Yeah.
And when the moment they went back to turn 5, the life points had not yet hit 0, so you wouldn't know what was gonna happen. So he had really become the ultimate villain, and that's why he's good as a concept, not as a person.
Yeah. I think, again, I just maintain that I think all of that could have been true, and we could have known a little bit more about him.
That's
But
fair. If we had
but,
more
like,
time, I think we could have.
Would you have been, I'm just asking personally, because I kind of agree with you in some ways.
Yeah.
But do you need a specific, very important character, right? Like we've thrown out there a Udius, or we've thrown out there Yuga, or Yuga's father, or all these ridiculous things.
I love that theory.
Or could it have been an original character that did receive a backstory? Would that have satisfied
Yes,
you?
it would have.
Okay.
I just would have liked to know, even if it was some random schmo, I think I would have liked to get, because all we know that is he used to work at Goha, and he was like an obsessive game developer. I think if we got like a little bit more about him, why the Sevens Road book meant so much to him, I think like there would have been elements that like would have maybe enhanced his character. And I think like all the stuff that you guys said, I like the Earth Damar, him losing the Earth Damar, him being sympathetic and go right. Like I fully am in agreement with that. And that's why I've said that the finale overall was very, very good. But I still just feel like we could have gotten in the 250 episodes a little bit more about him and about his backstory, even if he's not some like very important character. But I do get that for some people, maybe even a lot of people, him being a concept is fine. And that's totally fair.
You know what I just realized? You bringing up the book. The Sevens book.
Yeah.
I think the Sevens book is like a fairy tale retelling of Go Rush.
Oh.
And like the main character, the Sevens Road Magician, is actually Udius. If you think about it that way,
think about it.
Yeah, because at the very end, and I think what the difference between like the Go Rush and the Sevens book is, I think the Sevens book is probably what Go Rush originally was before they changed time.
Interesting.
Because the very last page of the Sevens book is the magician cried tears as he destroyed the moon.
Right.
Like, because he felt like he had to.
Right.
And that's basically what Udius is going to do. He's going to lock himself in eternal battle with Otis so the twins could run off and seal off the gate and make sure Otis could not, like, deal with it.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that was,
That's a very good
he
point,
was going
actually.
to lose in the original timeline.
It's
And so,
a
like,
really good
them
theory.
changing time, like, that Sevens book is what Go Rush originally was. And then they changed time and fate. And,
if
you know,
Yuomo and Yuhi weren't like, no, we can do this, and he's like, yeah, you're right. His original plan would have been to stay there, and that would have been the destruction of the moon.
Yeah, I got to reread.
or at least the fairy tale of that is the destruction. You have to reread it.
yeah, you can pull up your Sevens book and reread it.
He's got the PDF file in his Kindle.
The sequence, but yeah, I mean, I do like that. That's good. Yeah, cool. Judge or Cal, do you have anything to add?
I don't know.
On the
Nah, you first.
Otis stuff.
You first.
You don't have to add anything.
I know. I mean, I spoke on Otis before. Kind of idea. I think the idea of him, the concept was great as person. Not as much, but I don't know. I just don't know if a background making him, like, giving him more of a background story, like identifying, I guess, who he is in this timeline or whatever. I don't even know if that would matter. Because once you get to the last duel, and like you guys had said, all these different people are Otis in this duel, right? As they're jumping through, it's like you get Yuna, you get Rovi, and you get everybody in there at some point. It's like it doesn't really matter who that one is, because they've already proven that it could be anybody.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter. And as much as it would have been cool to know more, none of it would have really, like, wouldn't have done anything for his character at that point, because he's just another person in another timeline that ended up being Otis.
I do think, the difference between, like, what the story needs and what you want from the story. Well, obviously, what Dylan wants is an Otis backstory.
Yep.
But the story didn't need an Otis backstory.
Yeah. Which is true. I just want to play devil's advocate for a second in defense of Dylan.
Yeah.
Here, and that's like actual satisfaction. I think like maybe the story didn't necessarily need an Otis backstory or an unmasking, but like as far as like tying things up, like there is the satisfaction of unmasking the person we've been tormented by. I mean, think of like, I mean, as a parallel, like Scooby-Doo, like it's one thing to be like, oh, we got the guy who's not actually a monster and we're going to arrest him. But like the satisfaction doesn't come from the guy getting arrested. It comes from unmasking him and seeing who's the guy.
Yeah. And it was John Smithers at the antique shop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would have got away with it if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't someone that was like, significant to us even. If it was just, oh, well, this is the man behind the mask, this is the face of our tormentor, I think there would become some satisfaction to that, even if it wasn't necessary for the plot. There's a satisfaction that comes with it.
I think that.
So I can understand the disappointment.
The way you're saying it and the way I'm saying it more of as a need for the story.
Yes,
and you're
those
saying,
are separate
yes,
things,
they're
for
separate
sure.
things. So yes, I understand that.
They are separate things.
Although I feel like that comparison doesn't hold as well because Otis is such like a concept and a role that other people, anyone can be Otis.
Yeah.
That it just feels like different from that Scooby-Doo reveal.
Yeah, I mean, yes, anyone could be, but like Otis, I can't pronounce his name. Oteusu and Seven's Otis aren't anyone. Like the people that were trying to save the day by becoming him and, alleviating the pain of countless others, yes, could have been anybody, and that was proven by these last episodes because it is a concept. But the man himself, the person who it was doing those things, is a man, and that does exist. If it wasn't, if he was a phantom, sure, it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't. It in the grand scheme doesn't matter at all. It really doesn't.
I think,
but he was a man that did those things.
I think in Sevens it mattered so much more.
I would
Yes.
agree with
And
that.
I think
I can agree with
in
that.
Go Rush when you and I'm not necessarily saying I agree with it. As I said, like I'd rather an unmasking kind of thing. But when you go the route of anyone can be Otis, you immediately kind of eliminate the importance of unmasking the character.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. In all these multiverses, everybody was Otis. So who cares about the Otis that we have in this main universe? No one cares. And I think that is the representation very clearly and obviously of why he is masked and why every other Otis we see was not really like that.
Yeah.
Because he's a blank face. He's just supposed to represent a threat that we are supposed to fear, and that is it. And we're not supposed to know the details of him because it doesn't matter in the end. It just matters of us protecting our friends and the timeline and getting everyone back to their places safely.
I do agree with that, and I think that's why my point about it being necessary for the plot and being for satisfaction does hold water, I think, with the Scooby-Doo analogy, because in that analogy, arresting the guy doing, haunting the place, it ends it. It's done. Even if we didn't unmask him, that guy's gone.
That's
and,
by duel
and,
taking Otis away.
Yeah. Even if he's unmasked, he's gone, and that's the plot wrapped up. But the satisfaction comes from the unmasking. Even if it could have been anybody. Frankenstein could have been Frankenstein, even if he's not unmasked and he's gone now.
Yeah.
And that's
Vader.
okay.
Who's Vader under the mask,
Well, that's a whole
I think-
different thing.
I will add to that point a little bit to cut it off. I think what happens is I've watched a lot of shows that have masked villains.
Yep.
And the unmasking is the part that the audience, of course, waits for. But as you build this more and more and more, we are expecting a greater and greater shock reveal.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I think to your point where you said, hey, I'd be okay with it was John Smith and here was his backstory.
Me wouldn't
I
have
don't
been.
think you would have been. I think in the
Sevens.
moment, yes. But I think upon reflection, you would have been like, that was kind of underwhelming.
You're saying-
and I think that's the point they were trying to avoid.
Yeah.
When you keep building the
We built it
story
too
up
high.
and we can't have this great payoff, now it's just a concept and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I should also clarify that my frustration with him is not within just Go Rush. It also obviously
of
dates
course.
back to the entire
I mean, it was
Sevens.
250 episodes.
I think a reveal, as I think it was Nick T who said it, more in Sevens would have probably been better if they were going to.
Way better.
Yeah, I guess to that point, in Sevens, it could have been anyone, and it would have been fine. In Go Rush, it couldn't have been because our expectation
I would agree with that.
was
yeah.
so high. If it was unmasked and it was just some guy at episode 151 of this, we probably would have been like, well, what was that?
Could have unmasked, could have been Soul Burner, right? I mean, we don't know.
Oh my God! Shut up!
Start my last answer question speech on the that was muted. To start my last speech on the Crazy 8's podcast, to answer the question of would I want. So here's the thing. And I think this is what Dylan is really trying to say. Is we spent 250 episodes on a concept, on a character, and I'm a proponent of this. I'm with him. I wanted to know who he was. Now, again, we in the last 60, 70, we kind of had an idea, maybe his concept, but I can understand the frustration as a viewer that we heard about this guy started episode 1 of 7. It was a hologram, contorted the plot kind of like a Kawhi. He made everything happen the way he wanted to. You know, he's the final villain of 7's. He's an alternate variant, or him is a final villain of another TV show. So I understand the frustration of not getting a true backstory for that character, even if it is just a concept, and getting this little... So I understand your frustration with that. I do agree that once we understand he is a concept, you don't necessarily need that, because the idea is that he is what... he or she, they, whatever they like, anyone could be Otis based on that, and that's what they did with the Mystery Run thing. So, but I do understand you're frustrated. I'm just as frustrated about it.
That's the route they went down.
I feel because it's almost like the cop, like, oh, he's a concept. Don't worry about him. No unmasking. And I'm not even. You'd say, I won the bet, so it's not even about the bet thing. I didn't bring that up. Like, I'm not even like, of course I don't want him to unmask. I had to play a 50-turn Mario Party turn. You not say anything mean. I would have friggin' shot myself. But yeah, so for my last Crazy 8's rant, yeah, I'm disappointed with not getting it, but at the same time, because of the route they went, I think it's fine. So, but yes, me signing off the last time on Crazy 8's. So thank you, Cal. Appreciate it.
Farewell.
I come say bye to everybody over there.
Okay, I'm going to walk Judge around. But yeah, I mean, listen.
Thank you again for everything. Appreciate it. It was amazing.
I'm going to see you upstairs.
All right, come sit. Okay.
Yep.
See you guys later.
Huge thank you to Dredge.
Arrivederci.
Twitch.tv/Dredgenator. Yeah, I'm going to let these guys
I have a
chat.
topic to bring up.
Please.
So.
Oh yeah.
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah. So we haven't talked about it much, but I think it's something that did happen and just kind of I mentioned in the beginning. Yuga just being back where he should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did anybody actually think that was going to happen? That he was just going to never come back in the show after he left and be back home where he should be?
There are people in chat that I know have on record said that they think that's what would happen. I did not at all. Mostly because the show heavily implied that it wasn't the case. They were like, well, like, what if he didn't make it back? Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know, there was a lot of language that implied that it wasn't the case. But it was. I mean, that's really the long and short of it, I think. He was sent back, and maybe that's because of what we did in the past and, made that possible.
Do you think I'll let you go in 1 second. Mm-hmm. Do you think it was because they won he made it? But
yeah,
if they
I was going to follow up with that.
I think they didn't win.
I think it could have been ambiguous up until then. I think us defeating Otis made his safe return to present day possible.
And then if they obviously them winning changed other parts of the future, so you have to assume them not winning, maybe he's not getting back home.
Yeah, maybe he's not getting back home. Maybe the person in the ship was, hypothetically, was Otis because he was successful in his mission. Whatever.
I took it as, now seeing Go Rush, I took it as we changed the future, and that Yuga was the person coming down in the rocket, but he was Yuga Otis. He had now taken up that mantle because now we've explored the idea of more and more anybody could have been Otis.
Right.
And I think his kind of future, his progression could kind of become warped in terms of a villainous way. We fixed that and now put Yuga back to what he should be.
That reminds me, I wanted to bring up something different from what I wanted to bring up earlier. I don't think in any timeline Yuga, Yuhi, or even Yuamu would have been Otis. Okay. Because if you notice from everyone that we saw as Otis, not a single one of them was an Odo. Mm-hmm. Like, not a single one. They didn't even entertain that idea.
Interesting. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, like when we're flashing, I almost half expected to see like a Yuga Otis when it's flashing between the
right.
Otis.
I expect
but we don't
to
see an
like,
Odo. You're right.
Like we saw Kwai Duel Otis, we saw Yugioh Otis, we saw Bochi Otis.
We saw
like,
Bochi Otis.
But
like,
you don't think
different characters, but like not a single one of them was an Odo. Not a single one of them was Yuhi, Yuamu, or even Yuga. I felt like that was clearly like a sign that like none of the Odos in any way would ever be Otis.
In the end.
Yeah, in the end. Even despite like everything that happened in the arcs before. Because like fundamentally they would disagree with everything Otis was. even seeing him as a role, they would never end up like him in the end. Like they might, stumble their way towards it like they did during the previous 2 arcs, but they would never actually end up being him.
Oh,
Right,
I agree
right,
with that.
exactly.
I just
Yeah.
take it as more that Yuga was doing the exact same thing that his ancestors did when he was coming down in the rocket, that he was trying to be Otis, to pretend to be Otis. That's how it happened. It just never... it gets confusing because
came to
the
fruition.
timeline was never going to be like that because the Otos, as you say, can't be Otis. They would never agree
And
with
I
Otis,
feel
but they
that-
did try it on. And I think that's what we're looking at. And now when we fixed it with Udi's, we're like, all right, we're erasing this. This is not what the Otos are. And we fixed that issue.
I feel like even if they didn't erase it, that would have never happened in the first place. That's what I'm trying to
No,
argue.
that's fair. That's fair.
I get that.
Especially because I think back to what Yuga said in the final episode of 7's, where he was kind of or not final episode 62 of Go Rush, which was basically 7's episode 92.5.
Yeah.
Where he was my fated enemy, Otis. And
Right.
I think back to that line now, knowing what we know at the end of Go Rush, and the whole not a single one of the multiverse Otises was an Odo. These two are destined to be enemies, but never one person.
Yep.
It means even more now throughout their history because
Exactly.
Udius takes on that mantle. Obviously, we know what Yuhi and Yumu did in that fight. His whole bloodline has been fighting this fight forever.
Yeah. I still do find it weird that Yuga named that one device Otis as an acronym.
I mean, it was a red herring.
I think it was. Yeah, it probably was the red
There's a lot
herring.
of red herrings.
There
'cause
is.
It's
There is.
They want you to think a specific way, and obviously in the end, that's not what actually happened.
I'm gonna name my car B Dela Cruz. That's what I'm gonna do.
my
That's
God.
a wild
My
comment.
next
It's a wild
Sunday, or
comment.
maybe M Dela Cruz.
His fated enemy.
So you really want your fiance sitting in a car that you named B Dela Cruz?
I think
That's
that
too
increases
risky.
the
Yeah, I would-
likelihood of a Dela Cruz coming back
So
into your
let me-
life.
Let me
say,
tell
yeah.
you something. Let me tell you something. They missed out on what would have been the greatest Yu-Gi-Oh anime Easter egg of all time, and I think this would have been possible. And I really feel it's a big missed opportunity, and I'm being serious. When they're showing all of the characters being Otis, Phaser, Tremolo, Yuna, all of those characters, if they just threw in one Studio Gallop Yu-Gi-Oh character, it could have been Joey Wheeler, it could have been Jack Atlas.
In passing.
And just in passing, for 5 seconds, you bring in their voice actor. I don't think that would have been crazy. It wouldn't have screwed up the continuity of anything.
Okay, I
think
thought you were gonna say something completely
I think you're
incomprehensible.
saying something stupid.
I thought you were
I
saying
thought it was
something
gonna be
stupid.
dumb too.
No,
Yeah.
no, I think it would have been
yeah.
the coolest freaking thing. I almost just dropped the F-bomb.
It would have-
been that
You
cool.
can. It's the final
It
episode.
It
would
would have been that cool. I'm sorry. I don't even think that's crazy.
It would
They
have
could've
lit-
done
It would have been cool. Yeah.
It would have
So
lit
cool.
discussion on fire. It would have been
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah, no, it would have. Now, a couple of people had pointed out,
I think it's a rights thing.
It could be a rights issue,
Yeah.
maybe.
It would have been awesome. I just
Yeah.
think it's a
Even
rights
something
thing.
that resembled
Yeah.
Yugi.
Right.
Whoa!
Or Seto Kaiba, right? 'Cause
Or-
that's an old
that
theory.
actually should have. I think. I mean, it's still
Bring
set up
out his
backwards.
voice actor. It's such a classic
Yeah.
voice. I mean, he's one of the
Yeah, you
better
don't even
voice
have to
actors.
draw a new frame. You just
No,
have him
yeah.
speak, and you already know.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it literally would have been like one of the. I think it would have been the coolest Yu-Gi-Oh Easter egg ever.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was such a good.
It is a
chance
missed
to do
opportunity.
it.
All right,
Yeah.
whoever put Roger Otis in the chat, we're banning you.
Yes.
Ban this guy.
Jean-Michel Otis. Yes, I love that, man. Come on. No, they're saving him for the villain of Bonds Beyond Time too.
I
But
hate you so much.
Oh.
can Yuma, Yuya, and Yusaku handle the new threat? And
Yes.
it's just Roger, but it's jacked Roger, like Godwin. And
I
like,
He would never get to that
No,
point.
you're like, how
he
is
w-
he
he wouldn't
jacked?
commit to that much time in the gym.
You're like, how is he jacked? The theory videos we could do here on this channel.
The theory videos you would
How
do.
did,
What?
how did Roger get jacked?
And then we get Cal. What's his routine? Like,
Hey, Cal, I'll bring in the gym expert. How much
Actually,
would
that
you
might
have
be-
to bench
you know
to
what?
look like this?
I'll cut you some slack.
So
That's probably
as-
a Dredger.
As a
video.
fitness and financial expert, I can give you guys some really good tips. Well, I'm a financial guru. I'm only a fitness expert.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, he's not at
Dredge
the
is
guru level.
Dredge is the fitness guru.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
I would have thrown it to him if he was still
Well, yeah,
here.
basically, all you have to do is do 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups and 100 squats every single day.
That's it?
Rice every day.
Yeah.
See how you
And
don't
eat
seem
a
like
lot
you're
of
bored.
protein.
Unseasoned chicken.
Well, you can season it.
Can you season it? Is that allowed?
Yes.
Only
Oh.
black pepper.
No, hot sauce.
Hot sauce.
sauce,
Hot sauce
yes.
counts. Yeah, that's right.
Put some pink
No, I'm
Himalayan salt.
trying to rein in my desire to inflict bodily harm upon
I
you.
appreciate that. Thank you.
It wouldn't be a podcast if CL wasn't doing that. It wouldn't be a podcast.
We still have some cake you could hit him with.
Yeah, right.
That'd be very hard. That would break his nose.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Hey, it comes full circle.
Yeah.
It's a full circle moment.
Yeah. How do we interpret the Yugioh stuff at the end? Yugioh Odo. I believe he is the first Odo. That's what I believe. I mean, I guess you could interpret it spiritually.
I think it's both in a sense, because with so many question marks regarding the Odo lineage, we've never seen another Odo descendant prior to the twins. We've had talk of their parents, but no. What were you about to do?
Nothing.
Okay. I think yes. Like I think this is how the Odo clan came to be. Is that he, or even if it's not familial, it's like
Well, that's the big question. Is it familial or is it honorary?
it
Like
might
he
be
started the
honorary.
clan.
I think at the very minimum he started the clan that became Odo.
Yes. Yeah.
We were talking about this at dinner.
We were.
But I don't know
we-
if it's
we
actual
talked about this.
bloodline.
Yeah, we talked about this at dinner. So basically, Yuga mentions in season 2 that the Odo family crest is like 2 merging galaxies.
Right.
And that's something that would not,
Right.
people of the Sengoku era would not understand even the concept of.
It really only exists
That's
because
Crazy writing right there.
Yeah.
Right, and the thing is, the closest thing to a blood family, quote unquote, not even really, but the closest thing Yugioh has to that is Quadrille.
Right.
Yeah. They're not actually siblings, but they're intended to be looked upon as siblings because that whole. We're our galaxies are siblings. Our galaxies were made from our siblings.
Right.
So, and then there's also the fact that the Odo family even has a crest. A normal family doesn't have a family crest
Right.
unless your family was someone.
Yeah, you got to
Back
go
in the
way
past.
back.
Right,
And
yeah.
then
You have to have
which Yugioh
historical lineage.
Yeah, which Yugioh would be because he was the ruler of the area.
Right.
And if he started the Odo
Right.
clan, that's what that's his crest. And the thing is another thing is in the past we see everyone's ancestors.
Right.
Literally everyone. Of course, except for the Lug, but that's because he's already 80,000 years old.
Yeah.
He is his own ancestor.
Yeah.
But we see everyone's ancestors, but we don't see a single Odo. There's not a single Odo
Not a
that
single.
appears in the Sengoku era, which implies to me that they started in the Sengoku
Yeah,
era.
I definitely think they did.
Yeah, and it's all right, even if you don't want to think about the implications of blood-related children or
Oh,
something,
I'm thinking about it.
Well, it could have been.
Yugioh could just adopt a human child.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
all of his vassals then there who are human could be the literal bloodline lineage of the Odos.
Yeah, what I'm thinking of is when you start especially back in the olden days when you start a clan,
Yeah.
it's not just you and everyone that descends from you is part of that clan. It's you and everyone who serves you is also
They're
part of your clan.
exactly, yeah.
So Yugioh started the bloodline, but the bloodline that goes to Yuhi and Yomu doesn't have to be his. It could be one of his retainers, one of his vassals, because they're also considered Odos.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
100%.
Now,
Or-
Dill, what do you think about it?
Well, I think, and maybe CL can help me understand this. If Yugioh is in Odo and the first Odo, then how do you explain this?
I hate him. Bonk him.
Hey, that's a full
Killing-
circle moment right
That's
there.
an old gag. That's an old gag.
A full circle
Every
moment.
time Or's here. Old season 2 frame poster.
You moved that poster, and I saw you do it. I look over at Pete, and Pete's looking at me, and I just go, because I knew it was coming.
Oh, my God, dude. Hey, we always got to bring over that poster whenever we can. We got Cal in the camera. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yes.
Oh, I just want to point one thing
Please,
out about that
please.
whole lineage and our interpretation of it. I watched a pretty long YouTube video a couple months ago about genetics and it kind of breaks down mathematically how related you are to your ancestors. And as you go through like generations and generations, it becomes like virtually not at all because of how little actual genetic information you receive like after like the third generation. So like the literal Odo bloodline really like doesn't matter. Like because of how little genetic information they have from those people makes no difference. It could be Udius, it could definitely not be Udius, and that matters way less than him being the head of the Odo clan. So I think that's like our answer is that he was the founder of the Odo clan, and that's what he is to us.
Yeah. No, I'm in full agreement with that.
You're a piece of shit.
You weren't even listening.
You are a piece of
You are
garbage.
not even
Wait, hang on.
listening.
I can multitask.
I need to make sure like you get hit by both of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I want you to look at that Yuga.
That's an
And I
Odo right
want
there.
one final time, you apologize to Yuga for all the disrespect he's tolerated.
You
I think
and you
he's a
disrespected
great
his
character.
bloodline
I
too.
think he's a great character. He doesn't win a lot, but I think he's a great character.
You're so disrespectful.
Nick T, no, I did hear what you said. Great
I'm
stuff.
glad. Thanks.
You're welcome. Calibro, what are your thoughts? Udius Odo, the first guy. What do you think? The man at the top.
He's the man.
Well,
He's-
He's the
but-
undeniably.
But I think
Is he
I think
undeniable? That was Nick T. I'm sorry.
I didn't say that, but that's
didn't say
hilarious.
anything. I agree with CL. I think it's like one of the underlings or people that followed Udius that all took the name Odo, and eventually broke out from one of those people.
Yeah, because it's like it could be one of his retainers. He could have just adopted a child.
Yeah, right.
And be like,
You're
yeah,
you're my
this is-
child.
Yeah, this is my heir or something like that.
Yes. You will be the greatest Odo there's ever been. And then that's what Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 will be.
Now there is one.
I
There's
hate him.
one thing you can run.
John
You can
Odo.
run with. You can run with them being blood related because of his Yuhi's ability to know when there's an alien around with his hair, and you can say that power is actually passed all the way down.
I think it makes sense. Listen, I think that, like, you know, another thing was that, and I said this in the video today where I tried my best to explain the ending of Go Rush, at least how I interpreted it. And I said in the video, like, you know, one of the key things with, like, the Odo belief is that they believe that, like, humans and aliens could, like, cooperate and work together. There's no way that the Odos at that point should know the existence of, like, aliens. And that, like, you know, so it makes it seem like there was knowledge of aliens. Udius being the first Odo would make sense.
Yeah.
Hey, aliens are, we're not your enemies here.
Yeah.
We're
That-
going to work with you.
That's a good point. It almost establishes the cooperation.
There's a lot of stuff.
Could that mean that both Yumu and Yuhi are actually aliens and they don't even realize it?
Yeah, I mean, it could mean that they have a little bit of alien blood, sure.
Sure.
Again, it really depends on how you interpret the lineage, right?
Exactly.
Did Udius adopt human kids? Because if he did, okay, then there's no aliens there. Or was it like,
One
you
of his
know,
vassals or retainers or whatever.
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Or did he like go to a nightclub?
Or was Udius putting in the work? You know what I mean?
I can't say what I'm thinking on this stream.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, you can. All the kids went to bed. You can.
Yeah, can I? Yeah. No, I don't.
And
think
then-
I
and
can.
then-
I don't think I can subject you guys to that.
yeah. Oh god. Udius.
I mean, no.
He does.
In my opinion,
Yeah.
Udius did fuck.
There we go. Hey, I like it. No, he said we could say it.
Wait,
I'm the real owner of this channel.
However. Actually, I can't say this next
okay.
part. I can't say this next part.
all right, you can go.
However,
on,
he's a boss.
You can go on the
The
CL.
one that gave birth.
Yeah, certainly.
You
Yeah.
can go on the CL Twitter, which is linked in the description. She will finish. She will finish her mindset here on Twitter.
I'm looking forward
And
to
that raises questions about John Odo. too.
John Odo.
I like the thought of John Odo.
That's a great name. John, do you like that name, John Odo?
Yeah, great quality name.
I'm lost.
And
Jodo. Yeah, Jodo Odo.
Oh my god, my ribbon fell off my head and it just disappeared
Where
behind
is
me.
it? Where is it?
I was laughing too hard.
No, it's actually gone. Yeah, it'll be on my head in a few days. Cal, we got some super chats, some donations from the wonderful people.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you guys all so much
I can do
for
it.
donating, for super chatting. Seriously appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys all being here. Obviously, the final episode of Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Crazy Eights. And yeah, seriously, we are so grateful for you. It's a very sombering time here, but hey, it's going to be great. And, you know, when it comes to the unknown and the darkness, you got to embrace it.
No. Don't do that.
I was born in the dark.
You're not doing the Aaron Rodgers quote. I have to deal with delayed every stream. He's not here. No.
Delayed's not here?
I haven't seen him.
I have.
Oh, shout out to Delayed.
Do not use that quote.
Okay. Caliber, any super chats?
Sure.
Thank you.
We got $11.11 from Sean Gilbride.
Sean Gilbride. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate you, man.
Sean said, I admit that throughout this episode, as I was watching the live stream of it on Dill's Twitch page, I was bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
Such a great episode to end the Go Rush era.
I can name at least 10 people that were tearing up to some degree watching us, like watching the episode through our live stream. Do you think they were tearing up at the episode, or were they tearing up at how maybe good our commentary was?
I think it was the episode. I don't think we had anything to do with the situation. But I appreciate the thought that we're that good that we inspire such emotional reaction.
I'm kidding. No, I'm totally kidding. Yeah, no, it was wonderful. It was wonderful to be able to do that with you.
So, CL, you were there by the stream on Saturday. Was there any moment where Dylan and I's commentary caused you to have a little bit of tear in the eye, where you're like, "Wow, this is so good, I'm gonna cry"?
Be honest. You can be honest.
Just be real.
Yeah,
just be real with us. We're all friends here. Just be real with us.
Okay. No.
Okay.
All right. Well, we got to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, that's not what I was hoping to do.
I mean, I did tear up watching the episode, but it wasn't because of you guys.
No. That's fair. Hey, you know what? You know
You
what?
guys were just so bad.
Yeah, I cried because it was bad.
Man, I could. You know what happened? I my eyes swelled when I watched, not with you, but the subbed watch along the next day on Twitch during the flower scene, and my eyes.
Oh, I
swelled.
saw it. You tried to hide it.
Well, yeah,
You had the sniffles.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, my eyes swelled, and then on what?
Is that because you're like incapable of being like vulnerable with like your friends, or?
Yes.
It has nothing to do with. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with
He wants to be a
seeing
big
the
big
subs
manly
and
man
knowing
on
what's being
stream.
said.
Oh, okay.
He wanted Nick T. He wanted to be a big manly man for the chat.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'll tell you,
Because
I-
apparently, you're trying to say men can't show emotion.
That is
Yeah.
not at all.
That's what I
said.
did. 'Cause
Men
You said
don't cry.
you specifically made a point to say, "Well, I teared up not with you, but
I teared up. He was
couldn't-
there in the
couldn't-
stream.
yeah,
the
couldn't
next
cry
day.
in front of you, man.
Oh my god.
sorry." Continue.
Then I'm in my car and I play, ending 5 to listen to it. Sayonara, and I couldn't even get, like, once it got to the violins, dude. You got the drum.
I've had
It is
to
a great
listen
ending.
to this guy
Well, it's amazing.
sing this song completely off tune many
Well, that's
times
just cool.
today.
When you get to the violins, and remember the violins mimic the chorus, so and it's like
It's a great song.
Yeah, I couldn't
It is a
listen to
good
it.
song.
I couldn't listen to it until like late yesterday because it was like invoking emotions, and I was like, dude, it's too raw. I can't listen to this song right now. I think that ending 5 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush is, and I thought about this long and hard, is the
glad.
best final ending song of any Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime ever. And I rank Eyes very highly from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! You know that one. Eyes. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Can you please record like all the openings and endings in your voice and then just send them to CL?
Well,
No.
Please. Make them shorts. Do it.
rank challenge
Like
the
she's gonna go to her playlist expecting to hear the real songs, and we replaced it when she wasn't looking with just all of your covers.
Amazing.
I rank Challenge the Game, Zexel's final ending very high. Challenge the Game. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
You're a real
I rank
sick.
that one very highly. Honestly, Arc 5's final ending I like as well. But all that, and then Vrains. Oh my god. But all that to be said, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush final ending, this song,
Was excellent.
which of course is what we named our episode after.
Yeah.
I think it's the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Final ending musically, and yeah,
It's very,
Challenge the
very-
Game is probably a close second, but wow, dude,
Challenge
it is,
the game is fantastic.
yeah, it's very good. And it'll be better when you watch the show because they change that ending like every week.
Would you
practically.
Would you sing the ending of 5Ds, kind of Misaki Endo in there?
So no,
Just give us a little bit of how you would sing that.
The ending of 5Ds is not Misaki Endo. He did like the opening 4 and opening 5, and then he did like the insert song. But
yeah,
like,
that's why sing the insert song.
That's
what I
Sing
want.
it now.
Yakusoku no melody. Oh, you're my best friend. I mean, that one is also very good.
I mean, that was great.
I know I nailed
was
those
great.
notes. She can't believe it. Look at that. And I know I nailed
when
those
you
notes.
when you sing it that well,
yeah.
you can't help but have reactions like she's
I'm
having.
used to it.
I
I'm
mean,
used to it.
because that's like that brings
This
a
is-
tear to
this-
my eye.
This happens every time I start
I
singing.
mean, you're incredible, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Dredge.
need to find a long, sharp object. I'll be right back.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's mildly threatening. Yeah, listen, it's a good time, man.
She's gonna stab you.
Oh my God. Yeah, Yakusoku no melody. We've already. Yeah.
How
about
did
it.
you just?
Thank you, Sean.
How did you just slip in that? All right, Dredge, and nobody even heard you.
Wait, what? I didn't.
Dredge is here.
Oh.
Did you
I knew that was there, but
No,
I didn't notice you going Dredge.
He was like you guys were all laughing and making points. Like yeah, all right, Dredge.
That's amazing. I regret to have missed that.
Yeah, it's great. Listen, appreciate you guys all
yes.
being here. Sean, thank you so much,
Sean.
my man, for the lucky 11-11. We need all the luck we can get. Yeah, it was very emotional. You were not the only human being who was tearing up during that episode and during the stream. And listen, man, these shows invoke real emotions in people, and I think that's the sign of a really, really well done show. And it was doubly hard hitting for me, and I know it was challenging for me. The stream ended. I went upstairs. I almost got emotional when I went fully upstairs.
Yeah, because I'm like, you got to watch me be emotional after the stream.
Yeah,
with the game.
with the Florida game. Yeah, but you know, it was very tough for me because not only was I thought it was a very good, hard hitting, strong ending, but like now we're entering like the thought does come to mind like
That it's over.
Is that the final Yu-Gi-Oh episode we're ever gonna see? I know it's easy to say, come on.
But no,
like,
I mean, it is always a possibility, right? I don't believe it will happen. I think we will get another show.
I do too.
But it would be naive to say that possibility isn't there.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
And that adds absolutely a significant weight to how you were feeling and we were feeling and everyone was feeling watching the end of the show, man, because this might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that added a lot of depth and emotion. Sean Gilbride, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean. We got $2 Canadian from Pick Rick.
Pick Rick. Thank you, Pick.
Pick Rick said, # justice for episodes 146 to 150.
Yeah,
I think that's because we were.
I named it episode 151 because it's the final episode.
Yes.
Pick Rick, I'm sorry, it's just how it worked out with. It was. I'll say this, Pick Rick. It was impossible for us to do a podcast on 146 through 150 and just pretend like the final episode hadn't aired. When the ending aired, and of course when it got subbed, that became the really lead.
And we touched on moments here and there.
And we touched on the important stuff, which was
we
like
barely touched on
Yugioh, Manabu,
the
interaction.
check. We
Yeah.
didn't touch on that too much.
We said Quietel dropped the ball.
He
Fumbled.
He did.
Yeah,
That's
fumbled
really all we
so
needed.
hard.
Fumbled
To
the
be
bag.
honest.
But he went home and Kawhi told his friends that he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kawhi tells. Yeah. Don't get me started. Thank you so much, Pick Rick. I'm sorry we did not provide better justice. I know I didn't do an episode review for those episodes as well. Again, it's hard. It's hard for me to do those retroactively when the final episode is out, and they dropped late Friday night.
Yeah.
Saturday we had to catch up so we could react to the episode live, and then subs were out 6 hours later.
Yep.
For the final episode.
was over.
So, which is awesome. But once the final episode is out subbed, that's the main.
It takes
focus.
precedence,
Yeah,
especially when it's the end of the show.
of course, because that's what most people want to talk about,
Yeah.
including us.
I agree.
Pick Rick, appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Pick.
Pick the rate.
Tyler DeBoer has been a member for 18 months at Raiello.
Mexico man, thank you, Tyler.
The Mitsuko man. Solid end to the Yu-Gi-Oh! With the biggest impact on me. Yup, I cried. Sad to see it go. At least I have my fanfic. Goodbye, Mitsuko. I won't forget you.
No, you know what? I
That's
actually
beautiful.
I
That's
do
beautiful.
love that. I do love that because that's another element that you're forgetting, right? There's characters that mean like so much to so many people. whether it's Udius, whether it's Yugioh, whether it's Mitsuko, whether it's George Jersey, whether it's, Rovian, whoever it is. And you have all these characters that mean so much to so many people. And when the show I do not think you can bring that on camera.
He gets the stream gets taken down immediately.
Crazy. Yeah, this definitely cannot bring that on camera. I am pretty sure. Yeah, but I don't know. Well, no, we're cutting the cheesecake.
We could use that excuse. Is that the excuse you want to make?
At least you didn't grab the swords from my room.
True.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Just put it
this
on
is
the
within
table.
reach right now.
Well, listen, and that's for the
Well, think about
cheesecakes,
it.
obviously.
That is obviously a cheesecake. Yeah, cheesecake knife.
It always reminds me of that
It gets
video
cut off. It gets cut off.
when the kid's running around the backyard and they're like, "What do you have?" And he goes, "A knife."
Yeah, right. No, but there's so many characters that mean so much to so many different people. Again, whether it's Udius, whether it's Yugioh, whether it's Mitsuko, whether it's George Jersey, whether it's Rovian, you have all these characters that are so impactful and have left deep, meaningful impact on people's lives. And when the show ends, you're saying, goodbye to everything. In this case, you might be saying goodbye to Yugioh, who knows? But you're also saying goodbye to the characters that helped you through these last 2 to 3 years, and I think that's important to note. So I think that's beautiful, Tyler. Thank you so much for the super chat, and maybe Mitsuko will come playable in Duel Links one day. Who knows? Probably not, but who knows?
Thank you, Tyler. Crystal Colden has been a member for 32 months
Crazy.
at Raw Yellow.
Thank you, Crystal. 8.5. Appreciate you.
Crystal said, "Thank you, Go Rush, for 3 years of ideas. I hope you continue using the ones that came from Go Rush. Long live
Yu-Gi-Oh. Crystal Golden, I know, is a huge Yuhi fan. Wrote a lot of great fanfics. Yeah, listen, Crystal, it's thank you so much for it was a channel membership. You said, right? 32 months. Thank you, Crystal, for supporting me pretty much the entire 3-year run here as being a channel member for Go Rush. I appreciate it. Long live Yu-Gi-Oh is something that is not just a catchy channel motto. It's something that I've lived by. I never thought that this weekly card game franchise would end. I still don't believe it is going to. I like to think this is just temporary, and I really like to think and hope that we will have another Yu-Gi-Oh anime to talk about this time next year. I think one will be airing the first weekend of April 2026.
God, I hope so, man.
I would love that. I would love nothing more than
Yeah.
that.
Otherwise, I'm gonna have to be putting you in a
home.
little soft room.
And I know there's a lot of people watching right now that will be present during the Jump Festa stream. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
how
you're gonna be
crazy
terrible.
That stream
And,
is
and you know
gonna
what
be?
sucks if Dredger really isn't there?
He's not. I
That,
think he's gonna
that,
be.
that
Unfortunately, which
blows
sucks.
because that means that's even more time I'm on camera dealing with you, which is that's gonna be tough.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Listen, this is here. Emotional support.
Are you
Just
gonna
letting you
see?
know.
Are you gonna be there?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. I mean, I'm gonna have this exact setup where I'm gonna sit at the end of the table and I'm gonna put her next to you, and maybe that will keep you in check a bit.
Let me just say this, man. Nothing's going to keep me in check that night. That night, I will be going crazy. Especially if they announce prior to that, hey, we have something.
Which would be great, but if we don't going in, I know you're incapable, but I don't really want to see you go all the way up again to just be
That's what will happen.
so sad.
That's
That
what
will
will
make
happen.
me sad seeing that. And I know you can't help it, but that's going to be tough.
That's what will happen. But Jump
Oh.
Festa. Oh, didn't know that. Jump Festa is Jump Festa is
Oh, it
going to be
only
something
worked
that
for-
I
oh, wait,
think
no,
will
you have to
be
press in.
a big
Yeah.
event. But we'll see.
Okay.
Appreciate you so much. Thank you, Crystal Colden, and hopefully you're here for the next 32 months. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Crystal. We got $10 from Izara J.
Jesus, he was the one who sent the very kind message yesterday. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hope y'all doing good. At least I made it to the last ep. I really hope there's something else in the future, even if it's not a Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 necessarily.
He is the person who I had said earlier. I didn't even know he super chatted today. He is the person who I said earlier donated yesterday and was like, "Hey man, the worst part is I wasn't able to watch more episodes because I couldn't get in to Sevens and Go Rush. I'm happy you made the last one, man. And listen, Wednesday night streams. We have After Dark. We have the Chronicles podcast once a month. We have the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh show, which I'm very excited for. Pulse of the Community. That is the name of the segment. All the credit in the world to Pete there, which will be reading some fun comments.
Oh, I can't wait.
From videos. No names, but that'll be a fun one. You had a couple of really good ones from the.
I had some great ones
Yeah,
from that video we did on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that segment. Pulse of the community, and there will be a lot of good ones. Dr. Dredge's top 5. Where it's going to be a lot of good ones.
Dr. Dredge's top.
Dr. Dredges.
Beep.
The doctor will see you
Beep.
now.
The doctor will see you now. Help.
Dredger's top 5. We got to bring in people to record.
Doctor,
like,
I can't feel a pulse. Oh my God.
That we could use for the pulse of the community. Don't worry, we're gonna bring it to you right here. Pulse.
Clear.
Community.
Dr. Dredge, we've lost the pulse of the community.
I mean that show is gonna be stupid.
It keeps going.
That show, yeah. Again, the debut episode of that should be April 23rd, so 3 weeks. Wow, that's going to be fun. So hopefully you come to some of those, Jesus, and you enjoy them. I think they'll have very similar feels to this one, just with less of us. It'll be me and 2 of the guys, and we'll be rotating. But, yeah, you guys are amazing, and thank you so much, Jesus. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jesus. We
Thank you,
got
my man.
$5 from Ice Aiden.
Ice Aiden. Thank you, Ice.
Pressure.
Thank you.
I'm glad Pete did it. Thank you.
Hello, Yugi gang. I still haven't caught up to all the episodes since episode 141. Wednesday and Thursday are my new days off now.
Oh, cool. Just in time for the show to end. Ice Aiden, I appreciate it. I know, I remember you had said, you couldn't make a lot of these podcasts because you had to work Wednesday. And now he finally gets Wednesday off, right in time for the...
Let's go. Hey, and welcome to the last episode ever.
I would definitely binge these last 10 episodes. It's worth it. It's good. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. Ice Aiden, thank you for the super chat. And thank you for all the support you've given me over the years, my man. I really appreciate you. It's sad because I do know there are some people watching right now that, it happened with Vrains, it happened with Sevens, that might not watch past this episode on the Wednesday nights. And I know that's a thing, but and everybody's able to do whatever they want, but it's sad, that I know this is the last show for a lot of people. I look back on some of those
old super chat streams,
chats during the Vrains days.
Yep.
I mean, some people that I have not heard from in 6-7 years.
Hope they're doing well.
Of course. But it is amazing. And of course, you do still have people where it's oh, Alex V commented even way back then 8 years ago. You still do have people, and hopefully a lot of you guys will keep it right here Wednesday nights and keep it to this channel for cool Yu-Gi-Oh content during this hopefully temporary break.
Listen, you have 4 more years of Ray. 4 more years of Ray.
Oh, don't say that. Oh, my God.
Why?
No,
That's good. The Sky Striker meme.
Yeah, well, luckily we only have 2 episodes.
For now.
For now.
Well, confirmed of Sky Striker, and then who knows how long
She's
Alvaz
back.
will be. Yeah.
All of 2026. Get ready.
Sky Striker Ray. Like you've never seen her before. That's the Yu-Gi-Oh movie.
Every month, 5-minute webisodes.
We still do not have a length for how long these episodes
We don't even have
are
a
gonna
date,
be.
technically.
Yeah,
Wait,
late
no,
April, I heard.
I think they said the last week of April.
Okay.
Which is insane, by the way.
I had heard late April. That's all I had heard. I didn't even hear the last week, but I mean,
It's crazy that we're so close to that
it's
now.
April. It's
Yeah.
April, and we don't have a
no
date.
idea, yeah.
They just said last week. Well, she heard last week. I heard late April.
Those
Which
are the
could be-
same thing.
of
Those
course,
two
of
are the
course.
same
Yeah,
thing.
they're basically the same thing.
They are the same thing.
It is good that they align at least.
Yeah, true.
If you heard
I
early
heard-
April and she heard the last week, and it's
Yeah.
Late end last week. We're
Yeah,
good.
they were like, oh, the Sky Striker anime is gonna be coming out throughout April and May, and then last week of March they were like, actually it's late April when it's almost over. That's what we mean by April and May.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I was like, what?
Doesn't really count, but okay.
That doesn't really count, but all right.
Ridiculous. Ice Aiden, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Ice. We got
Thank you, my friend.
8.88 pounds
Wow.
from Lily Selvern.
Thank
Lily comes with a very strong message here.
She's been around for a while.
Long live Yu-Gi-Oh!
Lily has been around for a very long time. I believe she
Yes.
has a founder's badge on my Twitch page. So,
Goddamn.
yeah, Lily has been a supporter for a very long time. Lily, love when you come by. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much for the love. And yeah, hell yeah, long live Yu-Gi-Oh! It's going to be a fun 2025. Sure, we're facing the dark, There's a lot of darkness.
Don't.
There's a lot of unknown. But when there's unknown, we will find the answers. Long live Yugioh. We ain't going anywhere.
That was nonsense.
I thought that was big. I thought that was like someone's going to clip that, put like triumphant music to it.
No one
No.
is. No one is. No one is.
Thanks, still.
I might put like circus music behind it.
Let's go.
You know who would have done that? And I do want to give them a shout out because they were someone who was actually very imperative in my journey and a huge supporter of this Talking Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. Sadly, they're no longer with us. Is Davis.
Davis would have done
yeah.
that.
100%.
He would have absolutely done
Yeah,
that.
100%.
He was an incredible human being.
And he tagged a lot of that stuff on Twitter back in
Yeah,
the day.
I
But now
remember
that I think the Discord is running, he would have killed it in
would've
Yu-Gi-Oh
loved
memes in that channel.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Such a great guy.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Thank you so much, my friend.
We got $5 Australian from Electra Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
And Kevin said episode 151 was the best rated episode of this arc,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny coming off from 150, which was weirdly one of, if not the worst rated episodes in Go Rush.
Yeah, was 150 rated that bad? I really haven't paid attention to the Nigo ratings too much, if I'm going to be totally honest, because I don't take them very seriously.
There's not a lot of weight to them.
Yeah, it's like with my anime list ratings. Like I think they're very easy to like spoof.
Yep.
But no, that's cool. I'm happy the final episode was rated so high. Actually, knowing how Nigo works, I'm shocked it wasn't rated terribly because I've heard only good things about it from most people that watched it. So usually when you hear good things from people, the Nigo ratings are terrible. And then Ishida Glot duels and the ratings are through the roof. It's like Emmy level television.
It's okay.
Those episodes rock, dude.
You know what the really funny thing is? I think the final episode beats the Ishida Glad episode by like barely 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
In terms of ratings.
Yeah. So that's
Come
why, like,
on.
Can't take it seriously.
No, it's hard
You
for
can't.
me too. Well, and then if you take it like too seriously, then you have to take the Arc 5 stuff seriously. Where according to
They're
that
just bombing
site,
it.
according to that site, Arc 5 has like 5 of the worst episodes in anime history. And
Which
I
is
just
ridiculous.
I think
It's review
I think
bombing.
that's a little it's review bombing. So I don't know. But it is fun to look at, of course. It absolutely is fun. So, Kevin, thank you for providing that data with us, and I'm happy that the episode was rated well. Back to you, Cal. Thank you, Kevin.
I didn't realize it before, but I actually jumped over one of Kevin's other donations.
What?
Also $5 Australian.
Thank you, Kevin. Sorry about that.
And Kevin said, glad Yuga wasn't in season 3. The end of season 2 showed us how he got back home. There should never have been any doubt.
Well, I don't know about that. I think
I
in
don't know.
hindsight, it's easy to say. I mean, I could say.
I was muted for that, by the way, so I don't know.
Oh, we'll reread it.
Kick it again.
No, it's fine.
Sorry, the switching
The man
back and forth at the
donated.
mute
Sorry.
because
Yeah,
I'm trying not to let you guys echo.
I appreciate it.
So what I was saying was I accidentally skipped over one of Kevin's donations.
Sorry about
$5
that,
Australian dollars. I'm sorry about that, Kevin. Said glad Yuga wasn't in season 3. The end of season 2 showed us how he got back home. There should never have been any doubt. And while you weren't here, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was we talked about
Yeah, I
that
don't know about
concept.
there never should have been any doubt part of that. I think, there were inconsistencies in that scene.
I
between-
was shocked, to be honest. that he
Yeah,
got
I mean, there
back
were
home, so.
inconsistencies between the end of season 2 and with how time travel works and everything, and
yeah.
how that show works. Like, I don't know if it was like 100% confirmed at that point that he had made it back. Again, it's easy in hindsight. Just like I can turn around and say, well, I mean, everybody should have known the Mystery Girl was going to have a greater purpose. If you didn't know that, I don't know what show you were watching. I'm not going to say that.
No, but I don't. I think
No,
that's
no,
a
but
stretch.
I don't know.
But
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
know.
Yeah.
She was
I
appearing
don't know.
in crazy places. I'm not
I
gonna say that.
agree. I agree with the.
I'm not going to say that just because like it's been confirmed now. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say anything like that. But that being said, I think there were genuine inconsistencies. I did a whole video on it between what Yuga was in at the end of season 2 and what he was wearing versus the rocket ship man at the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. So I think there was reason to have of doubts.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so the point I made way before when you were taking Red upstairs that like the doubts were also like canonical, like they were happening, like
Right.
they were being raised by characters in the show.
Right. And the fact that, like, this is, I guess, something that, I mean, it will be a disappointment. I really thought we were going to get a Udius Yuga duel. I really did.
I never did. I never thought that.
I really did. I'm surprised we didn't. To be honest.
I
I
would
think
be surprised
that
if we did.
Yeah, it's the first time since GX where you have two protagonists in the same setting. I feel like seeing them duel would have been really, really cool. And they were on opposite sides in season 2. But they obviously purposely avoided it by having it start with Yuga, Yuhi, and then Udius Yuumu took over. And it's like, it's almost there. They're on like conflicting sides, so they have a reason. So I thought it was honestly going to be the ceremonial duel in a similar vein to the Yugi Judai duel, and I thought the parallels there would have been beautiful. Your first two Gallop, your first two Yu-Gi-Oh pro tags, your first two Yu-Gi-Oh Rush pro tags. There technically wasn't really a ceremonial duel, which is fine. But yeah, I thought we would get one.
Yeah, and I think it didn't seem like Yuga was going to have gotten home right away until you kept getting later in the show and he wasn't showing up and there was nothing about him really going on.
Yeah.
Because once you hit a certain point, you're like,
Yeah.
Oh, he's
okay,
got to
well,
be
now
back.
there's no time for this.
Like-
So unless you're rounding this out during our finale duel at the end of the show,
It's like he
there's-
better be back
like,
or there's
then
something's messed up.
at that point, you can say, of course he got home. Because there is no other story to be written unless at the end of all of it, they show a scene of the Sevens characters without him, showing that he didn't get
Yeah, like 148.
You know what I mean?
It's like,
Like-
oh no. It's like, what do you mean, oh no?
Right.
Like,
Well, yeah,
one-
no, I never was worried that something like obviously sinister was going to happen to him. But I did feel what?
I don't know. I was thinking something sinister happening.
I didn't think he was going to burn up in the hyperspaces. Some people wished upon Otis, but I did. Think
I still wish that happened.
No, I know. I still felt like there could have been some further storyline with him,
I think so.
Listen, I'm
but it didn't happen.
Oh my god.
I'm Otis's #1 hater.
It didn't happen. But Kevin, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
I'm like, oh my god.
I appreciate it.
No,
we
I was
got-
talking about Otis.
I think
cool with that.
IDR is Indonesian rupee, is that correct?
Indonesian rupees, yes.
We got 50,000 of those from ZX.
Wow.
And
Thank you, ZX.
ZX said, I just want to say thank you to Entame Subs team for all of their work.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes.
Very kind message, ZX. Thank
There
you
can't
so
be
much.
enough thanks because we wouldn't be doing this
Yeah, fully
if
agree.
it wasn't for y'all. We got $5 from Legendary Duels.
Oh.
He will be here next Wednesday night as well.
Oh.
Try to make tonight, couldn't do it. JC will be here next
Well,
Wednesday.
he addresses that actually.
So guess what? Next Wednesday night as well.
Sadly, couldn't be there due to homework.
Yep.
Many feelings.
Yeah.
The end of Go Rush and the end of Yu-Gi-Oh? We will see.
He's one of the many people that texted me after Go Rush aired, whether it was Saturday night or Sunday, checking in on my well-being, which I appreciate, and just being like, man, I don't know. It is a weird. Sometimes in life, you just. I don't want to say take things for granted. I mean, you do. I'm not saying people, including myself. I mean, I can only speak for myself. Took Yu-Gi-Oh anime for granted, but I mean, maybe I did. It was one of those things that I really always thought was going to be there week in and week out. And, well, the fact that it's just kind of in a state now where we really don't know what's next is truly nerve-wracking. And I hope that we get to do this again. Obviously, we will do it once a month for the Chronicles. It's not going to be the same. I'm not saying the Chronicles is going to be bad or anything. It's just not going to be the same.
It's just different.
It's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about cards and dueling. And so I sincerely hope I get to do this with everybody again, including you guys watching in the audience or listening.
Absolutely.
If you'll have us.
Yeah, of course. So
Thanks.
And
hopefully we'll do it again. JC, I feel you, man. Thank you so
JC
much.
also donated another $5.
Thank
and
you, my
said,
friend.
Thank you, Entame. You saved Rush Yu-Gi-Oh! Thank you for enduring through such a massive project. We love and appreciate
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Well said. It's well said, JC.
Yes.
We've sung our praises, and they should
Absolutely.
continue to be sung. And yeah, listen. Yeah, thank you, man. I'm excited to talk to you next week. I think next week it's going to be emotional. I think it's going to be a deep conversation. I think it's going to be sincere. I think it's going to be just one of those conversations you think about on the drive home, and you're like, man, I'm happy we got to talk about all those things. And it's one of those conversations where you're just grateful to be alive, right? You're grateful to be talking Yu-Gi-Oh with the boys, with the friends.
What's this guy yapping about?
Are you gonna keep going?
Hang on, I don't want to. Actually, I do want to interrupt you, but
I'm gonna let you finish.
but
Casey, I'm excited to see you.
Yes.
That was beautiful, by the way.
I do have a time limit of because I still need to drive back today.
Oh, you're driving back. Oh,
Yeah.
shoot. Okay.
So
Well, what's your time limit?
like 12 at
Okay.
the latest, and it's 11, almost 11:30.
Okay.
God
Okay.
damn.
That's fine.
I'm probably cutting out soon too.
Okay, that's fine. So then we'll get through the donations.
We'll,
and then
we'll wrap it up,
yeah,
baby.
Of course.
ZX came back with another 50,000 Indonesian rupee.
Thank you, ZX. Appreciate you, my friend.
Said,
Thank you,
shout out to Otis for making everyone's lives harder, and also Goatdon and Tazaki for keeping the antenna in place so everybody could watch the duel.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, man. It's like when your dad back in the old days. My dad would do this a few times. He'd climb to the roof to make in like a rainstorm to make sure the antenna. It's like, hey, Dad, the TV's out. I see static, and he would climb up the roof, and it was raining, man. I remember I had to be. It couldn't have
Hey,
been older than
hey!
me.
Remember when we just said we're supposed to be wrapping up the podcast? You're literally reciting a commercial that it's been on TV recently. Next donation. Next donation. Thank you.
Thank you, ZX. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We got $5 from Stuart McFerrin.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Stuart. I appreciate you.
Stuart said, didn't really care for Go Rush, but I appreciate you covering it for the fans of the series.
Of course. And you know what?
Thank you.
I praise you, Stuart. That is a very, very kind message because, again, if it's not for you, it's not for you. I'm never going to rip anyone. If you didn't like Vrains, if you didn't like Sevens, if you didn't like Go Rush, if you didn't like Zale, I'm never going to rip you for that as long as, you don't rip people who do enjoy it. And I've had a lot of comments in the past few days, super chats, that have been very, good comments, and I wish we had more people like that in the community in general that are like, okay, if I watch it, it's not for me. I'm gonna
Move
just
on?
move on. Yeah, that's the most mature thing you can do. So, I give you praise there, Stuart. Thank you so much for the very kind super chat. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Stuart. We got $10 Australian from Electric Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
And Kevin said, this is everyone's win-loss rate with at least 3 wins.
Okay.
Rovian 3-5.
Okay.
The Lug 3-3. Quaidul and Dinois both 3-2. Osaka 4-5. Una 4-3. Phaser 4-1. Maddox, which is Manabu, right?
Yep.
9-7. Zuijo 9-5. Yumu 12-7. Yuhi 14-10. And Udius 28-7.
Oh.
I cannot believe
Damn, Yuhi had
Yuhi got
24
that many
duels?
duels.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
See, this
Damn.
is. Oh, don't get me started on Yuhi. Never mind. I'm not gonna get started.
And
Don't you
Dinois
dare.
Dinois had 5 duels.
And is that the same record as Quaidul Dinois has?
Yeah.
3-2?
Yeah.
No, oh yeah, quite
Yeah,
good.
it is.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn.
Dinois. I didn't write the names, but
Oh, so Dinois is actually
And
goated.
to CL's point earlier, Phaser 4-1. Never used this man.
yeah,
Yeah, 4-1. He has the best win record.
Yeah, what we out here? What we out here doing?
he's got I think the best. Well,
That-
dude,
that's
he's
what
Got
I'm
an
saying.
80% win rate.
That's what I'm
What are we doing?
saying. This guy, they realized they created too good
His
of a
face.
character, too OP of a character, so they
Yeah.
had to nerf him
Yeah.
by taking away his screen time.
yeah, that's.
I thought he was super fascinating, man.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I'm very excited to make my top 10 strongest duelists video for Go Rush Kevin, and then of course the one that will come after that, top 100 strongest duelists in the franchise. People were raving about the top
I
50.
can't wait to go through those
I
comments.
got some very kind
I'm
comments.
I'm pumped.
Raving about the top.
Quattro
50.
should have been top 50, man.
Quattro will be top. Actually, no, I don't know if he will.
Are
be.
you kidding? He's not going to be top 100?
Dude, he beat
No.
Bronx.
I'm going to
and
be with
Caswell,
I'm going to be with the
and
people. I'm
that's
going to be with the
it.
people. I'm going to support the people.
Hey, we could debate this for 9 years,
I
but
can't get into
no,
this
that's
right
fine.
now. He might be. I don't know, but he come on. I got to base it on what
again,
I'm seeing.
I said we can debate this for. That means debate over. Don't keep going.
Oh,
We'll make
okay,
a video
Dredge.
later.
Right there, man.
I'm sorry, buddy.
God,
Sorry, I had to channel my inner dredge. We got $5 from Goose.
Thank you, Goose.
Thank you, Goose. Goose said, thank you, everyone, for such a good series. Long live Yugioh.
Hell yeah.
And sending positive vibes and kindness to everyone and keep things PG. Positively Goose.
Goose, one of the rare people that has been at every single Jump Festa event. And I've talked to him recently, and he's going to keep on keeping on. Love that guy. And, he's one of those guys you talk to, and you're grateful he's in your life.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Very good dude.
Yeah.
Goose, thank you so
Always.
much for the super chat, my man. Appreciate you. And don't worry, Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 this year, Delaware. Don't miss it.
Thank you, Goose. We got 50,000 more Indonesian rupee from ZX.
ZX, thank you so much.
ZX said, not sure if they count as underrated, but Rovian and the Lug are pretty cool. Wish they were used more.
I think that counts 100%.
Let's go.
I mean, people mentioned
Get that Rovian hype in
and
here.
I think
listen.
it counts.
Yeah.
Rovian's
Don't-
poems were underrated as well.
Yes. Just say you're not intelligent.
No, he said they're underrated.
I said they were underrated.
Underrated.
Will either of them make
I'm
my
with
top
ya.
10 characters? That's out tomorrow.
No.
I don't think they did.
I doubt it.
But you never know.
Okay.
Yeah, you might actually have good taste for once.
Oh, snap.
Oh, get his ass. Get his ass.
Hashtag
That's
justice
crazy.
for Rovian always.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is crazy. But you know what else is crazy? We got a $20 donation from Colin Cleese.
Colin.
That guy.
Colin, thank you. That guy. Colin, thank you so much, dude.
Colin said, my
Seriously.
favorite part of the show overall is the creativity of the dueling, especially the arc finales. We had tag duels come back, 1v3 gauntlet duels, spaceship duels, turn jumping duels, all fun, very creative, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Colin, I'll
Agreed.
play off that, man. Yeah, fully agree. Thank you so much for another very kind donation, dude. I can't tell you
Yes.
how much I appreciate it, how much it helps me out, helps out this podcast. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
when you get to the 8th series in a franchise that has been running for, at this point, like 20 years, and you can still find creative ways to implement duels that we have never seen before as Yu-Gi-Oh fans, that is the sign of a really creative and passionate writing team, in my opinion. And it's the sign of a writing team that knows enough about Yu-Gi-Oh history where they know they're doing something unique. We have never seen turn jumping duels.
Yeah, that was
I
awesome.
know, like, yeah, I've Fujiwara and Fubuki season 4 of GX. I know similar but different. Like this was different, and yeah, it was just super unique. And yeah, Colin, it was really, really cool. It was a very creative show. And I would agree with something that you said in one of my streams. It may have been the Astrobot stream Monday night over on Twitch. But you said, I think Go Rush is the most ambitious Yu-Gi-Oh! Besides Arc 5.
Wow.
Would you agree? And I snap called it and said, yeah, I would agree.
I
Yeah.
would agree,
Yeah,
yeah.
you've also
It
seen
tried-
all of them. I think,
It
I think
tried-
he's
they
right
tried a
on
lot.
that. Now, Arc 5, I still think, is the most ambitious with what they tried to do. But take away Arc 5, and I think with what Go Rush, all the things they tried to do, encapsulating Sevens as well, a prior show, yeah, I think it was very, very ambitious. And in a lot of ways, it paid off for them. So credits to them for sure. Thank you so much, Colin.
Thank you, Colin. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. We got a $50 donation from That Man 666.
That man! He's that man! Thank you, that man.
And
Appreciate
That
you.
Man said, opinion could change,
Okay.
but Go Rush is C tier for me.
Wow. Okay.
Controversial.
Damn, I know he also hated brains. So.
Well,
Well, I mean, I also hate
I know,
brains.
I know.
No, I
No, but I'm worried that I'm worried that man has not enjoyed a show in now three iterations. But I don't know how he feels about Sevens. I'm not. You go on.
The show felt it was going in no direction and reliant on its past show, kind of like GX.
Don't agree.
Never liked Udius as the pro tag,
Whoa.
but enjoyed how the Odo twins were as secondary duelists
Okay.
and Kwai Duel as the
okay.
villain.
I mean, yes, I agree with the last sentence.
Damn, I really liked UDS.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
Udius.
yeah, I'm
I
surprised.
think
It's not
he's-
everybody's cup of
It's
tea.
not.
No, yeah, I'm
No,
not going to say it's invalid. It is a controversial
No, well,
take.
It's an opinion.
It's a hot
can't-
take, all right.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
I will say,
Did that man say anything about other shows where he puts like
No.
a Sevens?
I don't think he did.
I
No.
know. I know Brains he really disliked.
no, but
And thank you, that man, for the
I
generosity.
think
really.
I think maybe from a certain perspective, at least in the beginning, like I understand it's because Udius is in like a different on a different planet or a different world with new people, but he was so. I don't know if gullible is the right word, but just like ignorant kind
He's
of.
naive.
And very
Naive.
naive. And I think as like a protagonist, maybe some people kind of find that like, hey, he's not,
He's like
kinda
Goku
he's
though.
kinda
Like
just
I mean,
out
it's
here-
like young Goku.
I found
Yeah.
it endearing,
Yeah, I
but
can
some
agree
people,
with
some
that.
people
Yeah.
may
No,
not
like some
it.
people are
Yeah.
like, well, like why did, he's the protagonist? How come he can't figure like X, Y, and Z out? Like,
Well,
why
I
did-
mean, like he's an
why did
actual
these-
alien,
Like,
right?
Literally,
why
yeah,
are
exactly.
these kids teaching him how to play? I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No,
'cause I
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
game. Like, why are these kids teaching him how to play this game? Like, he has the cards and he doesn't even know that you have to open a pack to get the cards out
Yeah,
of them.
I
like,
love that
but, like,
bit.
again, I thought that was humorous. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was funny, but I feel like there's things like that maybe some people were like,
Yeah, no, I agree.
not,
Yeah.
not as good.
No, yeah, I can see you as playing as far as playing double
and with
advocate.
having like the secondary protagonists, if you will, and like the Odo twins, I think that automatically could take away from a main protagonist because you kind of have these
Because they were
other two
extremely
characters
strong,
that
yeah.
are also very, very strong. So you're like, he didn't steal the show, so maybe he's not as good of a protagonist. But at the same time, it's like I think he played his role
I
perfectly.
mean, he only had 10 more duels than Yuhi.
I can't believe he dueled that much.
I
Hey,
You have to
but
go home.
Yuhi only had 5 more duels than Yuumu.
Sure. But that
So-
that means Udius had double the duels of Yuga. That sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it was like
that sounds
35
right.
to
19,
20
yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
I'm trying not to start.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying not to start.
Be
every
nice.
Time, every time Yuhi gets mentioned, I just want
Yeah,
to.
you
Be
really
nice.
do not like Yuhi.
I don't.
Let's talk about it.
No.
Yeah, you want to talk about it?
Hey, we could talk
Will-
about that in the video.
Will Yuhi make my top 10 Go Rush characters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he will.
He will.
He will.
She's gonna hit like a Twitter live thing on the way home, mount it, 4-hour rant just about how much Yui sucked.
No, I liked Yuhi, but I will say this. I am going to be doing a video. I committed to doing it if I hit 100K. We did throughout Go Rush, which I'm very grateful for. A video I have never done before where I will be ranking all of the shows from what I think is the best to worst. I've never made that video
Comments are
before.
gonna be great
Well,
again.
that's why I've never.
Can't wait.
You'll get a lot of pulse of the community.
Can't wait.
That being said,
He's
my-
gonna keep using that phrase.
I do not believe that there is a bad Yu-Gi-Oh series. I just don't. I think every Yu-Gi-Oh show is kind of good in its own way. I mean, I'm very not too like negative. And if I had to like tier list my Yu-Gi-Ohs, I think there's been 2 A tier shows, 4 B tier shows, and 2 C tier shows.
Is that including like you don't have an S? A's the
So
highest.
I mean, if you wanted to move it up to S, I have no problem saying 2S, 4A, and 2B.
Okay, okay, yeah, I
I
get
don't
you.
have a problem doing that. I would put Go Rush in B and high B. I don't want to spoil where it is in my 8.
Yeah, you should probably stop talking about
It's
it.
in that 3 to 5 range of my 8. Now that could change. I want to wait like a month before I make the video, but listen, I really, really enjoyed the show. I really did. I think there were things that like I maybe wish they did a little differently. Of
course.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I thought it was a good show. So I would be interested to see where that man has it ranked out of 8. Because even
Gotcha.
though it's a C tier, maybe it's like 3rd. You know, maybe he has like 2 Ds and 2, because some people do their tier lists very differently.
They certainly
true.
do.
Scale is everything.
Right, exactly.
B
Scale is
minuses,
everything.
and,
Yeah,
like, what are
right,
we
some
doing?
people do that. So I'd be interested. And if you want to comment that, Caliber will pull that. But thank you so much.
I do feel like the following sentence saying that the show felt like it was going in no direction probably wouldn't put it as his 3rd. That's just my
Okay,
guess.
that's a fair
Just
point.
my guess.
Yeah.
But you never know. You never know.
I'm confident he would have it above Brains.
Okay, so it's 7th.
I think he would have it 5th or 6th, if
Okay.
I had to guess. I feel like I know him pretty
Well, that man, if you wanna throw those in the chat, Nick T will pull them for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Wow,
put it in the chat.
thank
Thank
you.
you
Yeah,
so
that's
much
fine.
for that, man.
I'm cool with that.
You've
No,
supported
but you
me.
like how I
yeah,
You
you
supported
passed the
me.
buck,
You
so to
supported me a lot, man. Thank you so much, that man.
We got £5 from Lily Silver.
Thank you again, Lily.
Lily
you.
said, Otis, and then put quotes. No one cared who I was until I put on the mask.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, yeah.
Can you imagine if he dropped a line like that, dude? Because he was the
Or
king of
did a
dropping.
copy of a line,
He
but
was
sure.
the king of dropping lines that made you like jump out of your chair. I remember.
No,
you,
he was not.
I remember you
Name
said
one.
when he said to go.
Name
Yuga,
5 songs.
I know that too well.
Painfully
so. I know you said the
I
hairs on
did
the
not
neck
say that. No,
stood up.
did not say that.
I
I
don't know.
said,
I
hey,
think we should-
solid line, first one he's had in the entire show. I believe that's what I said.
What about oh?
Next donation?
Next donation.
Oh, Lily, thank you.
Thank you, Lily. We got $5 from Stuart McFerrin.
Stuart.
Thank you,
Stu.
Stuart.
Appreciate it.
Not gonna lie, I almost got emotional during the final episode of Go Rush, and it's because of you guys. Thank you for everything. Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever.
Hey, maybe we did almost make someone tear up.
Look,
I was-
we got one person.
Well, that's so funny because Stuart said that they weren't like they didn't love Go
But
Rush,
our
so-
commentary made them
Yeah.
cry.
Well, and again, but and I've already said this. Like there is a whole bigger concept here of
Yes.
like, hey, is this the final Yu-Gi-Oh episode ever? And like, I don't think it is. I don't think a lot of people think it is. But like, that fear is going to be there until we get something announced. And God forbid we go this whole year, including Jump Festa, and we don't get anything.
Be tough.
Then then we go 2026 and we don't get any. Then at what point is it like it's over?
It's
dude.
Jover.
Like it's over, and like you just hope that will not become a reality. I don't think it will. I'm remaining optimistic, but that fear is there for Yu-Gi-Oh fans, including me. It just is. So I get being extra emotional because of that. It's a monumental moment. Stuart, thank you so much, my friend, for the very generous
Yes.
super chat.
Before we move on, that man did respond.
Okay, perfect.
So he said, F, he's right. I did rank Go Rush in the 5 to 6 range between Arc 5 and DM.
Yeah. Okay. So I love it. I felt like I know him pretty well. He's given me a lot of his opinions over the years. He's been someone who has been an active chatter for years, which I love. you know.
Dill, would you say you have a pulse on your community?
I think I
I'm glad you threw it back at him. Thank you for
I
doing
think I
that.
have a very good pulse.
Yeah.
Pulse. So, doctor, I can't feel my pulse.
Doctor,
Clear.
we make it like a 30-second.
We could do a whole thing.
Doctor, I'm not getting a pulse. We have to save him.
The doctor will see you now.
Keeps going, and it's like, when's the segment starting?
And guys, that's the pulse of the community.
And then we play the outro.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell?
The patient's breathing again. That's just the outro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
The pulse will return.
Of course, that is the name of the mean comment section we'll be doing on the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh show. But yeah, Stuart, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Stuart. We got 50,000 more Indonesian rupee from ZX.
Thank you, Zed.
And ZX said, one thing I'll give Otis is that Outerverse is really cool. Kind of like Rush's DDD. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
DDD, different dimension.
American Demons?
Demons, I believe, played
Okay.
by Akira
And,
Eiji.
and so this is my last super chat for Go Rush. Have a good day.
ZX.
You do.
Sad, man. Sad stuff. But thank you so much for the donation. And yeah, listen, I think the Outerverse deck is super cool.
Awesome.
I think he played some of the coolest decks in all of Rush Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
I love the evil like Seven's Road deck. That Darkness deck was really cool.
Really sick.
The Summon Skull, the Blue Eyes, the Red Eyes. He used so much nostalgia. And then Outerverse. Dude, I thought he cooked with his
I
decks.
felt like this was like his deck.
Yeah.
You know, like this is what made him. Where a lot of the other ones were just kind of like borrowing like nostalgic monsters. This felt like, oh, this is his own.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I like that.
I agree, for sure.
Yeah, really cool. Thank you, ZX, for the support. Appreciate you, my
Some would
friend.
say Otis cooked.
Yeah, let him cook.
Someone call him Gotus.
Not I, but
It
someone.
wouldn't be me.
Yeah. We got $7.77 from Goose.
The Goose donation. Thank you, Goose.
Goose said, I've taken my time to finish sevens, and even though I didn't finish Go Rush, I eventually will. Thank you, Entame, and your team for the subs. Much love.
I know. Thank you, Goose. Would you like to talk to Goose?
I like how you looked to me and said, thank you, Goose. As if I was Goose.
Yeah, thanks, Goose.
Well, who's to say in another timeline
Oh.
you weren't Goose?
Oh, so
Is
Goose is a concept.
Goose is a
Yeah,
concept.
Goose is just a concept here.
All right.
Well, that's why, for me, too, I always say from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything. Anybody could be. from
Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything
I mean,
actually
yeah,
is a
any
concept.
clown can get a mic in their basement and record something.
Let's start a podcast.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Blow out my
Another
cords.
group of white men starting a podcast.
Yeah,
we're in that
man.
space.
Goose, we love you, man. I know you're gonna watch Go Rush, and I think you're gonna enjoy it a lot. Thank you, Goose.
I'm done over here.
Okay, let me
Wrapped
see
it
if we have
up.
any links. Do we have any links?
We probably do.
Do we have
Yes.
The thing
are
we
linking?
we can't see.
Okay.
The problem is I can't see the
Yeah.
list in every view, so I couldn't really keep track of the ones that were in link.
Yeah, the scenes you have it set up.
You got a limited time.
Lorena! Lorena! Thank you so much, Lorena.
Oops.
$2 donation from Lorena. I'm going to.
I'm gonna beat the.
Hey, Bud, when you're here by yourself, that's okay. But we're all going to leave. We all work actual jobs.
That's
hurry
so
up.
creamer of you.
Lorena.
True.
Thank you for the $2 donation, Lorena.
Yeah,
going to miss
just to keep
weekly-
saying it.
I'm going to miss weekly Yu-Gi-Oh, but you never know. It could come back one day.
Yes.
Yeah, Lorena, we just that was
It could.
That was 3.5 hours ago. I doubt Lorena is still here.
Oh yeah, she's long.
But if you are, Lorena, thank you.
It was a long monologue.
We cooked for about 2.5 hours without getting to the donations. So.
Yeah, I realize that now. Dork Emperor J, thank you for the $2 donation. Random question: which Go Rush character had the best catchphrase? Ooh.
Oh, God.
Oh, I got this one. Chupa chupa!
That was really good, dude.
Or poo poo poo.
Yeah, that I think is my number one pick. Poo poo kapoo.
I like poo 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 to be honest.
Gimme.
You know what? Actually, hold on.
Let him
Hold
cook,
on.
dude.
What about Quietel saying I'm parched?
I do actually really like that.
Preposterous.
Preposterous.
Yeah, I'm going with because he's got multiple Monabu.
I do remember I never disliked the poo poo poo, but I feel like I remember the poo 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 being really disliked by a lot of people.
Oh, it was.
At least by some of us.
Everyone's an epoch disrespecter.
What about
Wait,
I was
wait,
until.
hang on. What about Mama?
And
You
then I
gotta do one last one.
Come
Come
on,
on.
like mother.
Come on.
Mama,
You know, it is-
mama.
And now he's like mother.
Mother.
He's
Mother
mothering.
dearest.
Mother is mothering.
He's mothering. He's serving.
He's
Yeah.
mothering. C. Sanadvon, thank you for the $2 donation. That's the name we've not seen in a long time.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much. Now that Go Rush is over, here are some podcast ideas for you, Dylan. Parenting 101 with Mr. Ishtar. Shocking news with Toby Treadwell. That's crazy. Dog, frog, jog, log. Rhyme time with Dredger and Rovian.
That's a funny one. That's a fucking funny one. Let's go.
That's my guy.
He was still here.
That's
man.
my goat right there.
Thank
yeah,
you.
You get it. You get it.
Oh, that's good.
He needs simple rhyme.
That made my whole night right there.
Oh, that's really good.
Dog drying.
Listen, you gotta use it.
That's insane.
Listen, Dredger, I'm with you, man. I'll do that.
That's what I said though. I said, man, just because you can't stay with the rhymes doesn't mean that they're not good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The road to Yu-Gi-Oh! Nothing. Where did it all go wrong? Thank you, C. Sanadvon.
So good ideas.
I appreciate it. And thank you for another $2 donation. Also, would you rather play the entire early days correction?
Collection. You said correction.
Also, would you rather play the entire early days collection without any codes, rewind, fast forward, or sleep, or never get another Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime ever again?
Holy shit.
Well, I think the first one would kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would be getting not
if
ever
you
getting.
really
used-
cared about Yu-Gi-Oh,
No.
you would risk
Yeah.
it.
If I'm so without any codes, it was just Reshef that I used the code in. Rewind though was a big element. If I was allowed to sleep, but I couldn't leave the basement.
Holy God, dude.
You'd do
Even
it.
that
You
would
would
be
do
a
it.
nightmare.
But it would probably be about 2 to. I would take. I know it would be two weeks.
I think it'd be longer, dude. With no rewind.
Yeah, no
Remember us
rewind,
playing the
no
Dungeon
codes.
Dice Monsters game? Imagine doing that without rewind.
The only code I used was the Reshef code for Raw. But if it meant another Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, I would do it.
No,
As
I
long
would-
as he could sleep.
As long as I could sleep.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to see you like that.
As long as I could sleep.
That's torture.
Dill, did you think the time skipping was actually an ode to the early days collection about the rewind
I was
feature?
thinking about that.
And C. Sanadvon also wrote, FYI, I watched your entire 129-hour stream on VOD every second, including the breaks. I mean,
That's
Just
crazy.
to stay with the chat.
The breaks. Well, I mean, I played videos during the breaks. That's amazing.
That's
He saw you.
No,
Pete.
that's yeah.
He saw you a lot, man.
A little
Man,
bit.
that's commitment.
Jesus
That is
Christ.
commitment.
Thank you.
that
Thank you
is
so much for
commitment.
supporting.
Yeah.
Dark Emperor J, thank you for the $2 donation. Can we get your quick thoughts on Switch 2 and future games? Also, games are $80. Sad. Yeah, the price point for games is ridiculous.
It's very
I
high.
am over the moon with the Bloodborne game for Switch 2. I
Yes.
cannot wait for that game. I am also shocked that Nintendo
Crazy,
struck a
it's
deal with From Software to do a Switch exclusive Souls game.
wild.
Absolutely
So
insane.
They're stepping their
excited.
game
I'm
up.
so-
I can't
like,
wait.
When that came up on the direct,
couldn't
I was
believe it.
hyperventilating.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
I was losing my mind. Holy.
Yeah, I
Dude,
will
saw,
gladly.
I saw something about it that it's multiplayer.
That is
Yes.
what I had heard. I
Yeah.
didn't see that, but yeah.
You joining, bro?
Oh,
Listen,
I'm
we're
getting.
all just gonna play
I'm getting the
together.
Switch
I'm
2
cool
on
with that.
release with
Tonight.
Mario Kart. So
If you get it.
You'll know this.
no, I'm
Cole.
getting it on release.
Tonight. Calibro joins the hunt.
You know my text tone, like whenever someone texts me, the little tone that plays is the doll going "Welcome home, good hunter."
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's
like here, if you
amazing.
text me right now, it'll play.
Welcome home, good hunter.
I'm very excited for the Kirby Air Ride game as well. Kirby Air Ride was a game that
Yes.
I played, and Sakurai is directing it. My brother texted me.
It's
Yeah.
I misread it. I thought because you know how some GameCube games are coming to Switch too.
Yeah.
I thought it
That's
was
a
a
sequel.
It's a sequel.
Yes.
Oh
Oh.
God.
It played here, but not here.
Played on the watch. Yeah, no, very exciting.
Oh man.
And then, of course, the Mario Kart game looks great. The DK game, yeah, you know, I would have rathered Odyssey 2, but hopefully we got that.
You don't want to do a DK64 again?
It's not open world.
Here, hang on. It
Oh.
should play.
Is it like Donkey Kong Country?
It's like Mario Odyssey, but Donkey Kong.
I can get down with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could kind of get down with that.
So hang on.
His redesign looks goofy.
Oh, hang on.
Do you want that?
Where's
Welcome home,
Yeah.
good hunter.
That's
That's what I hear every single time.
Where's
I get
the
a
new
text.
Mario Baseball though?
That's
Facts.
an excellent
I've
question.
been waiting for years.
Facts.
Oh, the Donkey Kong redesign. That's redesign's a little goofy, huh? What's going on with
It's a
that?
little goofy.
Bro,
But
this-
it's like endearing.
Bro,
Yeah,
looking,
it's kind of endearing.
Bro, looking a little different.
Dylan's hairline. Thank you for the $2 donation. Dylan's hairline. Thank you for the donation. Hey Dylan, what are the price of eggs and I have in common? We both keep getting higher and higher, and just like weekly Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm about to be gone for good.
Wow.
Then you'll be looking like an egg yourself.
Oh my god. That's
Why do these donations keep happening?
What was the last line? I'm so sorry.
Then you'll be looking like an egg yourself.
That is crazy.
Nixie, I want your
Next one. No, next one. We're not spending time on this.
Tyler DeBoer, the Mitsuko Man. Thank you for the $3.33 donation. Thank you, Tyler. If you don't mind me plugging, feel free to join in the Go Rush Epilogue fanfic project. Letters to you in the Discord. That will be in my Discord. Complete creative freedom for how you want to write the story to continue on. Let's have this community show us love. UTS. Thank you so much, Tyler, for the donation. Yes, if anyone is interested in some fanfic writing opportunities, Tyler is getting together a big group in the Discord.
I just finished a huge.
You just did a
fucking-
big one.
I
yeah.
just did like a huge. This is almost novel length, honestly.
That's insane. That
Yeah,
is insane,
just
yeah.
a huge Gold Rush fanfiction. So.
Oh yeah, it was like 60,000 words, right?
30,000.
Oh, jeez.
That's almost novel length. Yeah.
That is crazy. Well, if anybody's interested, check the Discord, Tyler DeBoer. Thank you, Tyler. Sora, Solid Snack, thank you for the $2 donation. I have known you before I even made this channel. Wow, can't believe it's really over. All these years of Yu-Gi-Oh! For good or bad, we're all awesome to be a part of in the moment. Sad we won't have that for now, but so happy it went out on an amazing high note. It truly doesn't have to be goodbye.
Wow.
Smiley
Yes.
face.
We love it.
Sora has done some ridiculous. Sayonara.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Sora, thank
You
you
have
for
12 minutes.
$2 donation. We'll also just be sad there's no stats to update for now, but this franchise provided a lot. Ready for this? 52 ritual summons, 61
Ooh.
maximums, 136 pendulums,
Damn.
326 synchros. And I know this is all accurate because he went episode by episode and compiled it in a spreadsheet. 392 links, 430 XZs, 593 fusions, 2,250 traps, 4,160 spells, 3,202 special summons, 4,824 normal summons. Wow.
Wow.
I think the biggest wow is the fact that that man compiled that
It's
list.
crazy,
Yeah.
dude.
Holy shoot, dude.
The 61
Christ.
maximums to 52 rituals is so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Rituals are the forgotten method. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
The-
I know. That is
That's
a-
across the entire show, which means Rush Era alone, which also had rituals, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah.
Rush Era alone had more maximum summons in 2 shows
Yeah.
than the entirety of Yu-Gi-Oh! Had ritual summons across all 8 shows.
That's crazy.
Insane.
That's ridiculous. Sora, thank you for the stats. I'm going to be doing some fun videos with Solid Snack in the near future that I am very, very excited to get started on. Let's see here. Elaine, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Hi, Dylan and the crew. On the original timeline, Pete, maybe you can help with this. This is a timeline question. On the original timeline, how were the Odos born if Udius is the first Odo? If Otis didn't exist, then his Earth Damar would have not made Udius and the Valkyrians, which means he would not have been the first Odo. So, Elaine, a little confused on the semantics of the timeline.
It's a paradox. Yeah, it's a paradox.
Can you explain that?
So a paradox basically means that one thing serves the other, but they exist in the same time period in a consistent link. So it's confusing, but there's no beginning, there's no end. It's just
It's like a chicken or egg question.
Yeah, it's just an endless cycle of both creating the other and they exist at the same time, and it just goes around and around.
Interesting.
It's a very warped, weird thing.
Yeah.
Like an example of that, a really good example of it is in Legend of Zelda. I think it's Ocarina of Time, where you learn a song, right? It's called the Song of Storms. Some guy teaches it to you, or no, rather, when you're adult Link, some guy teaches it to you, but you go back in time as to young Link, you're the one that teaches the guy that song to begin with.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you teach the song to the guy who ends up being the one to teach it to you. So it's this closed loop because of time travel.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like time travel fucks up a lot of stuff in
Yeah.
terms of like logic. That's why it's like that's why it's so hard to write time travel
Right.
stories. Cause, you're inevitably gonna come across some sort of paradox, and that's just
Yeah.
gonna how it
So
it
it's just
works.
a paradox.
It's
Yeah.
just- yeah.
Yep.
So if you went to like ShopRite and
Not shop, right?
I'm curious where this is going.
well, you paid a cashier like $5 for like devil dogs, and then you somehow went into the past, and then you were the cashier because in your past life you got a job at ShopRite.
Oh,
and
wait,
then
that's not how that works.
and then that old woman.
Hey, the next donation.
Next donation.
The next donation.
Yeah.
I was trying to help Elaine out.
to address your thing, that is not at all.
You
No,
were making
that's
it
not
so
how
much
that
worse. Just go to the next one.
Yeah.
How many more you got?
3.
Okay.
Dragon Claw 95 with 2888 donations to commemorate Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush ending here. Holy crap. Thank you, Dragon Claw. Wow, this was an emotional ending. I'm glad Yuga got back to his time safe and sound. He deserves a break after getting decked in the face by a giant robot. Also, I think it's hilarious that Quaidul is keeping Otis prisoner. #no justice for Otis.
Agree with that.
go.
Yeah.
Agree with
I
that.
I mean,
I don't know if I
literally,
love
Quite
that.
Duel got everything he wanted in the end.
Yeah.
He achieved his goal. He fused with the creator Dama, and now he has the original creator, which is Otis. So he literally got everything he wanted.
You
Yeah.
think Quaidul will let him out at some point?
No.
No, absolutely
You can
not.
torture him
Go on a
forever.
tour
I mean,
of the
to be
universe.
fair, he's feeding him.
Yeah, it's probably not torturing him. They're probably just hanging out. Honestly.
It's torture for Otis.
It's definitely torture for Otis, but he might get used to the idea. It's just
Yeah, free food.
two-
I would
two guys just hanging out.
two dudes just hanging out in the top.
Guys
hot
just
tub.
being dudes.
Yeah. I would love, honestly, I'd do a spin-off show on that, dude.
Yeah.
Put
It's like
Quaid-
the Odd Couple, but it's like those guys.
If
just
they
hanging.
announced a jump as to Quaidul and Otis,
Till if they announced to anyone,
We did
you
all right
would
for a
you
couple
would
of
be
goofballs.
sucking it up, bud. Anyone.
Dragon Claw, thank you for another 888 donation. Seriously, thank you so much, my friend. Now that we know the Mystery Girl is an alternate Otis, I want to say that Mystery Girl is a better villain than Akaba Leo. Also, I love how Joel died 3 different times and was still there to help Yugioh out in the end.
Yep.
He's one sturdy robot. Yeah, he is.
That's true.
We didn't really talk about him that much. When Yuga is coming down in the ship at the end of 92, Yuga, isn't Mr. Goha, isn't the drone with him in that ship?
I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
It's been a
pretty sure
while
Doll's
since
in
I
there.
watched that scene.
It's like the center
front of
console
him.
piece, right?
Something
Yeah.
in front of him that looks like it.
Okay.
But it's not. We don't know if
It's not inconclusive. Yeah.
In my mind,
Or
I
it is
assume
inclusive.
it is the drone. In my
Well,
mind.
things change because of this.
Well, yes. I'm
Obviously
just
the-
saying in episode 92 at that point in time.
Crazy
Well, anyway.
stuff. Crazy stuff. Ramen Fist, thank you for being a channel for 30 months. Keep punching that ramen, my friend. Thank you. And then Stuart.
We got a $5 donation from Stuart.
Hey, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. Stuart said, will you be going back to reviewing and talking about anime like you did with your Dylan from Anime channel? Long live Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes, I've been asked this question actually quite a bit. Like, what is next for this channel? What is next for me? Are you going to cover Vanguard? Are you going to cover Beyblade? Are you going to cover
No.
Bakugan? Are you gonna
Digimon,
cover
right?
Digimon. Are you going to cover Pokemon? And it is flattering that there are a lot of people that want to see me talk about different things outside of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not even considering doing that, Stuart, unless we go this full year and then still don't get anything. If we go this full year and Jump Fest comes and goes and there's nothing in regards to a new card game Yu-Gi-Oh!, then I will weigh my options. But if I did, if I decided to, let me binge watch every episode of Vanguard, let me binge watch every episode of Pokemon, and if I liked it enough, I would not create a second channel. If people's Pokemon everything, Bakugan everything. I wouldn't do that. But would I do maybe one day a week an episode review on this channel? And if it did decently well and there was enough interest, would I continue it? Maybe. But that would be the most that you'd get right now. Right now, my main focus for the rest of the year, Stuart, is to stay optimistic for a card game Yu-Gi-Oh!, to really believe that we're getting a card game Yu-Gi-Oh!, and to most importantly, make this channel sustainable for me to live. It's as simple as that. This is my full-time job now. You guys have helped out tremendously with that. I will say through 3 full months, we are certainly on track to be totally fine in that regard. So you guys have been amazing. That being said, I want to continue to grow the channel. The videos towards the end of March have done really, really well. So thank you guys
Hell
for all
yeah.
the support on that. Let's keep growing this channel. Let's make some legacy content on Yu-Gi-Oh! And let's do some watch-alongs. I'm doing a DM watch-along. I'm starting it on Twitch in probably mid to late June. So be on the lookout for that. And listen,
I'm
a lot of
stoked.
good Yu-Gi-Oh! Content to come. If we get to this point next year and there still isn't anything, then I'll more seriously consider starting maybe something on the side. But yeah, great question, Stuart. And listen, you guys are all amazing. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Cal,
too.
sign off first.
All right.
Final Crazy Eights.
Final Crazy Eights. It's been a hell of a ride. Back since the Brains days of when it was Dylan and his non-Yu-Gi-Oh! Watching friends talk Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something like that.
Yeah. Close.
Or non-Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans watch Yu-Gi-Oh! It's been a ride, and I'm excited for what we got coming in the future, whether it be, the new show that you're putting on this channel. We also have the lore anime, the Chronicles coming in, which will be something different, and it'll be something we have to get used to, I think, but ultimately glad to have something else to talk about, something that's going to be very new to me especially, and I'm sure a lot of people. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. Tough to see a show come to an end without something on the horizon in the same, card game style, but just got to stay hopeful.
Yep.
I think like Dylan said, in about 8 months, we might be finding out some more great information.
You never know.
All right, well said, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I really do.
Of course.
CL, would you like to start if you want to promote anything?
No, I got nothing to promote.
Fair.
I'm just me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're good. You're good.
I'm just me. I'm just happy to finally have, I guess you could call it a vacation.
Yeah. Well, deserved.
I would like to know as well, promotion and very quickly, how do you feel about the future of Yu-Gi-Oh?
I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never wavered in my belief that we're gonna get another Yu-Gi-Oh. Like genuinely, nothing has phased me unless Konami themselves come out and be like, "We're not doing another Yu-Gi-Oh." At which point I would be worried.
Yes.
But they haven't done that, and I'm confident in their what's the word? In their continued need for money. That there will be another Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
If there's anything I can count on, it's greed.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I mean, well
Yep.
said, truly.
keeps companies alive. Nick T.
I make music on a bunch, in a few different projects. Nameling, Fragile Homes, Mom Fight. They're on all music streaming platforms and on all social media platforms. So go follow them. Go listen to the music I have on there. I have a Fragile Homes EP probably coming out by middle of summer. The Nameling record hopefully by end of spring that finally get together and put out. And a Nameling remix collection of songs at some point. So be on the lookout for all that stuff. You can listen to my music on streaming platforms or buy it on Bandcamp, which helps me financially and allows me to do more cool stuff. Nameling t-shirts soon.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, I'm on YouTube, Clueless Gamers. I'm over on Dylan's Twitch channel, Super Deep Rod, tomorrow about 8:30 EST. Hopefully finishing Jedi Survivor, so that'll be fun over there. And yeah, being the final kind of crazy 8's here, and maybe the final kind of Yugioh weekly podcast that we do. I want to thank all of you guys, whether it's the people here right now or the people that are in chat. It's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
Thanks for just being here. Even the videos, I'll speak personally for me, that I've been a part of. I've done a few episodes reviews over the last 3 shows now. You guys have been gracious and welcoming to someone that, I didn't watch Yugioh before Vrain. So it's been really nice going back to the old shows and making a whole bunch of new friends with you guys. So I hope to do that more in the future. And thanks for being great supporters of Crazy 8's.
Hell yeah.
I do have one thing to promote. I
Please,
just
yes.
remembered. My server, The Witch's
Oh, yeah.
Kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a Rush
Great
Duel
name.
server. We also talk about the Rush anime. Everyone's really sad about Go Rush ending, of course. I think they're starting a weekly, there was a vote on it, so they're starting a new weekly Yu-Gi-Oh! Watch along, or rewatch, as it were.
Oh,
and
I like that.
pretending like it's a new episode, so I think
Oh,
we're
that's
doing
cute,
that.
actually. I like that a
and
lot.
the series that won was Zeal, so we're doing Zeal every week.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
But,
that's a
yeah.
good one to do though, because it's less accessible internet-wise. So it's
Yeah.
at least there's a place for people to get together and watch it.
If you want to put that link in the chat, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, I just turned off my
Oh,
my
sorry.
keyboard. It's
Sorry.
Great
okay.
time to bring it up. Ditto.
While CL does that, I want to obviously thank CL, the Entame Subs team, once again, and I want to thank the crew here on Crazy 8's, Calibro, Nick T, Pete, Dredger, you guys, man, taking time out of your Wednesday nights, so many weeks to come here to help me with this show. Since Vrains, we've been doing this now for over 6 years. Every Wednesday
damn.
night. I know. And
Right?
I am so incredibly grateful for all of you. And seriously, this podcast would not be anything if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much for helping me here. And again, just taking time out of your life to do this with me. Thank you.
I'm just, of course, I'm happy to be a part of this and be able to help you out in whatever way that we do, even though, you run the show. But I'm just happy I sent you a message and was like, hey, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
when you put the Brains videos out.
No,
I
everybody
was
has
like,
a role to play. Pete got me
right?
back to making YouTube content.
Yep.
You had that idea. Yeah, so no, Nick T's my outro song for every video. Everybody video. Everybody has had a role to play, seriously, and I'm so thankful for it. And then, of course, another incredibly important role is all of you guys watching, listening. I always shout out the lurkers. I am aware we have 80 people here. There's maybe, 20 people chatting away. So that means there's 60 people every time we do this show, at least, that are just lurking. And that doesn't even count the people that probably watch this back after the fact. So I understand how many people watch and support this podcast and this channel. And I am so grateful for all of you, because if we didn't have an audience, if we didn't have the donation support that you guys have given me over these last 6 years, we wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you so much. I know we are entering a scary time, but let's remain optimistic. Let's remain hopeful. Duelist Kingdom Live and Victory World Carnival in mid-July. Let's hope we get some sort of confirmation that they're working on something. And then Jump Festa, let's make it the greatest Jump Festa to ever Festa. Thank you guys all so freaking much. Terrence, Colin, that man, thank you three for the incredibly generous donations / super chats. To anybody who donated, super chatted, thank you. We are about to sign off. This has been the final episode of Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Crazy 8's. We'll be back next week with Legendary Duels. We'll probably do like a special OVA-esque episode where we just kind of talk about the Rush anime and the future and all that stuff. And then the 16th should be an After Dark. The 23rd should debut the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. And then the 30th should be the Animation Chronicles podcast. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for 3 years loving this segment and this podcast. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you to the Anti-Made Subs team. Thank you to the crew. Thank you to Dak. Love all of you. And I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.
Good night,
Good night.
guys. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.
Go
This
Rush.
is the last crazy
Till we
Eights.
see you again, my countrymen.